Li Yan woke up in an unfamiliar hospital with complete amnesia. She was hunted by a group of assassins as soon as she woke up. Suddenly, a mysterious man appeared, saved her, and claimed to be her husband. From then on, Li Yan began her journey to find her true identity. The more she explored, the more she realized she possessed a special past and power. Follow Lisa Manhwa to watch this fascinating story. I have completed this story, so please support it. In the dim night, the lights flickered. Li Yan slowly raised her hand, her heart filled with confusion. Where is this place? She was almost stunned by the scene. A hospital. Right next to her, piles of medicine bottles were stacked on the table. At this moment, Li Yan carefully sat up. She looked around in confusion. This wound, what is? After a brief recollection, Li Yan opened her eyes wide. I can't remember. Just then, a bullet pierced through the door, grazing past her. The bullet flew past the empty medicine bottles, scattering them everywhere. A mysterious person immediately appeared, holding a pistol tightly. He paused for a moment. Where is she? The mysterious person could not help but feel a little bewildered. He looked around. How could? Could it be? At the same time, Li Yan had somehow appeared behind him. She swung the knife forcefully. In that instant, she was almost insane, muttering incessantly, Who are you? Why do you want to kill me? Who am I? Suddenly, the man unexpectedly pointed his gun at Li Yan's head. He chuckled. Thank you so much for helping me get rid of that guy. Saying this, the man giggled. In that case, the reward will be all mine. Didn't expect this, did you? You have this day too. On the other side, Li Yan was strangely calm. She whispered in her throat. Before you kill me, can you tell me who I am? The man replied indifferently, I am just here to take your life. I have no obligation to explain. Goodbye. Immediately after, he moved his index finger to the trigger. On the other hand, Li Yan's face gradually changed, her eyes revealing horror. She turned around abruptly in confusion. On the floor was the cold corpse of a man. Xingye brazenly pointed the gun at her, a sneer on his face. To think you were almost shot in the head by a small fry. It seems your injury is very serious. Hearing this, Li Yan became even more confused. She asked curiously, Who are you? Ningyi chuckled lightly. Have you forgotten me completely? I am your husband? Before Li Yan was Xingye, a man with firm pectoral muscles, especially a high nose bridge and sensual lips, and finally, eyes so cold they were moving. Back to Li Yan, she was almost dizzy. I have a husband, so handsome. Xingye, on the opposite side, looked puzzled. Over here, Li Yan hugged him tightly without hesitation, complaining, Why did you only come to save me now, my darling husband? She did not care, and continued to rub her face against Xingye's chest, the corners of her mouth unconsciously rising. Husband. Meanwhile, he could not help but feel a little scared. Hey, you believe it just like that? Don't you have any doubts? Li Yan looked at Xingye with sparkling eyes. Of course I believe you. You are so handsome, why would you lie to me? She smiled faintly, thinking to herself, I also want to doubt, but you have a gun in your hand. Immediately after, Li Yan fell into Xingye's arms, groaning while clutching her chest. It hurts. Fighting just now reopened the wound. After speaking, she looked directly at him with teary eyes. Thanks to you, Li Yan made a calculation. I have reached my limit. Regardless of whether this husband is real or fake, I will just take a gamble. She slowly leaned back, her lips moving. Save me. Xingye did not have time to think. He hurriedly caught Li Yan's body. Seeing this, she once again snuggled into Xingye's arms, her voice delicate. I will be obedient, husband. After a long while, he said in a low voice, You really will be obedient. The scene of the past suddenly reappeared. Li Yan of that time pointed at Xingye and questioned, Based on what should I listen to you? What are you to me? The corners of her lips lifted, her gaze cold, her chin raised in defiance. Don't stand in my way, or I can't guarantee what I might do. In that instant, Xingye's voice rang out weakly. Li Yan, you actually... In that instant, Li Yan clenched the knife in her hand. She roared. I said, do not stand in my way. From now on, you and I will go our separate ways and have nothing to do with each other. His voice choked, the corners of his mouth faintly smiling. Okay, from now on, we will never see each other again. Back to reality, Xingye suddenly blamed. You just said you would listen to me, but you caused me such a big trouble. Then he slowly moved the muzzle of the gun to Li Yan's head, but only the dead are obedient. Contrary to expectations, she was not afraid at all, but strangely calm. At the same time, Xingye suddenly moved the muzzle of the gun forward and pulled the trigger. The person opposite was immediately hit by the bullet. He looked directly at the opponent, his voice cold, trying to sneak attack. Xingye gently blew on the smoke still lingering on the barrel of the gun. Who do you think I am? The man snorted coldly, as expected of Ji Xingye. At the same time, Xingye slowly approached, his aura beginning to emanate. He smiled slightly. Indeed, she is seriously injured, unable to deal with you in a snap. The man said without flinching, to be able to die in your hands is not a disgrace. Xingye narrowed his eyes at him, then said in a deep, hoarse voice full of threat, Die. You can't die before you tell me what happened before. At this moment, figures rushed in, one after another. Boss, I am here. A security guard anxiously asked, What happened? Are you okay? Xingye said in a casual tone. What could happen to me? Take that assassin back and find out who is behind him. The group's eyes immediately turned to Lian. Okay, what about her? The guy cautiously reached out. This vicious woman still has a breath. Seeing this, another person approached without hesitation. It is okay. I can crush her with one hand. In the face of the critical situation, Xingye ordered loudly. Wait, she is still useful. The man roared angrily. But last night, this vicious woman injured our brothers in the branch. He turned around, his eyes showing hatred. Dazi was killed by her, big brother. Over here, Xingye did not change his mind. He emphasized in a low voice, I said, She is still useful. Another person interjected, Luzi, you go back first. I will talk to the boss for a while. Back to Lian, she vaguely heard strange sounds. Her spirit seemed to sink to the bottom of the sea, not knowing where the whispers in her ear came from. It seemed like she was sinking gradually, slowly falling into the abyss. Before sinking into the endless abyss, a warm breath embraced her. It was Xingye, as a child, bursting into sobs. Lian tried to reach out and touch him. In a moment, her bloody hand caressed Xingye's cheek. Immediately, he leaned forward and supported Lian. Following the warmth that made people feel at ease, she gradually fell asleep. After a long while, she woke up from the coma. Lian sat up abruptly, her eyes darting around quickly. I am still alive. Her eyes blinked slightly, her consciousness gradually waking up. A vague thought rang in her heart. It seems that betting on that man to save me was the right thing to do. Just then, a familiar voice suddenly came. You are awake. Xingye lay on the edge of the bed, his eyes gentle, the corners of his lips raised in a tender smile. Good morning, darling. Meanwhile, Lian's face was already as red as a tomato. She changed her expression in a second, her voice somewhat sweet. Is that you, husband? Good morning. Lian thought to herself, that is right. Last night, a man with a gun suddenly appeared and claimed to be my husband. He is so handsome. Is such a good man really my husband? Suddenly, Xingye moved closer to her. Immediately after, he looked at Lian gently. Honey, do you remember anything? She shook her head slightly. No, I still do not remember anything. Lian smiled awkwardly. Not just you. I do not even remember my own name. I am sorry. A warm hand rested on her cheek, his voice firm. Lian, you. Lian. Nan Xingye emphasized each word. Is my wife, I, Ji Xingye, am your husband. He smiled, his eyes both proud and gentle. Your body is severely injured, but you can still fight back against the assassin. Such a powerful woman probably won't dislike an ordinary husband like me. Right, Lian quickly replied. I do not dislike you. Xingye gently helped her sit up, his voice soft and warm like the early morning. Now that you are awake, let us eat something. Later, I will take you to the doctor to check your amnesia. At this moment, Lian held her chest and groaned softly. Seeing this, he hurriedly asked, What is wrong? She said weakly. It seems like I hit the wound while fighting last night. It hurts so much. Xingye looked anxious. Let me see. Lian was momentarily confused. No need, doctor. Xingye's fingers touched her shoulder, his voice low and firm. I can handle this wound. The doctor will be late. His warm voice rang in Lian's ear. Don't be nervous. We have been husband and wife for a long time. The tattoo on your back was done by me personally. Xingye turned his eyes to her body. Every part of your body, including the most secret place. I know, like the back of my hand. He gently touched Lian's strap and said meaningfully, This is not our first time. Relax. Give yourself to me. Xingye bit Lian's shoulder lightly, not forgetting to reassure her. I can't guarantee I will be gentle, but you probably won't feel pain. After a while, Lian could not help but groan. It hurts so much, you liar. She unconsciously bit her hand, complaining incessantly, You clearly said you would not, and said it was not the first time. Xingye's tongue licked Lian's ear lightly, neither avoiding nor explaining. Of course, it is not the first time. Could it be you remember something? Those deep eyes seemed to want to strip Lian's mind bare, her eyes almost sinking into illusion. Lian quickly explained, I do not remember anything, but that does not affect a man with 8-pack abs applying medicine for me. Immediately after, she began to complain. Are you done yet? You said you were applying anti-inflammatory medicine to the wound. How long do you want to dawdle? Xingyi replied listlessly. Men can't be fast in everything. Hearing this, she struggled. Okay, I want to get dressed, her heart beginning to curse. Damn it, being seen by him, I feel hot all over. Li Yan narrowed her eyes at Xingye. Just now, he was probing my reaction. Applying medicine is fake. Testing the truth is real. Xingyi had to compromise, I know. Let me bandage you. Later, I will check the wound on your head. He reached out and touched Li Yan's head lightly. Let me see the wound on your head. Xingye carefully observed, his eyes full of concentration. The wound on your head has scabbed over. It will heal easier if we remove the bandage. Saying this, he reassured in a low voice, Don't worry, let us eat first. Later I will find a doctor to examine you. She looked at Xingye, her heart filled with conflict. Although I do not remember anything, I feel that Jiyu Xingye does not have bad intentions towards me, but I can't let my guard down. Later, the two sat down at the table. He held a spoonful of food in front of Li Yan, his voice unusually gentle. Eat more. Getting enough nutrition will help you recover faster. Li Yan tasted it without hesitation, but she paused involuntarily, feeding me so naturally, acting so gently. Could he really be my husband? At this moment, Li Yan's finger accidentally touched the knife. She was momentarily confused. My knife and fork are plastic. Li Yan carefully touched it again to check. Her attention gradually moved forward. It seems that Jiyu Xingye is not the only one wary of me. Li Yan's eyes swept over the subordinates, standing silently behind Xingye. And my husband's men also have some opinions about me. So I will test him. She leaned forward, her hand swinging lightly towards him. Faced with the unusual action, Xingye looked wary. Meanwhile, two of his men reacted immediately. Li Yan knocked hard on the middle of the table. He glared at her. Li Yan's fingers slowly touched the knife. She chuckled softly in her heart. I knew it. There is no such thing as a handsome husband loving you sincerely in this world. The moment to test my acting skills has come. She sat down gently, her lips trembling, her voice small as a sigh. I just wanted to cut the bacon. A plastic knife and fork can't cut it. Is that not okay? After a moment of silence, Xingye's voice rang out. It is okay. Suddenly, he stood up abruptly, Li Yan stunned and bewildered. Before she could react, Xingye stepped closer. Then his voice rang out, calm and warm. It was my oversight. I should have helped you cut it earlier. Hearing this, she was almost speechless, the corners of her mouth moving slightly and then stopping. Li Yan's heart beat wildly. This man and his subordinates are very wary of me. I can confirm that he is not my husband. On the surface, Li Yan still smiled, her mind constantly scheming. Assuming the worst-case scenario, the most likely possibility is that we are enemies. If it were just a simple enemy relationship, I would not still be alive, so the urgent matter. She did not forget to remind herself, I have to find out what he wants from me. Just then, the sound of shattering glass rang out. Xingye hurriedly used his body to shield Li Yan's body. His voice suddenly rang out, sharp as a military order. Junzi, call the brothers outside to support us. His reply rang out outside the door. Protect the boss. The atmosphere immediately tensed. The sound of hurried footsteps, the sound of metal clashing against metal, faintly ringing from outside. Xingye reassured in a low voice. Don't be afraid. He glanced forward, his eyes like blades flashing in the dark. With me here, no one can hurt you. Li Yan trembled slightly, but her heart was even more conflicted. Jiyu Xingye's subordinates are fighting outside as long as... Her eyes revealed clear calculation. Li Yan's hand tightened, the knife trembling in her palm. As long as I stab him with the knife in my hand, I can take the opportunity to escape this place. But... At the same time, Xingye suddenly shouted, Danger! He used his body to shield her, and shards of glass immediately pierced his back. She cried out softly, her eyes horrified when she saw his shoulder stained red. Jiyu Xingye, you are bleeding. He curled his lips, his gaze firm. It is just a small wound. It is okay. Li Yan could not help but feel a little confused. Why would he disregard his own safety to protect me? In that moment, doubt arose in her heart. Could it be, he really is my husband? Outside, a roaring voice rang out. Beat them! Tang La sneered and shouted, Li Yan, I know you are inside, you motherfucker, get out here! The sound of gunfire rang out sharply. She screamed madly, Li Yan, get out here! Over here, Xingye and Li Yan quickly hid behind the door. Bullets kept piercing through the thick wood. Meanwhile, she narrowed her eyes to observe. The sound of the bullets is different. Li Yan carefully reached out and touched it, and she was even more horrified. This is rubber bullets. What is going on? Could it be that Jiyu Xingye wants to test me again? In an instant, Li Yan realized bitterly. So, Jiyu Xingye's protection for me is also acting. Luckily, I did not act just now otherwise. She slowly released her hand and the knife immediately fell down. I must have fallen for his trap. At the same time, the man shouted loudly, "Second boss, it is time. We have to retreat." Tongla roared angrily, "Wait, a little longer. Ji-Yu Xingye's men have shown up. We can't fight against the real guns in their hands." At this moment, the bullet suddenly fired, and she immediately ordered, "Damn it, retreat." Once outside, the man could not help but be curious. "Second boss, why do we have to take such a big risk?" Tongla glared at him. "Nonsense, of course it is for the boss." She became more and more angry as she spoke. "The boss is in Ji-Yu Xingye's house. I am causing a commotion, so she can escape with her abilities." The man judged, "Second boss, your paintings are still as terrible as ever." Tongla roared, her eyes flashing fiercely. "Stop talking nonsense, this is the first step of my great plan. Just now it was because you guys were too weak, otherwise the boss would have escaped long ago." But another person stuttered, his face pale. "But, we caused such a ruckus, and the boss has not appeared yet. Could she have died in Ji-Yu Xingye's house?" Those words seemed to awaken Tongla's mind. She angrily yelled, "Shut your crow's mouth. The boss's skills are not something you can touch so easily." Tongla said in a choked but firm voice, "That woman, she can't die like this." A few years ago, in a dark room, Li Yan's icy voice rang out, tearing through the atmosphere. "Tongla, all the guys who bullied you are here, right?" A guy panicked and kowtowed. "Sister Yan, my godfather is the decision-maker of the S Chamber of Commerce. Please spare me. We can cooperate in the future. There will be no shortage of benefits for you." At the same time, she confirmed, "Only him." The man hurriedly explained, "Her father owed me money, and he gave her to me to pay off the debt. My brothers and I just enjoyed the fresh goods. Sister Yan does not need to lose harmony between us, for her sake." Li Yan narrowed her eyes, her cold eyes looking down from above. "Haven't you forgotten that I am stepping on your head? I am also a woman, bullying weak women, kneeling before strong women." She slowly walked over, her heels stomping heavily on his head. "You are just a bully who bullies the weak and fears the strong." The guy trembled, his voice visibly faltering. "Sister Yan, I did not mean that. How can that bitch Tongla compare to you? Please forgive me. I will do anything you want." Li Yan did not answer, but turned to Tongla, her eyes like cold swords cutting deep. "Tongla, look, this is your nightmare. You see him looking exactly like a dog, begging for mercy. Is it really that scary?" She emphasized sternly, "Your nightmare, let you end it yourself." Li Yan handed the gun to her and reminded her, "Tongla, be strong, trample all those who look down on you under your feet." Back to reality, Tongla emphasized each word. "Li Yan, she is very strong, she must still be alive. I can definitely save her." Over here, Li Yan carefully bandaged the wound. She soothed gently. "The glass fragments have been taken out. It will heal very quickly." Li Yan quietly looked, unable to hide the scrutiny in her eyes. There was a scar in the position of Ji-Yu Xingye's tattoo, and it seemed that the wound was very deep. In that instant, Xingye's eyes accidentally met hers. His firm chest once again hit Li Yan's line of sight. Seeing this, Xingye leaned over, his voice half joking, "What are you staring at?" Li Yan did not answer. She glared at him. His expression seemed to be testing whether she really had amnesia or not. Did the tattoo of Ji-Yu Xingye have a story behind it? After a long while, Li Yan kept praising, "I am admiring my husband's figure. Such a perfect figure should be exposed more. It is a feast for the eyes." An idea arose in her heart. Ji-Yu Xingye's figure is really good. There is no denying that. At the same time, he suddenly made a suggestion. "I am going to change clothes. Come with me." Li Yan looked around in confusion. This place is a closet. Her heart was even more confused. If we are really husband and wife, this closet will definitely have traces of living together. Li Yan paused at the door of the closet. A school uniform. I am probably not a student at my age. Does Ji-Yu Xingye like this style? An idea flashed through her, making her shudder. Or is it also my fashion taste? Could it be Ji-Yu Xingye's sexual preference? He likes this style? Li Yan's eyes continued to move. "Let us see this side." She muttered softly. "What kind of strange clothes are these?" Before Li Yan could ask, Xingye spoke first, his voice low, his eyes shining as if seeing through her thoughts. "Do you remember now?" She turned back in confusion. "What?" He slowly opened his mouth, each word hitting Li Yan's mind. "There are precious memories of the two of us on those clothes. That is our first time." Her heart was shaken. I used to dress like this, and had precious memories with Ji-Yu Xingye. What exactly happened then? Vague memories gradually surfaced. Xingye breathed a sigh. Girls are so annoying. He puffed out his cheeks and pouted. "We are just going shopping. Why buy so much stuff I do not know?" Hearing this, Li Yan immediately explained. "I did not just buy it for myself. There are also gifts for Uncle Cheng." Xingye immediately complained, "You flatterer. Is not the money all given by uncle for nothing? She lowered her voice. Okay, waiting is a bit long, but... Li Yan suddenly paused. She carefully bent down and took out a shirt. Li Yan smiled brightly. Look at this. It is for you. The pure white shirt immediately hit Xingye's eyes. His eyes widened, and he asked back. For me. Immediately after, Xingye loudly blamed. You want to bribe me? I am not easily tempted. Even if you give me this shirt, I won't be friends with you. Li Yan leaned closer. Who wants to be friends with you? If you accept my gift, you are mine. She smiled slightly, her eyes curving in challenge. In the future, you have to be my husband. Xingye's cheeks turned red. He hesitated and retorted. You are dreaming. A toad wants to eat swan meat. Xingye kept muttering. I absolutely won't accept the shirt you gave me. I won't keep it for a second. I will throw it away immediately. In an instant, he was pulled back to reality. More than 10 years have passed. This shirt. Xingye looked directly into Li Yan's eyes and whispered, It has a very deep meaning. She could not help but feel a little confused. Deep meaning. How deep? After a while, Li Yan boldly speculated, because it is extremely economical, so it has a deep meaning for you. He quickly denied, that is not it. Then Xingye's voice dropped, with a hint of helplessness. Those clothes are that kid Huo Junzhe messing around. Suddenly, he changed his tone. Actually, we do not usually live here. I brought you to the suburban villa, because it is quite safe here. So I asked Junes to buy some women's clothes temporarily, but I did not expect him to buy these things. She paused slightly, then chuckled involuntarily. It is okay. I guess they also want to promote our relationship. Xingye tilted his head to look at Li Yan's hand. Is the wound on your hand better? He gently touched her hand. Let me see. Xingye carefully observed. He gently reminded. Didn't it scab over? Wrapping it again won't be good for the wound? Saying that, Xingye looked up. If you want to put it on, it is fine. There are still a lot. Li Yan's ears were red. She stammered. No need. It is better now. He was silent for a moment. Then the corner of his mouth suddenly lifted. Of course, there is a way to make the wound heal faster. As soon as the words fell, Xingye leaned over and kissed Li Yan's hand lightly, like this. She was stunned for a moment. The hormone is strongly aggressive. The sunlight is hot, clean, and fresh. In that moment, Li Yan kept denying. It must be the effect of the hormone, making me unable to resist. Who is he? Is all of this real? A subordinate's voice came from the side, breaking the sweet atmosphere. Big brother, sister-in-law, the doctor is waiting outside in the living room. Xingye glared at him. I know, get out. After a long while, he looked worried. Doctor, what is my wife's condition? He frowned and looked at the image. According to the film, it seems that the external injury has affected the damaged brain, leading to amnesia. But luckily, the damage is not serious. It will take half a year slowly, or 1 or 2 years at most, for the patient to recover their memory. Hearing this, Li Yan gradually became worried. The time to recover my memory is longer than I thought. If it takes 1 or 2 years, will it be dangerous for me to live here? Then she looked vigilantly at him. I have to quickly determine Jiyu Xingye's true identity and purpose. Outside, Xingye politely bowed. Thank you, doctor. I will see you out. He humbly replied. Mr. Jiyu, you are too polite. At the same time, Li Yan focused on observing him from above. A sense of unease flashed past, like sharp thorns piercing her heart. Why do I feel that Jiyu Xingye does not seem very happy? Li Yan was startled. A bottle of medicine with no label. She saw Xingye accepting the medicine from the doctor. After a while, she curiously approached. Jiyu Xingye, you are back. What did the doctor say to you? He told the truth, without hesitation. Nothing, just gave me a bottle of medicine. Xingye shook the bottle in his hand slightly. The doctor said, this medicine can nourish brain nerves and help you recover your memory. Here, take one first, and try. The corners of Xingye's mouth curved into a forced smile, his low voice ringing like an order. Be good, come and take your medicine. Li Yan's eyes wavered, staring at the strange bottle, her heart rising with uncontrollable fear. The medicine has no label, who dares to drink it? Trying to regain her composure, she asked, her voice cautious but still pretending to be gentle. What is this medicine for? If it is a tonic, why does not it have a label? And why did not you give it to me in front of me? And Xingye solemnly observed Li Yan's every move. She frowned, staring at him. In that moment, Xingye's voice kept echoing in her ear. And what else? Suddenly he leaned closer, finally remembered, this is poison. Hearing this, Li Yan was startled. She unconsciously moved back. Seeing this, Xingye chuckled lightly. I am kidding. Her face showed more confusion, her eyes almost wanting to curse. He tilted his head slightly, the corner of his mouth lifted in a meaningful curve. I am your beloved husband. How could I harm you? Hearing this, Li Yan pursed her lips, her heart filled with thoughts. If Ji Yuxingye wanted to kill me, he would have done it directly, no need to wait so long. She quickly made a judgment, unless he wants to turn me into an idiot. After a while, Li Yan rubbed her temples. Damn it, my head hurts so much. I can't remember anything from before. She narrowed her eyes slightly, her heart full of vigilance. No matter what, Ji Yuxingye definitely has a problem, but for now, I can only continue to find opportunities to probe him. After a long while, he asked carefully, "Are you not feeling well? I will take you to rest." Li Yan nodded without hesitation. Okay. Immediately after, she sat on the bed, with Xingyi next to her. He did not forget to remind her, stroking the bottle. "Remember to take your medicine before going to sleep." Li Yan looked vigilantly at the bottle. He is reminding me to take the medicine again. It seems like there's a problem with this medicine. At the same time, Xingyi could not help but be suspicious. What is wrong? You still do not want to take it. As he spoke, he reached out to touch the bottle. Could it be that I have to? Xingyi unexpectedly put the medicine in his mouth before Li Yan's horrified eyes. At the same time, he leaned closer. "Let me feed you myself." After speaking, he just stared at her. Seeing this, Li Yan immediately avoided him. She acted like she was struggling. "I do not want to drink it." Xingyi's expression changed in an instant. In the past, she angrily shouted, "I do not need your help." Back to reality, Xingyi suddenly pressed Li Yan onto the bed. She screamed in confusion. "Are you crazy?" He did not care, and proceeded to kiss Li Yan forcefully. Seizing the opportunity, Xingyi quickly pushed the pill into her mouth. She struggled, her hair disheveled, her eyes wide with vigilance. "Ji Yuxingye, let me go." In a fleeting moment, Li Yan's cheeks flushed red, her voice choking. "Don't touch there." He immediately regained his senses, his lips moving slightly. "That is right. This place is injured." Afraid of hurting her, Xingyi worriedly approached. "Does it still hurt?" Meanwhile, Li Yan shyly turned her face, avoiding Xingyi's eyes. He hesitated and said, "I am sorry. I just remembered some unhappy things. I could not control myself. You rest first. I will wake you up for dinner later." After a while, Li Yan tossed and turned on the bed. She unconsciously reached out and gently touched her lips. The warmth from before still lingered on her fingertips. Li Yan could not help but think. He was able to endure just now, and he was worried about my wound. She became more and more confused. What exactly happened between us? At the same time, Xingyi received a call from Junze. He immediately answered the phone. "Is there any problem with the effect of the medicine?" He quickly replied, "There is no problem, boss." Hearing this, Xingyi muttered to himself, "Is that so?" Li Yan still has doubts. At this moment, Junze hurriedly reported, "Boss, XX has an appointment with us." I told them that Li Yan is in our hands, so they... He nodded in satisfaction. Not bad. A low voice, mixed with restraint, made the whole room instantly cold. Li Yan not only did not die, but Ji Yuxingye also caught the assassin we sent. The man opposite trembled and nodded, his eyes fearfully looking at the other person. Immediately, the stone in that guy's hand flew straight over. The man knelt down. This subordinate was wrong. This subordinate has installed a spy to sneak into Ji Yuxingye's villa. If I find an opportunity, I can take that woman's dog life. Please give this subordinate another chance. That cold voice rang out again. Make it clean and tidy, and frame Ji Yuxingye. He continued in a cold tone. The trash from the Juke gang will definitely seek revenge on Ji Yuxingye. At that time, we can profit like a fisherman. Scene changes to Ji Yuxingye's villa. Meanwhile, Li Yan swallowed hard. I have been in Ji Yuxingye's villa for more than a week, and the external wound has started to scab and slowly close. She looked ahead nervously. Today, Ji Yuxingye went to the Chamber of Commerce to handle business, leaving me in the house, not allowing me to go out. I feel a lot of pressure. Behind Li Yan were 4 burly bodyguards, their eyes staring at her. Li Yan cautiously leaned forward. The group broke out in a cold sweat, all of them scared. Standing in front of a row of gun barrels, Li Yan explained irritably, "I am going to the bathroom. You do not need to be so nervous." She shuddered slightly, always feeling a murderous aura hidden in this awkward atmosphere. Am I being too sensitive? In that moment, Li Yan quickly came up with a plan. I have to find a way to get familiar with them. Her eyes accidentally touched a gleam of steel. It is a knife. The man frowned. Sister-in-law has finally come out. Suddenly he roared, "Now let sister-in-law see my awesomeness." Seeing this, Li Yan shouted, her eyes showing horror. The man excitedly showed off. "How is it, sister-in-law? This is my exclusive apple peeling technique. I can peel 3 apples at once." She replied instinctively, "Thank you." After a while, Li Yan chuckled softly. "Excuse me, do you have any more apples? I want to peel some too." He quickly replied, "Of course I do." The atmosphere that was somewhat tense before now seemed to soften. She placed the peeled apples on a plate, smiling. "Here, everyone eat while they have not turned yellow yet." The man showed an admiring expression. Sister-in-law's knife skills are amazing. Li Yan breathed a sigh of relief, thinking to herself, "It seems quite successful." The man brought out a glass of clear tea, the water, a reddish pink. "Sister-in-law, I added roselle to this glass of black tea. It is very nutritious. Try it." She politely accepted. "Thank you so much." Li Yan carefully took a deep breath. In that moment, she suddenly shouted, "There is a problem with the tea." Li Yan immediately turned around and explained slowly, "The tea is a bit hot. I will wait for it to cool down before drinking." Her discreet eyes swept over everyone in the room. I do not know if the person who made the tea has a problem, or if someone else added ingredients because there are so many people here. But it is probably not Jiyu Xingye who instructed them. After all, he does not need such a troublesome way. Li Yan glanced at the fruit knife on the table. Even the fruit knife is plastic, I can confirm. In the stuffy room, she lowered her eyelids slightly, her lips pressed into a cold curve. Li Yan focused on thinking, her heart becoming more and more confused. Someone in this room wants to harm me, and at the same time, the person who wants to harm me seems to be very afraid of me. He does not dare to face me directly, so I will be patient for a while and play cat and mouse with him. Scene changes to a tall building. Inside, the man kept reporting. Huo Junzhe sits as the vice president of the Qinglong Chamber of Commerce, and serves as the general manager of Jiyu Xingye's real estate group. He continued, he is extremely loyal to Jiyu Xingye, a righteous and kind person. Although he is capable, he lacks strategy. Tung La showed interest, but this guy does not look as unpleasant as Jiyu Xingye. After a while, the man excitedly suggested, Jiyu Xingye is cunning and cautious. Why do not we start with Huo Junzhe? For example, use a beauty trap or something? Tung La gnashed her teeth. Then who do you think is suitable to go? The man hurriedly waved his hand. I can dedicate everything for the boss, but Huo Junzhe is not my type. Suddenly, a subordinate rushed in to report. Second boss, we called the doctor who went into Jiyu Xingye's villa to ask questions. He said that when Jiyu Xingye introduced the boss, he said she was his wife, and also said that the boss has amnesia. The man from before immediately jumped in. I knew that Jiyu Xingye has always been craving the boss. The boss must have been eaten clean. The doctor said the boss is as gentle as a little white rabbit. Could it be that she was taught all kinds of deceitful tricks by Jiyu Xingye? Her voice choked, almost bursting. The boss is so strong, how can she suffer such humiliation? Suddenly, Tung La's eyes lit up, as if a flame of determination had ignited. She declared aggressively, absolutely not. We must rescue the boss from the devil's lair as soon as possible, at any cost. At the same time, Xingye lightly licked his fingertip, his eyes gradually becoming blurred. The dark red cup of black tea sat on the table, the surface reflecting the faint light. Li Yan sat cross-legged, her hand propping up her chin, her eyes pensive as if waiting for something. She frowned slightly, her heart rising with vigilance. I have waited so long that the tea has gone cold, and I have not seen the person adding something to the tea take action. One of them plucked up the courage to speak, his voice cautious. Sister-in-law does not like the taste of this tea. Then let me. Li Yan raised an eyebrow slightly, in her eyes a hint of contempt mixed with vigilance. It is still him, the person who brought me the tea. The man smiled awkwardly, raising the teacup as if to hide his embarrassment. The tea leaves are my precious things, do not waste them. I will drink them all first. He quickly grabbed the teacup and brought it to his mouth. Then, suddenly she swung her hand and slapped the man hard in the face. There is a mosquito! Li Yan looked down at the floor and chuckled softly. Too bad. I will just have to drink it next time. Immediately after, she turned around coldly. Don't worry, the mosquito has been killed. I am going back to my room now. The man touched his face lightly, muttering incessantly. I think I saw my great-grandmother flash by. Meanwhile, Li Yan was slightly pensive, her thoughts swirling deep within her. It was not the person who made the tea for me. He sincerely wanted to drink it. Thinking of this, Li Yan looked vigilantly at the group of people. The person who poisoned me is very careful. It is not easy to show their face. She secretly made a calculation. I would just have to wait for that guy to take action next time and catch him. At this moment, the muzzle of a gun was suddenly pointed directly at Li Yan. The other person's finger slowly moved to the trigger. Witnessing that scene, she was momentarily terrified. He is about to pull the trigger. In another development, Liao Ming asked in a low voice, The business talks are over. Does President Jiyu have time tonight? He grinned. You can come to my bar. There are quite a few new girls in the bar lately. Xingye looked up, his face unchanged, his voice refusing lightly but decisively. I do not have time. I have things to do tonight. President Liao's Quilin Chamber of Commerce must be very busy too. Liao Ming teased, the corners of his mouth curving up. Could it be that President Jiyu is hiding a beautiful woman in a golden house and is eager to become a groom every night? The phone rang, interrupting him. He immediately answered, Hello? It is me. After listening, his expression changed slightly. Xingye shouted, What? He left without hesitation. Sorry, President Liao. I have something urgent. Please excuse me. Contrary to expectations, he just nodded. It is okay, you go ahead. Immediately after, Liao Ming smiled. Jiu Xingye, the feast I prepared for you is just serving the appetizer. Saying this, he laughed wildly. Wait until you get home. You will find that the canary in your heart has been poisoned. At the same time, Xingye walked in a hurry. The door burst open. He shouted, Where's Li Yan? The subordinate hurriedly replied, Upstairs. He kicked open the door without thinking. Xingye shouted in a panic, Li Yan. His face was momentarily blank. Looking inside, Xingye was even more confused. What are you doing? She replied casually, eating potato chips. Leon looked up, saw the worry in his eyes and laughed. What is wrong? I am not injured. Are you a little disappointed? Xingye was stunned. His eyes softened. He shook his head slightly. Number. Suddenly, Leon tapped on the edge of the bed. Sit down, I will tell you slowly. Over here, Junze did not forget to advise, be vigilant these days. Li Yan was shot. There is an internal spy among you brothers. Huang Mao grinned. That is only because you are not here. Brother Jun, if you were here, who would dare? The atmosphere quieted down. He looked curious. Speaking of which, why does the boss want that old witch? Junzi's telling voice slowly rang out, each word like a knife carving into his memory. The boss said that years ago, when she was at his uncle's house, she stole the decision-maker seal of the City General Chamber of Commerce. Huang Mao exclaimed involuntarily, the seal is in her hands. In that instant his eyes stopped at one point. What is going on over there? There was someone molesting a female student. The woman kept begging, Don't touch me. Help me. In the dark alley, rough laughter echoed. Come here, little sister. The man smiled. Come home and play with me. Tongla kept struggling. Get away. At this moment, Junze unexpectedly attacked from behind. He angrily gritted his teeth and shouted, Let her go. The thugs ran away quickly, their mouths constantly flapping. If you are obedient, do not run. You little bastard, wait. We will find someone to beat you up, he immediately roared with power. This is the area of the Qinglong Chamber of Commerce, not a place for you to mess around. After a while, Junzi worriedly approached. Are you okay? Tongla trembled, her eyes sparkling with fear, her voice choking. Thank you, can you take me home? Back to Lian, she said in a low voice. At that time, the black muzzle was only a few centimeters away from me, but I did not feel scared at all. Lian looked up to observe. He is very afraid of me. He did not pull the trigger immediately, so... She quickly realized that she had a 0.5-second opportunity. In that instant, instead of trembling, the hot blood in her body surged. At that time, she was not only not afraid, but also felt a bit of excitement coming from her heart. Lian was like a bloodthirsty beast. She decisively swung her leg and kicked hard. Her roar tore through the tense atmosphere, Don't run. Suddenly, the man threw down an object. The white, misty smoke swallowed Leon's body. She cursed. Damn it, it is a smoke bomb. Leon had to stop, her fist clenched tightly. It is a pity, I did not catch him that time. Back to reality, Xingye looked at her with complex eyes. Leon smiled slightly and leaned closer. Why are you looking at me with that expression? He curled his lips slightly, his voice strangely calm. So you let him escape, and you did not see his face either. Hearing this, she nodded blankly. Of course, I did not see him. The corner of Xingye's mouth unconsciously curved up, he said meaningfully. What a pity. Seeing this, Leon shuddered slightly. Nie snorted coldly. It seems that there are a few rats hiding in your house who want to cause trouble. Saying that, he stood up and advised in a low voice. But if you are okay, then you rest. Leave the other things to me. Leon looked regretful. Are you leaving? Hearing this, Xingye turned around suspiciously. What? She watched him, and suddenly said reproachfully, I was almost shot to death. Should not you comfort me a little? Faced with Leon's sulky expression, Xingye looked indifferent. He suddenly leaned closer to her. His hand lightly touched one side of her cheek and pinched it gently. Xingye coldly opened his mouth. Comfort, I do not think you need that. The atmosphere went silent. Xingye's voice rang out in a low voice. Just like you said, the burning instinct of the beast in your body. He tilted his head to look at Leon and continued. The desire to be soothed, that is what Leon really needs. She reacted sharply. Don't talk nonsense anymore. I do not need those things. Suddenly, Xingye pressed Leon down hard. He smirked. Another familiar scene. It seems like you like this game a lot. The space was stuffy and strangely familiar. Leon kept struggling. Let me go. His smile tilted slightly. He answered softly, but full of challenge. What if I do not let you go? Impulsiveness burst out. Leon angrily shouted, Then I will crush your XX. She froze, her face flushed. What did I say? At the same time, Xingye turned around, his voice ringing out with hesitation. I said you do not need comfort. Behind the night, Lian lay alone in the bedroom. She closed her eyes tightly, without any precaution. He had somehow approached right next to her. The knife slowly moved to Li Yan's temple. A whisper rang out softly in the darkness. Li Yan, are you asleep? Ji Yu Xingye coldly interjected. Li Yan, are you acting, trying to deceive me, or is this the real you? He stared at her and said, if you could be like this forever, how wonderful would that be? As soon as he finished speaking, Ji Yu Xingye plunged the knife down, the blade almost touching her face. Then it stopped at Li Yan's carotid artery. Ji Yu Xingye lowered his head, quietly gazing at her sleeping face. Sure enough, she was asleep. He carefully walked outside, calling out, "Good night, wife." At the same time, Li Yan's hand tightened on the blanket. After a moment of silence, she sighed. Her heart could not help but feel a little lost. Just now, did Ji Yu Xingye want to kill her? No, it seemed like he held a kind of stubborn hatred towards her. Meanwhile, in a modern apartment complex, Huo Junze sat inside awkwardly. He could only be seen swallowing nervously. Song Luo approached from a distance. Benefactor, thank you for helping me chase away those bad people earlier, and thank you for bringing me back. Huo Junze turned to look at her, his voice calm. It is nothing. Were you hurt just now? Are you all right? As soon as he finished speaking, Song Luo trembled slightly. She hesitated. Speaking of being hurt. Her voice choked, trembling like a sigh. Compared to the physical wounds, the mental wounds are more serious. I still feel scared when I think about it now. She could not help but burst into tears. Huo Junze quickly stepped forward, gently comforting her. All right. It is all right now, miss. Seizing the opportunity, Song Luo leaned closer. Huo Junze awkwardly retreated. Sorry, I did not mean to touch you just now. What should I call you? My name is Huo Junze. A cold light flashed in her eyes, the corners of her lips slightly raised. This guy is good at pretending. I will see how long you can keep it up. Song Luo said in a gentle voice while keeping her distance. My name is Song Ru. She sat up straight, her hands clenched tightly, her voice lowered. Because I live alone, I am always harassed by the local thugs. At this moment, Song Luo looked at Huo Junze with a fearful expression. There was even a time when they... Before she could finish, Huo Junze frowned, anger flashing in his eyes. Bullying women is despicable, terrible. Song Luo quickly explained, Brother Huo, do not be angry. Fortunately, the police arrived in time. I am fine. He took a breath, his eyes firm, his voice calmer. Don't worry, I won't let you encounter this again in the future. The atmosphere quieted down. Song Luo turned slightly. The tea is cold. I will make another cup. Hearing this, Huo Junze hesitated. There is no need to trouble you. Song Luo tilted her head, her eyes watery and sincere. How can that be? You are the hero who saved me. As she stood up, she started to stagger. He quickly caught her, his voice worried. Be careful. Huo Junze asked anxiously, Are you all right? Song Luo frowned slightly, her eyebrows furrowed. I sprained my ankle. It hurts so much. She tightened her grip on his arm and said weakly, I do not think I can walk. At the same time, Huo Junze wore a complicated expression. He suddenly wrapped his arms around Song Luo's waist. Huo Junze decisively picked her up. I will take you to the bedroom. In that instant, a mysterious smile bloomed on Song Luo's lips. Hooked. Sure enough, men are all big pig trotters. Immediately afterwards, he carefully carried Song Luo to the bed. She shyly lowered her head. Thank you. A thought flashed through Song Luo's mind. Very good. Just one step left. Boss, sacrificing my beauty is all for you. Contrary to expectations, Huo Junze suddenly made a suggestion. You should rest. I will go home. Call me if anything happens. Here's my business card. As soon as the door closed, Song Luo cast a cold look at the empty space. She could not help but curse. He left. What the hell? Scene changed to the next day at Ji Yu Xingye's building. Huo Junze said in a cold tone, The boss is not here today, but there is something that needs to be clarified. He continued in a stern voice. Someone among us wants to kill Miss Li Yan. Immediately afterwards, Huo Junze decisively ordered, Today, we must find that person in this villa. Next person. Come with me into the study. The group looked at each other in confusion. Following me into the study, the group of people looked at each other in bewilderment. Half an hour later, Li Yan said wearily, All right, you can go out. The man bowed slightly. Yes. When only the two of them were left, the space suddenly became terrifyingly silent. Huo Junze looked directly at her, his voice calm but with hidden meaning. Miss Li Yan, the boss is extremely concerned about you being implicated, to the point where he can't be calm and objective. Li Yan's long eyelashes trembled slightly, her eyes half smiling, half probing. Isn't that how all men are with their other halves? Or have you, Huo Junze, never met a woman who makes you like that? Being hit where it hurt, his cheeks unconsciously flushed red. He simultaneously turned away, avoiding her gaze. After a moment of silence, she tilted her head, her voice lowered. By the way, Huo Junze, I have always been curious about Jiyu Xingye's attitude towards me. Did something unpleasant happen between us? He immediately became vigilant. Li Yan smiled faintly. It is all right. You do not have to tell me. Just pretend I did not ask. But at that moment, Huo Jun slowly said, emphasizing each word, you and the boss were deeply in love. But something happened, and you hurt him very deeply. Hearing this, Li Yan could not help but feel a little surprised. What happened? He looked at her and replied, you betrayed the boss. Hearing this, Li Yan was stunned, a trace of panic rising in her eyes. Me? I actually betrayed Jiyu Xingye. No wonder Jiyu Xingye has such a strong desire to control me, and such a subtle hatred towards me. Recalling his gaze that was both gentle and secretly hateful, her heart beat erratically. Wait, Jiyu Xingye would never let go of someone who betrayed him, so does not that mean I am definitely going to die? Li Yan glanced at Huo Junze, her voice half questioning, half pleading. Huo Junze, how did I betray him? Did I have an affair? He did not answer, but ordered, next person, come in. Meanwhile, she became even more bewildered. I have a handsome and radiant husband. How could I have an affair? Before Li Yan was the flesh and blood Jiyu Xingye. He smiled gently. Wife, get ready. You won't be able to sleep tonight. But a trace of panic flashed in her eyes. What kind of person was I before I lost my memory? Did I get tired of eating delicacies and want to change my palate to corn cakes and pickled vegetables from street stalls? She hesitated, wanting to ask Huo Junze, but her lips parted and then stopped. She really wanted to ask Huo Junze about her affair, but she could not now. He said coldly, where were you when the gunshot went off? The man frowned slightly and replied calmly, I was packing things in the storage room when I heard the gunshot. Another voice interjected, I was taking a dump at the time. I heard the gunshot and ran out before I could even put my pants on. He scratched his head and smiled awkwardly. I did not even have toilet paper. The heavy atmosphere immediately shattered. Li Yan said, before the shooting, the other public area cameras in the villa were damaged, so their words, many of them cannot be verified. Seeing this, Huo Jun's turned to reassure her. It is all right, sister-in-law. Leave this to me. You can rest assured and take a rest. She quickly called out, her eyes tense. By the way, Huo Junze, about my affair. Huo Junze had already run away to the opposite side. Li Yan called out helplessly, don't go. In the silent room, she lowered her head and thought Jiyu Xingye. A crazy idea flashed in Li Yan's mind. The appearance and figure, even the kissing technique. How could I have an affair? Could it be? At this moment, she boldly made a guess. Could it be that he is not good in that area, so I went to have an affair? Thinking of this, Li Yan quickly shook her head. No. What nonsense am I thinking? The urgent matter now is to appease him. She immediately came up with a plan to stop his desire to kill her. After a long while, Li Yan busily went into the kitchen to cook. At the same time, Jiyu Xingye slowly opened the door. He curiously looked inside. I am back. What are you busy with? Li Yan was startled slightly, forcing a smile. Husband, you have worked hard. Today, I am specially making your favorite dish. She brought out a plate of braised pork ribs, her eyes full of anticipation. Quick, try the braised pork ribs. Jiyu Xingye glanced over, his eyes somewhat suspicious. Did another assassin come to assassinate you today, and shot into the kitchen? As he spoke, he pointed to the object in Li Yan's hand. Therefore, the assassins were all perfectly dealt with by you, which is what is in front of me. The atmosphere suddenly became silent. Jiyu Xingye frowned. Admittedly, this is a very good way to dispose of corpses. Are you blatantly poisoning me? Li Yan trembled slightly, but still tried to coax him, holding the chopsticks up to him, her voice as soft as water. Quick, try it. She looked at Jiyu Xingye with sparkling eyes and continued to urge. This is what I worked hard on all afternoon. Before Li Yan's sparkling eyes, he had to compromise. All right, I will eat it. Immediately afterwards, Jiyu Xingye quickly put a piece of meat in his mouth. He could only be seen chewing slowly, his mouth extremely beautiful. On the other side, Li Yan looked at him with expectant eyes. Seeing this, Jiyu Xingye nodded slightly. Very delicious. She was slightly stunned, her eyes lit up. Really? Jiyu Xingye nodded, his voice deep and hoarse. Yeah. He suddenly leaned close to her ear and whispered, Really? Jiyu Xingye continued to whisper, Can you make it for me again next time? After a while, he changed his tone. You go and rest first. I have some things to do for a while. I will be right back. In that instant, Li Yan was left alone in the kitchen. She sat in silence for a long time, then whispered softly, as if talking to herself, Jiyu Xingye. Thinking of this, Li Yan could not help but feel a little suspicious. What exactly did I do to betray you? At this moment, she unconsciously felt a mixture of shock and regret. but you still tolerate me like this. Returning to Jiyu Xingye, he moved step by step towards the painting. He could only be seen reaching out and touching the pattern on it. On the other side, in the dark dungeon, the sound of whip slashing was heard. He asked loudly. Still have not pried his mouth open. Huo Junzhe immediately lowered his head. He would rather die than say who ordered him to assassinate Li Yan in the hospital. This assassin is very professional. Opposite him was a man, his body covered in wounds. Jiyu Xingye looked at the other party with cold eyes, an assassin from the Assassin Alliance, not belonging to any chamber of commerce. Don't you naively think that if you keep your mouth shut, the client will let you go? He continued in a cold voice. Now you are a major threat in the client's heart. If I had not hidden you here, you would have been killed by him. Immediately afterwards, Jiyu Xingye decisively announced, I will give you a day to think carefully. Huo Junzhe, we are leaving. He quickly replied, yes. Just at this moment, the door to the basement opened, accompanied by a creaking sound. From above, the sound of footsteps echoed in a rush. He could only be seen a mysterious figure appearing with a dagger. The assassin laughed hoarsely, his voice stifled in blood. So you guys hid him in the dungeon in the secret room, making me search for so long. Don't blame me. I am just following the client's instructions. Immediately afterwards, he swung the knife forward with a savage laugh. Suddenly, the knife stopped before the body. Before him was a dummy. The assassin's eyes widened, trembling as he looked at the person in front of him, a fake person. At the same time, Jiyu Xingye suddenly pressed the light switch. He stared at the assassin with cold eyes. You took the bait. Too bad. The assassin was moved to a safe place by us. No wonder when you saw Li Yan in the hospital. Your first reaction was to kill her. Speaking of this, Jiyu Xingye glared. So you will tell me who is behind it, and I will spare your dog life. Huo Junzhe immediately made a guess. So it was Liao, the boss of the Qilin Chamber of Commerce, who ordered it. He added softly, the power of the Qilin Chamber of Commerce and the Zhuge Chamber of Commerce are equal. He offends the Zhuge Chamber of Commerce at a loss of 10. In that instant, Jiyu Xingye frowned tightly. Could it be the decision-maker of the General Chamber of Commerce? As the thought flashed through his mind, he remained silent, as if calculating. After a while, Huo Jun's carefully probed, Big brother, that guy betrayed you. Now that he is released back into the wild, will it be all right? Jiyu Xingye coldly replied, a murderous aura flashing in his eyes. I do not forgive those who betray me, and neither does Liao Dalao. He replied quickly, understood. He turned his eyes to the assassin and emphasized, betrayal is the most taboo thing in this business. Even if you get the money, you may not have a life to spend it. Just at this moment, the phone suddenly rang. The screen displayed a message from Song Luo, Brother Huo. Are you free? Can you go to a place with me? Meanwhile, Leon's heart was in a mess. Damn it, when will I have the opportunity to make up with Jiyu Xingye? He is always on guard against me now. She stood sternly in front of the mirror and suddenly worried. The fact that I betrayed Jiyu Xingye is like a ticking time bomb. If I do not resolve it, I will be dead every time he is in a bad mood. That can't happen. A light flashed in her eyes. Lian smiled. The most effective way to narrow the distance between men and women is to turn the distance into a negative number. Take the initiative to attack and turn the tables. A sudden pain rushed to her brain. She began to stagger. My head hurts so much. Lian's eyes changed in an instant. Next to her was a sharp dagger. The figure of Ding Ying suddenly approached. She looked at her coldly. No wonder you kept blocking me from entering. So you're keeping a mistress hidden here. Lian was stunned. Who is she? Why does she look like she is catching a mistress in the act? She whispered in her heart, I do not know who you are. Survival Handbook Rule Number 1, don't hit a smiling face. Immediately afterwards, Lian smiled. Hello, sister. Do you want to eat french fries? Sorry, Jiyu Xingye is not home. Hearing this, Ding Ying suddenly shouted, You actually called me sister. Immediately, her body struggled, accompanied by a shrill scream. You bitch, do you know how old you are? You actually called me sister. I am 1 year, 4 months, 21 days, 11 hours and 40 minutes younger than you. What good intentions do you have calling me that? Damn it, I am so angry. The man quickly held her down. Calm down, calm down. Seeing this, Lian was displeased. Why are you so agitated? She squinted at Ding Ying. She replied coldly. All right, today I will let you know. Don't think I do not know what you are planning. A woman like you is just pretending to be pitiful, trying to win Jiyu Xingye's sympathy, shamelessly staying by his side, right? Lian began to panic, her voice weak. You have misunderstood. It is Jiyu Xingye. She interrupted, her eyes burning with contempt. You are still pretending. Listen clearly to me. At this moment, Ding Ying ordered without any respect. I am Ding Ying, Jiyu Xingye's official girlfriend. A shameless third party like you, get out of here, immediately. Don't think you can win Ji Yu Xingye's heart by pretending to be weak, you fake wild woman. In that instant, a drop of water fell from above. At that moment, Ji Yu Xingye's voice rang out, cold and sharp. Lian, you are not so stupid that you would rely on superficial temptation to erase your past betrayal, right? Lian trembled, her voice choked. Ji Yu Xingye, I do not remember anything. He said bitterly, the current you is just a canary that I have caged. Whether I want to torture or kill you, can you resist? I just want to see you struggling desperately in despair. On the other hand, she could not help but cover her head and scream, don't say any more. Just at this moment, a voice came from outside. Miss, you can't come in, Ding Ying roared angrily. You dare to stop me. He tried hard to stop and persuade her. The boss is really not home. Please go back, she continued to shout. Get out of my way. Immediately afterwards, Ding Ying brazenly punched the man in the eye. Her eye suddenly stopped at a point, where Li Yan was standing. In the blink of an eye, Ding Ying's complexion changed, her eyes revealing hatred. In another place, a quiet tea room, Ding Wan spoke slowly. It is rare to see Ji Yu Laoda of the Qinglong Chamber of Commerce come to my place for tea. Ji Yu Xingye coldly replied, I would not dare. I must visit Uncle Ding's place often. He raised his cup, his eyes curved. You must be very busy these days. Ying Ying is always causing trouble for you too. It is really a headache. Ding Yuan, the decision maker of the General Chamber of Commerce of City S. He took a sip and said leisurely, it is all right. Actually, I brought Li Yan home. Ding Yuan slowly observed, his voice as dissonant as a sharp knife. The reason you did that is because... At the same time, Ding Ying roared angrily. Of course it is, because Brother Xingye wants to avenge her betrayal? A woman who is bold, arrogant, and delusional like her. What man in this world would love her? A sneering laugh followed. You stupid woman, do you think he really likes you? She glared at her coldly. He is keeping you around just to exploit your remaining value. He has said it himself. He has no feelings for you. Ji Yu Xingye's eyes suddenly darkened. Each word cold. I have no feelings for Li Yan. I am imprisoning her just to avenge what happened back then, and... Speaking of this, he suddenly made a vow. After my uncle dies, the 4 Directions seal will fall into her hands. Such an important seal should return to the decision-maker of the General Chamber of Commerce. After I get it, I will give it to Uncle. At the same time, Li Yan unconsciously felt a sting in her chest. Sure enough, Ji Yu Xingye is imprisoning me here with a motive. More and more new information is coming. Maybe I can get more information from this idiot girl? She quickly made a calculation to provoke her a little, so that she would reveal the information herself. Li Yan immediately approached. You said just now that you are his official girlfriend. So I have something to ask. Li Yan tilted her head and probed, adding a sarcastic smile. Has Ji Yu Xingye ever slept with you? Ding Ying's face immediately turned red. She stammered and cursed. You stupid woman, what are you talking about? Hearing this, she sneered. As the official girlfriend, you have never slept together. Ding Ying approached angrily. It is none of your business. I warn you, do not be too arrogant. Suddenly, Li Yan reached out and stroked her chin. She said coldly, you do not know anything at all, and you call yourself Ji Yu Xingye's girlfriend. You do not even know why I appeared in the villa? Your self-righteous appearance is too ridiculous. Ding Ying jumped up angrily, her voice off-key, who said, I do not know. You and Brother Xingye are mortal enemies. He is keeping you alive only because you took... No, it should be said. The important thing... She was slightly stunned, her heart skipped a beat. Mortal enemies, an important thing. Ding Ying took another step forward, her voice as sharp as a knife. Do you think you can erase the hatred you have by pretending to have amnesia after stabbing him? The collarbone on his chest was broken by you. Your knife almost killed him. In that instant, Li Yan was almost dizzy. I stabbed him. Cracked memories flooded back. Images of blood soaking on skin, a scar hidden under a tattoo. She constantly questioned herself, why? What exactly happened? I remembered everything. The scar under his tattoo is proof that I stabbed him. Thinking of this, Li Yan could not help but feel a little confused. Everyone said, I betrayed him, hurt him. Could it all be true? She trembled slightly, then murmured as if possessed. The me of the past. Was I an evil person? At the same time, Ding Ying scornfully raised her chin. Do you think people call you a hyena because you are strong? We just hate the way you madly tear and bite endlessly. Brother Xingye is keeping your dog life, only because of the thing in your hand. Otherwise, you would not have lived until now. The atmosphere was thick and suffocating. Li Yan suddenly smiled. I know, thank you. The space was silent, only the tea was steaming. Ji Yu Xingye suddenly spoke. Uncle Ding is busy. I won't bother you anymore. He looked pleased. Talking with young people is really enjoyable. Just at this moment, Ding Yuan suddenly spoke with hidden meaning. A yay. Do you know what point of yours makes people praise you? Ji Yu Xingye immediately turned around. He smiled casually. You are like your uncle, working neatly and cleanly, leaving no future troubles. Hearing this, he emphasized again, Uncle Ding, rest assured. After handing over the 4 directions seal to you, I will personally end that woman. Ding Yuan looked attentively at the teacup. This tea is really not bad. Returning to Li Yan, she made a final conclusion. No matter who was wrong first, the most important thing now is to save my life. Continuing to stay here may be very dangerous. Suddenly, Ji Yu Xingye flung open the door. He looked inside suspiciously. Why are you packing your things? Ji Yu Xingye's voice was low, carrying an irresistible power. Li Yan, where do you want to go? Faced with the questioning, she hesitated. Ji Yu Xingye, your girlfriend told me to get out of here. He was confused after hearing this. Girlfriend? I do not have a girlfriend. Li Yan blurted out 3 short words, Ding Ying. Ji Yu Xingye paused for a moment and then explained, She is the daughter of the decision-maker of the General Chamber of Commerce. We're just acquaintances. Seeing this, Li Yan said sternly, although I have amnesia, I am not interested in your romantic history. There are other fish in your pond and you will be fine without me. I hope you will be lenient and let me go. Hearing this, Ji Yu Xingye ordered without thinking, You can't go. Li Yan laughed and choked. Since I lost my memory, you have locked me up here. You say it is for protection, but in fact you have another purpose, right? The atmosphere froze. She suddenly leaned closer. Instead of suspecting each other like this, let us be straightforward. Li Yan's eyes stopped and pointed directly at his chest. This scar was made by me, right? Ji Yu Xingye narrowed his eyes, his voice hoarse. Who did you hear that from? She did not explain, but screamed, Ji Yu Xingye, do not deny it. You hate me, do not you? At this moment he hesitated and replied, No, I do not resent you at all. Li Yan continued to question, You are still denying it. She gently blew into Ji Yu Xingye's ear and seduced him. Ji Yu Xingye, can you be as honest as your body? After a moment of suffocating silence, Li Yan laughed sarcastically, her voice as if making a judgment. You see me as a canary, enjoying the power to control everything about me. Very satisfied, right? Ji Yu Xingye shook his head violently. That is not it, I do not. In that instant, Ji Yu Xingye's eyes met Li Yan's. He hesitated and said, I just want to protect you. Ji Yu Xingye carefully touched her hand. Li Yan, you have to believe me. He continued in a choked voice, tinged with pleading, I, towards you, have no ill intentions. At the same time, Li Yan tilted her head, observing Ji Yu Xingye. She coldly questioned. You lock me up in the house every day to drink unknown medicine, send a group of subordinates with real guns and bullets staring at me. If you were me, what would you think? Hearing this, Ji Yu Xingye directly asked, So what do you want? In the gloomy room, the atmosphere seemed suffocated. Li Yan replied concisely, Let me go. Contrary to her, a look of disappointment flashed across his face. Ji Yu Xingye said in a low voice, Although I have temporarily helped you eliminate the biggest threat, I do not know if there is anyone else who wants to harm you. It is not safe outside now. Li Yan frowned, thinking, But if I stay here, I have to drink that unknown medicine, and the fact that I stabbed Ji Yu Xingye is a ticking time bomb between us. Just listening to his one-sided words and staying here, waiting for me to run out of value, will be very dangerous. Her eyes suddenly lit up, carrying a vague thought. I have to find someone else to verify my true identity. Going out may be dangerous, but continuing to be locked up like a bird in a cage, letting Ji Yu Xingye use me, will not help me recover my memory. Immediately afterwards, Li Yan became almost impatient. She shouted, Agree quickly, or I... Li Yan's hand suddenly touched the gun in Ji Yu Xingye's pants. Seeing this, his face changed. Without hesitation, she moved the muzzle of the gun to her temple. I will die for you to see. Li Yan boldly placed her hand on the trigger. Threatening, I mean what I say, Ji Yu Xingye immediately panicked. He leaned closer. No, do not. In that moment, helplessness spread in his eyes. Damn it. After a moment of silence, Ji Yu Xingye nodded helplessly. Okay, I promise you. Hearing this, Li Yan smiled, threatening. But then, Ji Yu Xingye's voice softened, as if trying to maintain some control. However, you must also promise me one thing. She became vigilant, her heart beating fast. What? What is it? Fear rose in her heart. Sure enough, the wolf's tail is showing. The real purpose is about to be exposed. Ji Yu Xingye looked directly into Li Yan's eyes. He slowly said, I hope, you promise me, after going out, you must protect yourself well. At this moment, Ji Yu Xingye moved closer to her. I will be at home waiting for you to come back. In that moment, he smiled brightly, his eyes full of love. The space suddenly fell silent. Li Yan stood still at the threshold. Ji Yu Xingye. She painfully turned her head to look behind. I am breaking my promise. I will not return to this beautiful birdcage again. After a long while, Lian drove on the highway, concentrating her thoughts. Recently, I have been dreaming of a house with a yard. I have a feeling that if I go there, I might remember something. Lian stared ahead with a firm belief. In my dream, that house is located in the south of the city. I drove here from the garage behind the villa. The car has anti-peeping windows. Thinking of this, her eyes drooped, carrying the thought, I also took Ji Yuxingye's gun. It should be fine. In that instant, Ji Yuxingye's voice kept echoing in her ears. You promised me, after going out you must protect yourself well. I will be at home, waiting for you to come back. Lian paused slightly. Are his words true? Suddenly, the truck in front of her accelerated unexpectedly. Faced with the unexpected scene, she could not help but feel a little panicked. Immediately, Lian turned the steering wheel, crashing straight into the railing. A series of assassins stepped down from the truck. At the same time, she had already fallen into a coma. Amidst the chaotic scene, the group gradually approached. Lian vaguely watched. She could not help but feel a little suspicious. The supervisors outside the villa could not possibly know that I drove out. Ji Yuxingye would not do this unless... Immediately, Lian made a guess. In the villa, there is an inside agent. At the same time, the sound of gunshots suddenly came from behind. Witnessing that scene, Lian opened her eyes wide. Before her was a figure both strange and familiar. He could only be seen raising his foot and stomping hard on the assassin. After finishing, he lowered his head to look into the car window. He could only be seen raising his hand to touch the door lock. Just at this moment, a voice rang out, Yan Yan. On the other hand, the subordinates looked worried. Boss, is it okay to just let Lian go like that? She has a lot of enemies. What if she encounters danger? Ji Yuxingye interrupted. I have spread the news that the Four Directions seal is in her hands. She is forced to live, so the Four Directions seal has the possibility of returning. He cast a cold gaze into the distance. The Four Directions seal is the seal of the decision-maker of the General Chamber of Commerce throughout the ages, representing the leadership position of the decision-maker with all the people in charge of the Chamber of Commerce. It is said that there is a hidden treasure contained within the Four Directions seal. The Four Directions seal has been missing since the previous decision-maker died. The current decision-maker does not have the Four Directions seal, so it is inevitably difficult to be legitimate. The man suddenly... Ji Yuxingye suddenly changed his tone. Even if she is captured, I will definitely rescue her, except... He raised his head and looked in one direction, the corners of his mouth slightly moving. That madman. Scene changes to an extremely luxurious mansion. Lian woke up faintly from her coma. Before her was Sheng Tianli. He slowly lit a cigarette. He could only be seen Sheng Tianli, tilting his head back, exhaling a puff of white smoke. Immediately afterwards, he turned to smile casually. Yan Yan, long time no see. Why do you look as wretched as a prostitute? Sheng Tianli boasted triumphantly. I pointed my gun at those corpses. This time, I shot them in the head, ensuring no one survived. Meanwhile, Lian carefully observed him, carrying a gun and killing so many people with a smile, without any burden, more perverted than a pervert. How did I get to know someone like this? No matter what, it is okay to pretend to be familiar. For now. As soon as the thought ended, she smiled brightly. Long time no see. Seeing the expression on Lian's face, his eyes immediately changed. Immediately afterwards, Sheng Tianli leaned closer. Yan Yan, you are very strange. In that moment, he unexpectedly hit Lian's weak spot. Could it be that the accident in the car just now made you lose your memory? Then Sheng Tianli began to lament. If Yan Yan forgets me, I will be very sad. My Yan Yan has no memories, just like having no value to exist. She smiled coldly. You are wrong. I did not lose my memory, I just... At the same time, Lian quietly reached for a shard of glass. Immediately, she held the sharp shard to Sheng Tianli's neck. My reaction is just slow. In a blink of an eye, Lian ran out. She coldly reminded, goodbye, do not meet again. On the way to escape, Lian breathed heavily. I can't help but feel a little worried. Too dangerous. This time, I have completely angered that madman. I have to get away from him quickly. Suddenly, the sound of a gunshot came from behind, causing Lian to jump. Sheng Tianli pointed his gun at her and smiled. This is the Yan Yan I know. It is a pity you forgot to stab me with a knife, but we have not had such a fun time playing like this in a long time. On this side, Lian writhed in pain on the ground. Before losing consciousness, he leaned closer. Why not come to my house today, and we can reminisce about the past? In another development, Huo Zhongzhe could not help but exclaim, the scenery here is beautiful. He turned to Song Luo and recounted, I also accidentally discovered this place. The view is very wide. When I was little, my dad brought me here. My dad was a retired soldier, my mom was... Hearing this, she immediately changed her expression. Dad. The scenes of the past suddenly reappeared. The man angrily roared, "Hey, when are you going to pay the money you owe me? Today is the deadline." The person below kept begging, "Please give me a few more days. I will pay you right away." Seeing this, the man grabbed his hair and cursed, "Damn you, you son of a bitch." His eyes suddenly turned towards the direction of the sound. Immediately afterwards, the man moved towards the wardrobe. Before his appearance, Song Luo trembled. Returning to reality, Huo Junse asked anxiously, Song Ru, are you okay?" He reached out and touched her. "Why are you crying?" Song Luo shook her head slightly. "It is nothing. I just saw the scenery and felt emotional, remembering some things." Seeing this, Huo Junse replied softly, "It is all my fault." She quickly denied, "It is okay anyway." Immediately afterwards, Song Luo kissed him lightly on the lips. "It is enough for me to have you." At the same time, a familiar car drove past. The person in the car looked at the two and muttered, "It is him." After a while, Leon's body lay alone on the cold ground. In that instant, she woke up faintly. A pain suddenly throbbed. "I am not dead. It is a rubber bullet." On the opposite side, Shang Tianli chuckled. "As expected of my scheming Yan Yan, but Yan Yan, you hit too hard." He stared at Li Yan and squeezed the wound on her shoulder. "It hurts so much, but it is nothing." Hearing this, she coldly said, "A perverted monster like you can't die." Li Yan raised her eyebrows slightly, observing Shang Tianli more carefully. "This person knows me. Perhaps he can bring me a lot of useful information. I can only follow him." After a long while, the car sped on the highway. At this time, Shang Tianli put on a coquettish expression. "Yan Yan, you let an injured person drive, how cruel." Li Yan replied with an annoyed expression, "Stop talking nonsense. Did not I help you treat the wound?" She frowned, muttering to herself, "Thanks to Ding Luying, I have a general understanding of what kind of person I was before I lost my memory. Play myself well. As long as I do not get discovered by this pervert, I should be safe." Li Yan's eyes suddenly turned to the front. That is. She looked out the window in confusion. "Huo Zhan's, why is he here? Is that his girlfriend?" His eyes glanced at the couple kissing in a quiet corner, the corners of his mouth raised. "There are young lovers kissing. This quiet place. It is really convenient to do something." Li Yan could not help but wonder, convenient to do what? She cursed angrily in her stomach. "I can't see that this madman's brain also contains scrap metal." Seeing the vigilant look in Li Yan's eyes, Shang Tianli smiled contemptuously. Convenient to dispose of the corpse after killing someone. Li Yan let out a breath. Is this guy's thinking not normal? Then he changed the subject. "There is someone you know. Do you want to stop the car?" Li Yan quickly replied, "No need. Drive straight ahead." She frowned and looked through the rearview mirror. "I did not expect Huo Chunze to be in this place. He is Ji-Yu Jingye's person. I should stay away." Scene changes to an extremely luxurious, but no less gloomy mansion. Inside, Shang Tianli could not help but exclaim, "As expected of Yan Yan, your bandaging technique is as good as mine." She laughed. "I just got used to it." Seizing the opportunity, Li Yan turned around and looked around. "I did not expect this place to have such a complete medical room. There is also a pharmacy and a pharmaceutical laboratory, so this madman is a doctor." Just at this moment, Shang Tianli unexpectedly asked softly, "Yan Yan, do you want to take a bath?" Hearing this, suspicion rose in her heart. He speaks very naturally, are we? Very close friends? After a moment of silence, Li Yan said, her eyes avoiding him, "Take a bath at your place. It does not seem very convenient." Shang Tianli frowned, his voice teasing, "Are you being shy, heavens? Could it be that Yan Yan thinks I will peek at you taking a bath?" She was momentarily flustered. "I did not think that, but why are you getting so excited?" Li Yan was secretly happy in her stomach. Looking at his reaction, "We are just ordinary friends. No ambiguous relationship." Then suddenly he leaned back and said, with hidden meaning, "However, a single man and woman, in a villa with few visitors it seems, it is not bad to do something." Li Yan's complexion immediately changed, her eyes revealing panic. Just at this moment, Shang Tianli shrugged and sighed. The most perfect thing is to cut and flush at the same time. The bathwater can wash away the blood. It can wash away all traces of the crime. Very convenient. She unconsciously shuddered. So he wants to commit a crime. Does this madman's brain only contain the desire to kill? Suddenly his eyes moved to Li Yan. "That is right. A few things about work. Yan Yan, come with me." She could not help but feel a little surprised. "I also exchange work with this madman." After a while, Shang Tianli carefully explained, "The formula for this drug is a bit complicated this time. The ingredients are hard to find. Making ordinary drugs will take another week. Can't deliver on time, I will reduce 10% for you." She frowned and turned to look over, unconsciously understanding. "So, I and this madman are partners in preparing drugs. That is right." Immediately afterwards, Li Yan quickly handed the bottle of medicine to him. "Help me check the ingredients in this bottle of medicine." Suspicion rose in her heart. Ji-Yu Jingye forced me to drink this medicine in his villa. Although I secretly vomited it out, he checks too strictly, so I still drank almost all of it. Sheng Tianli received the bottle of medicine. His eyes lit up. Yan Yan's medicine will definitely make a lot of money. You go to the study upstairs and wait for me. Give me half an hour, no, 15 minutes, is enough. He could only be seen Li Yan walking step by step towards the room. She raised her head and looked up, her mouth uttering a sound unconsciously. Prosperity. At the same time, Sheng Tianli's voice came around. Yan Yan, I have finished checking. Li Yan immediately reacted. How is it? He seriously replied. A mixture of two kinds of drugs. One is to promote the metabolic process of the brain, and the other is to nourish the brain nerves. After a long explanation, Sheng Tianli concluded. In short, it is a drug that specializes in treating amnesia. She tilted her head in disbelief. It is a drug to treat amnesia. Then, Li Yan unconsciously felt regret. Jiyu Xingyi did not harm me. Meanwhile, Sheng Tianli continued to say, his eyes focused on the bottle of medicine. This drug is suitable for a small number of people. Anyway, copying it is not profitable. Who is using this drug? Speaking of this, he looked at her with suspicion. Could it be you? Faced with Sheng Tianli's scrutiny, Li Yan shrank her neck. She quickly denied the accusation. Of course not. It is for my friend. Li Yan tried to restrain her breath, her heart in a mess of worry. If this madman knows I have amnesia, I might die. I absolutely can't expose myself in front of him. Sheng Tianli once again changed the subject. He glanced at her. Yan Yan, this calligraphy painting was given to me by you. It has our names on it. It is really very meaningful. Li Yan's eyes stopped on the familiar handwriting. It has my name on it. Looking at the handwriting feels familiar. It must be my handwriting. That is right, she replied casually. Yes, I wrote it. Contrary to expectations, he suddenly burst out laughing. Immediately afterwards, Sheng Tianli moved closer, step by step, and asked loudly. Then, Yan Yan, my name is what? She unconsciously shuddered. Damn it, I can't remember. He held the sharp shard to Li Yan's neck, then continued to urge. Then Yan Yan, tell me, what is my name? Seeing this, she coldly looked up at Sheng Tianli. I will count to 3. Put the knife down now. Li Yan did not think much and started. 1. Her heart beat faster, her breath was rapid. He has suspected me. If I can't pass the probe, will I die? 2. Finally, Sheng Tianli stepped back. He shrugged slightly. Don't be so tense. People just want you to call my name. Li Yan frowned, shaking her head vigorously. I do not want to. It is disgusting. She frowned and thought, instinctively, I am already getting goosebumps. I am really not compatible with this guy. Listen to my instincts. When I had not lost my memory, I probably did not call his name either. Seeing this, he quickly knelt down. Yan Yan, do not be so heartless. Li Yan replied indifferently. Get lost. I am going to sleep. Before leaving, she slowly turned around. In Li Yan's heart, she was still as tense as a bowstring, feeling that if she could not call out his name, she would have to be on guard against him assassinating her, even when she slept. Her eyes stopped on the familiar handwriting once again. Her chest tightened. Prosperity. Could his name be these 2 words? Li Yan immediately turned around the moment she saw that familiar handwriting. She seemed to remember something. Then she quickly made a guess. His name absolutely is not Prosperity, but is. Finally, Li Yan smiled casually. Good night, Sheng Tianli. She thought to herself, the surname is Xing, the name Tianli. Sheng Tianli immediately reacted. His eyes lit up slightly. Yan Yan, you called my name. She smiled slightly, as if recognizing the mystery hidden in the handwriting. Prosperity, separated, is just the 2 words Tian and Li. Li Yan boldly analyzed. When I wrote that character, I must have deliberately used a pun way of writing it. After a long while, the mansion was covered by the night. At this time, Li Yan tossed and turned in bed. She could not help but cry. I missed the comfortable bed in Jiyu Xingye's house so much. The more Li Yan thought about it, the more regretful she felt. Moreover, he thoughtfully provided a bedtime service. Suddenly, a sound came from the room below. Hearing this, Li Yan opened the door without hesitation. She looked around. What is that sound? It seems to be coming from the room below. Li Yan quickly walked. Anyway, I can't sleep. Might as well go and take a look. She looked vigilantly at the streak of light in the room. The door. It is not locked. At this time, Li Yan carefully squinted her eyes and looked inside. He could only be seen Sheng Tianli reaching out and touching a dry corpse. She unconsciously blurted out. Her heartbeat was like being hammered. Corpse. The scene before her was like a hammer hitting her head. Her head began to hurt, followed by those painful memories that she had forgotten. That year, at 8 years old, her father and the woman left that place, the place called home. Her mother raised her while working, she always said. Her father was just temporarily confused. He loved them. He would come back sooner or later. Then her mother overworked and fell ill, running a high fever. There was no more rice to cook in the house, no money, so she had to find a way to go out and find medicine. For her mother, she found several pharmacies, kneeling down and begging. Finally, someone kindly gave her medicine. When she got home, Her mother was sleeping, but she was sleeping too deeply. No matter how she called, she would not wake up. Her mother's mouth was tightly closed. She had to spend a lot of effort to squeeze the medicine into the gap between her teeth. After her mother took the medicine, her fever went down. The medicine was very good. Her mother's body was very cold. Maybe she would wake up soon. A shrill scream rang out. "Someone! Come here quickly! What are they doing?" Leon kept shouting. "Get out! Do not touch my mother!" One of them ordered loudly. "Take the child away!" Seeing this, she cried out in pain. "My mother took medicine. She is getting better. She will wake up soon. Get out of here. Get out." But maybe because she had not bathed for a long time, her mother's smell led a group of people to her. They wanted to take her mother away. She desperately tried to stop them. Her father had not come back yet. Her mother had not waited yet. They could not go. Then she was taken to a place called an orphanage. Then someone kind came to adopt her. The man looked at Leon with loving eyes. He said softly, "My dear, I have helped you bury your mother. From now on, you will follow me. This is my grandson. In the future, we will live together." At the same time, Jiyu Xingye also appeared. He said coldly, "Hello, hello." The scene changed. Jiyu Xingye shouted madly, "Don't sleep! You can't sleep now!" He kept shouting, "Open your eyes for me." Leon tried to reach out and touch Jiyu Xingye. She said weakly and did not forget to remind, "Anyway, I am the person you hate the most, right? Never mind me, you should run away." Hearing this, Jiyu Xingye picked up Leon regardless. "If you want to go, we will go together. If you want to die, we will die together." He hugged her cold body tightly and declared, "In this world, I like you the most." In that instant, Jiyu Xingye was almost desperate. He said chokedly, "If we can escape this time, you must marry me as your wife." Scene changed to the cherry blossom season. Jiyu Xingye reminded sternly, "Don't peek, I have not covered it yet." Li Yan questioned, "Anyway, you are giving it to me, or not you?" He hugged the jar in his hand and smiled, "Not giving it to you now, but giving it to the future you." Then Jiyu Xingye lowered his head and thought. He hesitated. 10 years. Oh no, you can only see it 15 years later. Finally, Jiyu Xingye tilted his head, his voice curious and worried. "You said, can this time capsule be preserved for so long?" She replied indifferently, "Maybe. Did you put something very important inside?" Under the pit were 2 small jars, placed neatly. Jiyu Xingye put on a pouty face. "I won't tell you." Hearing this, Li Yan immediately reached out. "Then it is a promise. 15 years later, we will return to this place and dig out the capsule." He could not help but feel a little curious. "Li Yan, 15 years later, what kind of people will we become?" Before the unexpected question, she was slightly stunned. Jiyu Xingye said in a trembling but firm voice, "Will we still be like we are now, close, still always, together?" Li Yan leaned slightly, her voice decisive. "Definitely, hook fingers. I will protect you, support you. I, Li Yan, will never betray you, Jiyu Xingye. You are the most important person in my life." A moment flashed past. Leon said coldly, "I said, do not block my way." Immediately afterwards, she glared and roared, "The one who blocks my way can only die." After speaking, Leon decisively raised her hand. "Jiyu Xingye, even if it is you, it won't do." Just at this moment, a voice urged her to stop. "Stop! He is Jiyu Xingye. It is you who promised to protect Jiyu Xingye forever." Next to her, Sheng Tianli looked sulky. "Yan Yan, you are calling another man's name on my bed. That is too much." Li Yan looked at him in confusion. "Why are you here?" Sheng Tianli smiled. His voice rang coldly. "Last night you fainted at the door of the secret room. I carried you back to my bed, surprised to see my collection. If others had seen it, they would have become a part of my collection." Li Yan asked curiously, regardless, "Do you know if there are any islands nearby, full of pink cherry blossoms, light pink cherry blossoms?" Before her question, Sheng Tianli replied quickly without thinking, "I do not know, but I can take you to the dock to ask a little." Seeing this, Li Yan quickly refused. "No need. Let me go by myself. I owe you one last night. I will pay you back later. I am leaving now." Sheng Tianli immediately sat up. He put on a coquettish expression. "Yan Yan, are you leaving me alone? We have not seen each other for a long time. Can't you stay with me for a few more days?" She replied concisely without any respect, "Can't." The villa with the yard that she had dreamed of before was Sheng Tianli's house. Next, she should go find the island in her dream. At the same time, Li Yan seriously went to greet the uncle. "Excuse me, is there any island nearby, full of cherry blossoms?" The man tilted his head and looked at her and asked again, "You must be talking about Hongba Island." She thought to herself, "There's a capsule I buried under the cherry tree on that island. Maybe it can make me remember a lot of memories." Li Yan nodded slightly. "Probably. 1,000 yuan. Take me there. Get on the boat quickly." After a while, the man shouted, "One more person." The boatman replied quickly, "The boat is full." The man on the other side of the window suddenly offered a price. "I will offer 3 times the price. Take a trip along the way." At the same time, Li Yan nodded in agreement. Okay, get on quickly, we are about to set off. Immediately afterwards, she sat upright on the seat. In that instant, a familiar figure flashed past Li Yan. She immediately looked over vigilantly. This person's figure, could it be? At the same time, another person stepped forward to cause trouble. Hey, did you get on the wrong boat? This is not the boat route for Hongba Island. The boatman replied angrily. Stop talking nonsense. If I have taken your money, I will naturally take you where you need to go. Hearing this, Li Yan spoke. Take him where he needs to go. What about me? The man turned his eyes to her. As for this beautiful lady, someone wants to meet her. There is no danger. I hope she will cooperate. After a while, he continued in a low tone. Be good and do not move. We are just taking you over there. Li Yan paused. She frowned and looked. Take me, just with you people. He could only be seen Li Yan leaning down, searching for something in her bag. Immediately afterwards, she took out a large gun. Li Yan coldly pointed the gun at the group of people, then decisively pulled the trigger. Or should I take you for a ride? Immediately, dozens of bullets rained down on the ground, next to the cold bodies of the group of people. Witnessing that scene, another person pointed his gun directly at Li Yan's head. Damn it. The man smiled sarcastically. You are out of bullets, are not you? Just as he was proud, another voice interjected. Not yet. The person coldly suggested, throw down your weapons and tell your people to stop. Hearing this, the man was disdainful. We have a dozen people. Can you kill us all? In the vast sea, you have nowhere to escape. Jiyu Xingye did not flinch and retorted bluntly. The ones who want to die are you. I will give you 1 minute. Either jump into the sea to save your lives, or die. In that instant, Li Yan's eyes stopped on him. Jiyu Xingye, it was actually him. On this side, Jiyu Xingye looked at the man with cold eyes. The bullets I brought today are enough to kill everyone on your boat. If you do not want to die, get lost quickly. She looked at him in amazement, her heart full of mixed feelings. Jiyu Xingye, even though we only separated for a day, I was looking forward to seeing his face again. On the other hand, the man was unwilling to be outdone and threatened. Jiyu Xingye, I will settle today's debt with you sooner or later. After a long while, the ship quickly docked. Li Yan glanced at the group of people. She was upset. Just let them go like that. This is not your style. And then his voice rang out, cold, decisive, then kill them, including you. You are a celebrity. Now everyone is tracking your whereabouts. Immediately afterwards, Jiyu Xingye teased casually. They must be dreaming, a piece of fat meat delivering itself to the door. Li Yan frankly admitted, I originally wanted to go to a place. I heard that this is the only dock that can get there. But I did not expect to get on a pirate ship. Her eyes turned to the scenery in front and continued. It is a very beautiful place, with pink cherry blossoms everywhere, and also... After speaking, Li Yan unconsciously turned to look at Jiyu Xingye. He also unconsciously turned to look at her. In that instant, Li Yan asked curiously, Jiyu Xingye, you do not care that I hurt you and stole your things. Why did you bring me home? Treat me. Then she put on an uneasy and puzzled expression. Isn't direct coercion more effective than using gentle emotions to influence me? Faced with a series of questions, Jiyu Xingye was slightly stunned. Then he turned and bowed his head without answering. But the next question was strangely tormenting. Li Yan, in your world, is benefit. The most important thing, she nodded casually, that is right. Hearing this, Jiyu Xingye turned to look at her. Then what would you do? Li Yan did not hesitate to express her point of view bluntly. If someone took my very important thing and hurt me, I would definitely take revenge on that person cruelly. Even if that person hated the ends of the earth, I would find them, to make that person repay all the injuries I had to endure. If that person was once close, then the betrayal is even more unforgivable. He smiled casually. If you were the one betraying and hurting others, would you also want the other party to use that method to take revenge on you? Li Yan replied indifferently. You play, you pay. If you have done evil, you must bear all the evil consequences. Even if you are killed by a close person, it is a punishment for the right crime. Jiyu Xingye's heart unconsciously twitched. That is right. This is the Li Yan I know. He suddenly opened his mouth. Let us go back to the cabin. I will take you there. Seeing this, she asked curiously. You know where I want to go? Jiyu Xingye pretended to be ignorant. Let me guess. Then he looked towards the front, an island full of cherry blossoms. That place has your memories. And also... Li Yan's face immediately stiffened. Jiyu Xingye emphasized each word, the time capsule. In a dark corner, the man just now smirked. Immediately afterwards, the cabin exploded. Smoke and dust flew out in a misty mess. Another person could not help but feel a little confused. The boss's stuff has not been found yet, so let them die like this. The man's voice was irritable, but a hint of complacency flashed in his eyes. Anyway, now I've heard to confirm that Li Yan wants to go to Hongba Island to find treasure. That woman is useless now. In another development, Li Yan's body drifted on the sea. He could only be seen, her body almost sinking, deep down. In that instant, Jiyu Xingye appeared and hugged Li Yan tightly. Immediately afterwards, he placed a sweet kiss on her lips. Just as the two pairs of lips separated, Li Yan murmured vaguely, "Ji-yu Xingye." The next morning, a very bright island. Li Yan woke up suddenly. She looked around in confusion. "I am still alive." Li Yan's eyes swept quickly everywhere. This place is an island. Then she looked worriedly at the water. "Where's Ji-yu Xingye? Is he dead?" On this side, the coconut tree almost pierced straight up high. Li Yan huddled in a corner. She choked and said, "Ji-yu Xingye must have died to save me." But then self-blame rose. He clearly cared about me very much, sincerely wanted to help me recover my memory. But I always suspected him. He would not have gotten involved. Li Yan lowered her head in pain. He clearly had no ill intentions towards me. It was me who always suspected him. Finally, she could not help but curse herself. "Damn it, I still can't remember anything. I am so useless." Li Yan's eyes were teary and almost crying. She looked forward in frustration. Being listless and frustrated here is useless. Now go and observe the surroundings to see if there is food and water. Immediately afterwards, Li Yan went into the forest alone. She casually stretched her shoulders and started her bones. She slowly stretched herself. Her eyes followed the shadow in front. It seems like there is something ahead. Li Yan's heart beat faster. The corners of her lips moved slightly. That is, she was almost stunned by the scene. "Hongba Island is full of flower petals in my dream." At the same time, a boat gradually docked. The man's voice rang out, cold, gnashing his teeth. "You all say that the hyena woman is terrible? Today you will see Li Yan being handled by me personally." Another person nodded. "That is right." The remaining person flattered glibly. "She is just a woman without knowledge. How can she compare to the boss?" After a while, he stared at the phone screen. "You guys be quiet. I will call the boss." The man raised the phone in confusion. "Why can't I call?" Then he paused. "What is wrong? My body can't move." Xing Tianli had already appeared right before his eyes. His voice was low, cold. "Don't be nervous. Just gave them a dose of medicine, right when you did not know." Immediately afterwards, Xing Tianli stepped closer, saying, "Where does Li Yan plan to go?" He quickly understood the meaning. The corners of his mouth raised, "Just with trash like you, also deserve to kill Li Yan." As soon as the words fell, Xing Tianli smiled coldly. "You owe me another favor, Yan Yan." Scene changes to a house, nestled amidst the flower forest. Li Yan slowly walked in. She carefully spoke. "Excuse me, is anyone here?" Then her eyes swept quickly. "This place, it seems like someone used to live here." The surrounding space was almost covered with flowers. Suspicion rose in Li Yan's heart. There is no one, but this place is a bit familiar. She unconsciously glanced. Every angle, every object. Then Li Yan thought softly, "It seems like there have all been traces of my existence." Seeing the dusty TV, she was momentarily stunned. This place has a TV. Li Yan looked suspiciously in another direction. There is also a videotape with my name on it. She put the tape into the disc box without hesitation. The TV screen immediately buzzed, as if it was broken. After a long while, the picture appeared. It was Li Yan and Ji-yu Xingye. She at that time smiled brightly. "Come here quickly and see Ji-yu Xingye. He is wearing a skirt." He reacted strongly. "What are you doing?" Returning to Li Yan, she could not help but feel a little surprised. "This is me when I was young." Li Yan suddenly pressed closer to him. "Which one do I hug? If you do not give it to me, I will take off your skirt." Ji-yu Xingye panicked and begged. "Don't." He said wearily, "Li Yan is really mischievous." Ji-yu Xingye turned to blame. Uncle is biased. Clearly he likes Li Yan more. She immediately retorted, "Don't talk nonsense. He is your uncle." The scene quickly flashed past. Li Yan unconsciously shed tears. "Uncle." Ji-yu Xingye unexpectedly pressed closer to the frame. "Li Yan, do not forget, there is our secret under the tree in the backyard." She was almost awakened by that sentence. Our secret. Li Yan quickly realized, that is right. It must be that place, the memories that belong to us. Immediately afterwards, she quickly walked to the cherry tree. Then Li Yan dug with her bare hands under the rough soil. Her face was slightly sweaty. After a long while, 2 iron boxes slammed into Li Yan's eyes. She was stunned for a moment. There really is a time capsule. Immediately afterwards, Li Yan quickly unscrewed the lid of the box. He could only be seen her smiling happily, her eyes fixed on the piece of paper. Li Yan stared at the 3-person photo. It really is them. Inside was an accompanying letter. "Li Yan, this is a letter written to the future you. In the future, I want to be taller than you, and also want to marry you as my wife. If you do not agree, I will always follow you. If you have a husband, I will smack." She helplessly burst into tears. "I miss you so much." After a while, Li Yan could not help but cover her face and cry. On the ground was still the family photo and the letter from the Ji-yu Xingye of the past. Li Yan secretly looked into the corner of the box. Let us see what is in the time capsule. Just at this moment, her face showed clear surprise. This is. Li Yan could not help but feel a little surprised. The four-direction seal. Why is it in this place? The four-direction seal is the seal representing the person in power of the General Chamber of Commerce, representing the leadership position of the person in power towards all the people in charge of the Chamber of Commerce. There are rumors that there is a secret treasure hidden in the four-direction seal after the previous person in power of the General Chamber of Commerce died. The four directions seal was also missing. The current person in power does not have the four-direction seal in hand. It is inevitably considered illegitimate. The more Li Yan thought, the more doubtful she felt. It is actually in my time capsule. Who put it here? At the same time, a familiar voice rang out. Yan Yan, as expected, you are not dead. Shang Tianli smiled casually. You made me worry about you for so long. I thought you and Jiyu Xingye were eaten by fish. As soon as she saw him, Li Yan quickly hid the thing, then shouted in panic, Shang Tianli. Before his appearance, Li Yan muttered, Shang Tianli. Seeing this, he slowly approached and leaned down. Yan Yan, what are you doing? Her heart beat rapidly. I can't let Shang Tianli discover that the four-direction seal is in my hands. Without waiting for Li Yan to respond, Shang Tianli suddenly guessed. Could it be that you are looking at the time capsule, remembering the past? He smiled coldly. His eyes followed her. The Li Yan I know is not so weak. You have been a bit different lately. Faced with Shang Tianli's questioning gaze, Li Yan did not refute. After a while, she stood up abruptly and asked coldly, Why are you here, following me? In that instant, Li Yan quickly hid the four-direction seal in her hair. Shang Tianli immediately lay down on the ground. He looked coquettish. I am worried about you. Your body must be embalmed by me to be stored intact. If there is any damage, it will not be beautiful. A mischievous look flashed in Shang Tianli's eyes, and a joking but meaningful voice rang out. Like Jiyu Xingye, being eaten by fish is very ugly. Just use the pit you dug to bury him. Hearing this, Li Yan immediately changed her expression. She asked seriously, You have met Jiyu Xingye? He smirked and nodded. Yes. Li Yan's eyes showed worry. She hesitated. He is. Before Li Yan finished speaking, Shang Tianli suddenly approached. He is dead. His body is over there. After speaking, he casually pointed to the bloodstain. It looks really unsightly. Let us bury it quickly. On the lawn above was Jiyu Xingye, a flesh and blood person. Scene changed to the familiar cottage. Inside, Li Yan carefully wiped the dirt off his face. She looked painfully down at Jiyu Xingye's bare body. The corners of her lips moved slightly. Jiyu Xingye. After a long while, he woke up suddenly, then said dryly, Who? Immediately, Jiyu Xingye grabbed Li Yan's hand. It is you. Joy flashed in his eyes, the corners of his mouth clearly curved up. Li Yan, you saved me. Before Jiyu Xingye's unexpected action, Li Yan was stunned and dazed. Immediately afterwards, he crawled up and hugged her tightly. That is great, I was worried. Then, Jiyu Xingye looked down curiously. Why? Do not want me to die, Li Yan reminded. Be careful of your wound. Just at this moment, Shang Tianli walked in angrily. He loudly ordered, Let go of your dishonest hands, or I will cut you up and throw you to the fish. Hearing this, Jiyu Xingye looked at Shang Tianli coldly. You can try. As soon as the words fell, he held her tightly on his body. Li Yan's face immediately turned red like a tomato. Finally, Jiyu Xingye brazenly provoked, Come and snatch her if you dare. Shang Tianli roared, Yan Yan, get out of the way. Realizing the critical situation, she shouted quickly, Enough, shut up. Li Yan's voice dropped. The sound was stern as if to extinguish his anger. Don't cause trouble, Shang Tianli. Hearing this, he put on a painful expression. Yan Yan, you are fierce to me because of him. Could it be that in your heart, I am not as important as him? She hesitated. It is not. Seeing this, Shang Tianli smirked. Did you hear? In Yan Yan's heart, I am more important. Li Yan quickly retorted. Words are not said that way. He did not care and brazenly challenged. You must know that I am right. That year, Yan Yan and I were together. I am a cooperative partner. Jiyu Xingye replied wearily, The most important thing. He laughed faintly. The smile was half joking, half serious. Anyone can be a cooperative partner. They all have a great chance of being replaced. You two only met for a year, but we. Shang Tianli immediately raged. You two have known each other for a long time, but you are still decisive. Jiyu Xingye retorted bluntly, but she was willing to save me. Hearing this, he became even more furious. I saved you. I used my coat to bandage the wound on your leg. Jiyu Xingye's face immediately changed. Shang Tianli smiled slightly, his eyes flashing with mischief. How is it, disgusting? Take it off if you dare. Standing before two tall men, Li Yan could not help but feel a little confused. Why are these two suddenly acting so childish? She turned her eyes to him. Her heart was a little touched. But Jiyu Xingye like this is very much like when he was little. Jiyu Xingye brazenly retorted. That is also because she called me to save me. Seeing this, Shang Tianli turned around. He suddenly spoke with hidden meaning. Do you think everything will be alright if you save him? Do you feel hot? Your wound is inflamed, but there is no antipyretic. Here, if the fever does not go down tonight, you will be burned into an idiot. By then, I and Yan Yan will bury you together. Faced with that sentence, Ji Yuxingye was almost unable to respond. After a long while, the group moved to the lake. At the same time, the man with the injured body leaned against the wall. Another person speculated in a low voice. Perhaps Li Yan and Ji Yuxingye have a contact, but they can't run far, only around the sea. Immediately afterwards, he ordered coldly, bring some more weapons. Do not let them have a chance to come back. Returning to the cottage, covered by cherry blossoms, he could only be seen, Shang Tianli, yawning widely. His face immediately looked grumpy as if he saw an enemy. Shang Tianli put on an angry expression. I stayed up late last night taking care of you, and you are fine. Refreshed, Ji Yuxingye did not care and picked faults. You took the initiative to want to save me. I did not beg you. Hearing this, he roared angrily. Don't think I do not know you want to be alone with Yan Yan. I advise you to speak politely. I am not only your lifesaver, you will have to take my boat to leave this place later. Just at this moment, Li Yan called out, Shang Tianli. She suddenly pointed in one direction, her tone somewhat serious. It is on fire over there. Li Yan stared at the front. Is that your boat? Immediately afterwards, she quickly ran towards the boat. Li Yan put on an embarrassed expression. There are a lot of them. We do not have weapons. We can't confront them head on. Seeing this, Ji Yuxingye quickly came up with a plan. There is a tunnel under the house. Let us retreat into it first. In another corner, the group turned the guns towards the house. Meanwhile, Shang Tianli glanced around. He could not help but feel uneasy. This is not just a cellar. It is too small. If it is blocked, we will all die. He turned to Li Yan, his voice decisive. Yan Yan, tell that cripple to hide here. Without him involved, the two of us can completely kill them. Ji Yuxingye frowned, quietly observing. If I do not want to live, do not drag Yan Yan down. He took her hand, walking lightly but quickly. Let us go. Li Yan reminded, slow down. Suddenly, Ji Yuxingye turned to look behind. Immediately afterwards, he quickly pressed hard on a stone wall. Realizing the critical situation, Ji Yuxingye quickly hugged her. Yan Yan, Shang Tianli was almost stunned. After a long while, the two were safe. The cellar no longer shook. Afterwards, Li Yan raised her head and looked up. She asked suspiciously, you pressed the mechanism. Before the unexpected question, Ji Yuxingye nodded without hiding. Shang Tianli is too annoying. Speaking of this, he suddenly pressed closer to her. It seems like he does not know you have amnesia. Ji Yuxingye moved closer, he whispered. Right? Li Yan shished. She signaled to be quiet. I do not want others to know. After all, this is a weakness. Ji Yuxingye tilted his head. Confused? He repeated in confusion. Others. Suddenly, Ji Yuxingye leaned over and sucked on her hand. He bit Li Yan's hand lightly, the corners of his mouth raised. I will definitely not tell others. Just at this moment, a voice rang out. Don't run. Li Yan was worried. Those people have chased here. At the same time, violent smashing sounds rang out from outside. Seeing this, Ji Yuxingye once again used his body to shield Li Yan. Be careful. The man outside pointed his gun inside. The wall collapsed. It is a secret passage. There must be someone there. One of them shouted excitedly, It is Ji Yuxingye. The man laughed slyly. What a coincidence. Hearing this, he slowly turned and smirked. Yes, what a coincidence. Seizing the opportunity, Li Yan quickly pressed hard on the stone. The entire basement immediately shook. The group looked at each other in panic. What is? In an instant, hundreds of rocks fell, submerging the group. Li Yan rushed over anxiously. Ji Yuxingye, are you okay? He shook his head slightly. Luckily you ran fast and triggered the mechanism. She frowned and analyzed. The population is not large. There must be a few people chasing after Tianli. Li Yan looked down and saw blood seeping from the wound. She almost screamed, The wound is bleeding. Xingye suddenly urged, It is too late. Let us go first. She looked reluctant. But your leg. Just then, hurried footsteps came from outside. Someone's coming. Amidst the smoke, a figure suddenly appeared. Xingye looked at him warily. There is someone else. Tianli smiled faintly, looking at her thoughtfully. Yan Yan, seeing you so energetic, I am relieved. I won't have to clean up your body. Then he turned to look at Xingye and sighed. You are in a sorry state. Xingye coldly exposed him. Better than you running away from the battle. Hearing this, Tianli retorted in dissatisfaction. I went to lure those assassins away. Over here, Li Yan carefully probed. Are they all dead? Let us take their boat and leave the island quickly. She was so angry that she gnashed her teeth, secretly resolving, I want to go back and find out who is chasing me. Once outside, Xingye said cautiously, "It is not safe outside. How about going back to my place?" Li Yan nodded in agreement, without thinking, okay. At the same time, Tianli brazenly blocked the way, coldly questioning, "Don't be ridiculous, what is your relationship with her that you can invite her?" To his question, he replied simply and without hesitation, "Husband." In that moment, Xingye suddenly spoke, "Yan Yan, do you want to marry me?" Seeing this, Tianli said suspiciously, "You do not want to agree to him, do you? He definitely has ulterior motives." Meanwhile, Lian hesitated. "Jiyu Xingye, I." He looked her in the eye, his voice light but firm. "Don't rush to refuse." Xingye coldly looked up at him, reminding her at the same time, "You can think carefully. Marrying me would be very beneficial for you." That afternoon, the sky began to sink into the sea. The boat began to move out to sea. Junzei quickly approached. "Boss, you are back." He looked down worriedly. "Your leg." Xingye reassured him quickly, "It is just a minor injury." Before leaving, he reminded her again, "I am going back to take care of the wound. Think it over carefully. You can find me anytime." Seizing the opportunity, Tianli immediately approached. "How about going back to my place?" Lian lowered her head, her eyes flashing with determination. "No, I have something to do." She looked ahead solemnly, making a guess in her heart. Perhaps my amnesia is related to the Saifang seal. Immediately after, Lian made a decision. "It is not safe to keep it with me. I have to find a place to hide it." At the mansion, where the moonlight shone. At the same time, Lian looked up and out. After a while, she slowly stepped out of the doorway. Li Yan carefully moved step by step. She stared at the Saifang seal. Shadows under the light are not easily detected. Hiding near Jiyu Xingye might be safer. Suddenly, Li Yan turned around, her eyes still following the moving sound. "Is Jiyu Xingye back?" Seeing this, she approached the door without hesitation. At the same time, Xingye and Junzei opened the door and entered. He immediately became highly alert. Someone's been here. Hearing this, Junzei quickly turned on the lights, carefully looking around. Junzei's eyes stopped in front of a cabinet. Immediately after, he pointed the gun straight ahead. "Come out." After a moment of silence, the door slowly opened. Junzei frowned, his face clearly showing tension. In an instant, his face turned red. Lian stepped out calmly. "I want to borrow the bathroom for a while." Seeing this, Xingye immediately ordered, "Get out." Junzei hesitated and took a step. "Yes." Immediately after, he slammed the wooden door on the opposite side. Xingye took a breath, watching her, his voice serious. "Lian, what exactly do you want to do?" Down below, her legs were tightly intertwined. In that moment, Xingye moved closer, coldly questioning, "Tell me the truth." Finally, Xingye put on a pleading expression. "Promise me, come visit next week too." Suddenly, Xingye said sternly, but not threateningly, "Tell me the truth." Just then, Li Yan suddenly moved her hands behind his neck. She wrapped her arms around Xingye and tilted her head to examine him. "What does my appearance here imply? Do you really not understand?" Immediately after, Li Yan whispered in his ear, "What I said during the day, I agree." Hearing this, Xingye asked in confusion, "You agree to marry me?" Li Yan nodded again, as if confirming his crazy thought. She tilted her head and leaned on Xingye's shoulder, the corners of her lips curving up. "Although I know from my restored memories that Jiyu Xingye is trustworthy, I trust myself even more than him." Li Yan did not forget to remind herself, "Before I figure out why I hid the Saifang seal in the past, I can't reveal it to Jiyu Xingye." Meanwhile, Xingye was full of doubts. What is she deliberately hiding from me? But then he smiled lightly. "But it does not matter. I will figure it out in the future. It is enough that you are willing to marry me at this moment." Xingye lifted Li Yan up to the sink. He stepped closer to her, their breaths mingling. Li Yan's cheeks were already flushed. She hesitated. "Wait." Before Xingye's confused eyes, she continued, "I have one condition." His face immediately tightened. "Tell me." After a moment of hesitation, Li Yan said, "I want to hold a grand engagement ceremony." She looked at Xingye thoughtfully, secretly calculating, "I need a situation where I can meet many people I know and remember more." Xingye nodded without hesitation. "Of course, you deserve the most perfect ceremony." Li Yan urged, "Then are not you going to prepare?" He looked embarrassed. "Right now," she emphasized sternly. "Right now." At the same time, Junzei almost shouted, "What? You want to marry that Yaksha woman?" Xingye reminded sternly, "Junzei, watch your language." Junzei's voice was both confused and angry. "Boss, even if you do not care that she stabbed you, what about the past? Have you forgotten how your uncle died?" He thought for a moment and replied softly, "My uncle's death. Perhaps there is another hidden story." He continued to expose. The Saifang seal is with her, and there are witnesses who pointed out that it was not her, so who else could it be? Xingye did not care, and urged, "In short, I need an engagement ceremony. Handle it quickly. Faced with his firm appearance, Junze agreed helplessly. Understood. The scene shifted to the evening, and the entire building was lit up. Inside Song Luo's house, the sound of the TV kept coming. Such a cute bunny. How can you eat bunnies? She put on a satisfied pose. Good, this line is good. I can try it next time to deceive that idiot. Junze. At the same time, the idiot Junze called. Song Luo leisurely picked up the phone. Hello, it is so late. Why is Brother Huo calling Nunu? She asked confusedly. What? How to organize an engagement party? For whom? Junze replied simply. My boss. Song Luo replied softly. My boss. Scraps of snacks immediately fell quickly to the ground. Song Luo frowned and asked again. Your boss? Junze asked in surprise. Yes, my boss and that amnesiac girlfriend. What is wrong? She explained hesitantly. Nothing, just a little surprised, so it is not you. Seeing this, he became embarrassed. The two of us, if you want to. Song Luo turned to Junze, her eyes lit up with determination. I want to do it. My boss's engagement party, just leave it to me. From the costumes to the venue, I guarantee it will be perfect. Junze nodded without thinking. Okay, then the two of us. Faced with the abruptly ended call, he felt a little disappointed. In the dark, Song Luo roared angrily. That bastard! He actually took advantage of my boss's amnesia to trick her into marriage. Just wait and see. The scene shifted to the next morning. Li Yan was wearing a bright red dress. At this time, the female employee carefully said, I brought another dress, you can try it on. The two strangers suddenly glared at each other. Li Yan quickly grabbed her. You are not an employee here. Tell me, what is your purpose in approaching me? Song Luo smiled, her eyes sharp. Worthy of being the boss, even with amnesia, you are still very vigilant. I am here to take you out. You must not marry Ji-Yu Xingye. You and him have a blood feud. At this time, the door suddenly opened. Xingye came in from outside, his voice gentle. Yan Yan, are you done trying on the dress? However, she did not appear in the room. Song Luo added seriously. Our people are waiting outside, boss. Kill your way out. Hearing this, Li Yan was full of concern. Believe her words, or hand her over to Ji-Yu Xingye. Hearing the sound, Xingye called, Yan Yan. He looked warily at the dressing room. Immediately, Xingye moved his hand down to his gun. He stepped closer. What happened? Xingye reached out, as if wanting to tear the curtain. His face changed in an instant, his arm stopping in mid-air. Immediately after, Li Yan suddenly appeared. She smiled brightly. I am fine. It is just that the dress is not tied yet. Seeing this, Xingye froze for a moment. After a moment of silence, he spoke, breaking the tension. Come out. I will tie it for you. Li Yan immediately agreed. Okay. Suddenly, she leaned into Xingye's arms. What is there to tie? This dress is too revealing. He quickly wanted to touch Li Yan's back. At this moment, Ving Ye casually suggested, it is very normal, no need to try it on again, just take it off directly. He stepped closer. Want me to help you take it off? Meanwhile, Song Luo was almost going crazy. That lecherous, trashy man only knows how to think with his lower body. How dare he defile my boss? She roared angrily in her heart. No, I can't bear it. I want to go out there and deal with him. Immediately after, Song Luo immediately stepped out. Witnessing that scene, Li Yan's face changed. She reacted quickly, rushing forward. In that moment, Li Yan's lips lightly touched Xingye's lips. Over here, Song Luo jumped, her face showing disgust. Li Yan waved her hand as if signaling. She shyly retreated into the room. At this time, Xingye looked up ahead. What is that sound? Li Yan grabbed his tie and pulled. What else could it be? Of course it is the sound of you kissing me. Later, she began to complain. Look at you. You have wrinkled my dress. What should I do? Xingye comforted, buy it, and wear it at home in the future, only for me to see. Outside, there was a knock on the door. Boss, Miss Ding is here, shouting that she wants to see you. Seeing this, he bluntly ordered, don't see her. Chase her away. Li Yan suddenly spoke beside him. Let us meet her. I really want to know what she is here for. She secretly calculated, separate Ji-Yu Xingye, it is the right time for Song Luo to have a chance to escape. Li Yan looked anxious. Hurry up. Help me tie the dress. Let us go see. He suddenly pressed closer, whispering in Li Yan's ear, No, let her wait. At the same time, Lu Ying shouted angrily, Did you relay the message properly? Why has not Brother Xingye come yet? After a long while, he coldly opened the door and stepped in. As soon as she saw Xingye, Lu Ying smiled brightly. Brother Xingye. Her voice was trembling and tense, watching the approaching figure. You finally came out. I heard you want to marry Li Yan. Immediately after, Lu Ying questioned loudly, Have you forgotten that she killed your uncle? Suddenly, the sound of high heels hitting the floor. Lu Ying's voice echoed in Li Yan's ears. How can you marry the enemy? A voice suddenly sounded. Hearing that you want to marry Lian, could it be that you have forgotten that she killed your uncle? All of those words fell into Lian's ears. Her expression frightened. A thought flashed through. I killed Ji Yu Xingye's uncle. The person who adopted me. Did I really do such a thing? She looked at her hands that seemed to be stained with blood. Her eyes gradually dimmed. Everything that Song La said was true. We have an irreconcilable blood feud. At this moment, when she was still immersed in contemplation, a voice suddenly rang in her head. Dian, Dian. Back to reality, she is now running away. Hurriedly, the sound of Xingye is heard from behind Li Yan. Do not run away anymore. She stopped, turned her head to glare at him, and said in a deep voice, Someone pointed out that I killed your uncle, and the Sifeng seal is in my hands if I do not run away. Should I wait to be torn apart? Move aside. Do not block my way. At this moment, those who were chasing her also got closer. Their voices rang around, Is it over there? No, we must kill Li Yan and take back the Sifeng seal. Seeing that, she immediately bent down, grabbed the iron bar next to her, and said, Did you hear that? What will be the outcome if I go back? He gently grabbed her vigilant arm and said softly, Yan Yan, please believe me, come with me, I will protect you. I will definitely investigate the truth and clear your name. She glared at him. Indifference flashed in her eyes. Do not come here, I do not need your help. Looking at her cold eyes, his expression gradually darkened, and said, sadly, If you leave now, it is no different from admitting to the crime of killing your uncle. If you have never done it, you should stay and face it with me. Seeing that she could not talk to him anymore, she said sternly, I have already said, do not block my way. Whoever blocks me, dies. With that, she raised the iron bar in her hand and continued, Ji Yu Xingye, not even you. A bloody image appeared. She suddenly woke up and shouted in a worried expression, Xingye. At this moment, he was sitting next to her. Seeing her so flustered, he quickly hugged her tightly and said softly, I am here. It is okay. It is just a nightmare. Here, drink some mood, stabilizing medicine. Looking at his caring appearance, she wondered, I remember before Ji Yu Xingye was always wary of probing me. If I am the enemy who killed his uncle, then his complexity before is also understandable. But what about now? Is the gentleness he showed at that time from the bottom of his heart, or is it ulterior motives? In her thoughts at this moment, she could not understand every move he made. Seeing her staring at him, he could not help but ask, Why are you looking at me like that? Hearing that, she quickly woke up and said, Seeing you not feeding me like last time, at the same time, in her heart she was still thinking, before understanding Ji Yu Xingye's purpose. I can't relax. Seeing that she had something strange, he immediately moved closer, wrapped his arms around her, and asked warmly, Are you complaining that I was too rough last time? Or are you expecting me to be a little gentler this time? Not quite right, you heard what Ning Lu Ying said before. Do not you have anything to ask me? Facing his suspicion, she gently hugged him tightly and said softly, I know Ning Lu Ying wants to sow discord between you and me. How can I believe her? He gently stroked her hair and said, Do not trust anyone, she replied. I know. With that, she turned her face to an angle that only she could see and smiled secretly. I only trust myself. The things of the past, I will slowly investigate clearly. Scene change at a certain building. A voice rang out. The 4 major chambers of commerce are in order. Vermilion Bird, Green Dragon, Keelin, Black Tortoise. The person in power in previous generations was the president of Black Tortoise, leading the Chamber of Commerce. Therefore, Black Tortoise is also called the General Chamber of Commerce. Sun La pointed at the whiteboard and said, Ji Yu Xingye's uncle, who was also the person in power, was suddenly killed 2 years ago. The seal of 4 images is missing. Ning Yuan, the vice president of the Black Tortoise Chamber of Commerce, replaced the position of power. When investigating the death of the person in power, someone claimed to be a witness and pointed out that you, the newly accepted Chamber of Commerce of Vermilion Bird, had power grab. Li Yan heard that and asked, So the seal of 4 images just happens to be in my hands, and I was convicted just like that? She replied, Yes. The seal of 4 images cannot be leaked. You were secretly chased by those above the Chamber of Commerce for a period of time. After that, you recruited a group of brothers and sisters, killed back, and once again took over the Vermilion Bird Chamber of Commerce. Hearing that, she supported one hand on her chin and said thoughtfully, I must have set some conditions or convinced them in order to maintain the appearance of external peace. With that, she looked at Song La and ordered, Song La, help me investigate the witnesses who pointed me out, and the details about the death of the person in power. She was startled. The old boss has explained it before. Hearing that, she thought to herself, it seems that the death of the person in power is really related to me. Thinking about being related to this matter, her face sank and asked, Then who will be the killer? Scene change. In a certain room at this time, Xingye and Ding Yuan are sitting facing each other, he asked. A few days ago I met a group, chasing and killing on the Sea Island. The people of the uncle must have come. Right? Could it be that the uncle wanted to eliminate me in order to invade the Green Dragon Gang? He smiled calmly and replied, Of course not. Why would you think like that? I and your uncle are good brothers who risked our lives together. You, like little Li Yuan, are my family. How would I hurt my family? But Li Yan is the murderer who killed the previous person in power. Taking her is equivalent to opposing the Chamber of Commerce. Even if you are my family, I will definitely not yield. At this moment, a gun suddenly pressed close to the back of his head. A voice rang out. Boss Gu knows what to do, right? Liao Ming showed a cruel smile. Do not make Sir Ding embarrassed. Ding Yuan said at this time, you want to be my family, or want to betray me, and oppose the entire Chamber of Commerce. Scene change? Time has now returned tonight. Li Yan slowly opened the door and entered the room. Suddenly, something pulled her back. She was now standing in front of Xingye. She asked, Xingye, why did not you turn on the lights? He asked, curiously. I came back and found that you were not at home. Where did you go? Her face showed innocence and replied, I did not try on the engagement dress completely. Last time, I went to try on a few more sets, and I have chosen one. Hearing that, he did not ask anything more, and worriedly instructed, do not go out these days. Hearing that, she frowned a little and crossed her arms and asked, why? Do you want to imprison me again? He did not know how to explain it. He could only ambiguously reply, it is not. He just did not want any accidents to happen before the engagement day. Realizing that he was hiding something, her expression became serious, and asked, did something happen? When she asked this question, a figure suddenly appeared outside the door. He stared at that person and fell into contemplation, then said softly, it is okay. I am just afraid that my fiancé will suddenly regret it and not want to marry me anymore. Rather than that, he grabbed her waist and pulled her closer, causing her hat to fall to the ground. He said in a seductive tone, making you so tired that you can't go out. How about it? Holding him tightly, she said a little shyly and stammered, don't bite. Be gentle. At this moment, that figure also quietly left, as if he had learned what he needed to know. Glancing behind her, she said softly, he is gone. Let me go. What exactly happened? Can you tell me? He gently touched her hair and asked, you have recovered some of your memories recently, have not you? Can you remember the Sifang seal? Hearing that question from his mouth, she could not help but be stunned. Scene change. At a certain villa, in a room, a box was opened. Li Yan carefully put the Sifang seal into the box. Then, she slowly stepped out of the room without making any noise. Suddenly, a knife flashed past her head, piercing straight into the door behind her, causing her to jump in fright. A round of applause suddenly rang out. Tian Li was leisurely sitting on a chair, teasingly saying, the reaction is as always. It seems that Jiu Jingye did not raise you into uselessness. She looked at him with a wary gaze and asked, Tian Li, what are you here for? He stood up and slowly walked towards her, saying, to give you a tip. Tomorrow is your engagement party. Do you want to know where your fiancé went and what he did today? With that, he pressed a button to turn on the recording in his hand. From the recording, Ding Yuan's voice rang out, but Li Yan is the murderer who killed the previous person in power. Taking her is equivalent to opposing the Chamber of Commerce. Even if you are my family, I will never yield. Do you want to be my family, or do you want to betray me and oppose the entire Chamber of Commerce? After he finished speaking, Xingye laughed and said, Uncle Ding is overthinking it. Of course I would not betray the Chamber of Commerce for a woman. I am engaged to Li Yan, just to find the location of the Sifang seal. You have been overthinking it. Looking at his appearance and expression, he fell into contemplation. Then, still with a cold expression, he said, if that is the case, then change the engagement to my daughter Lu Ying. I believe you can find the location of the Sifang seal before you get engaged to Li Yan. Then, deal with her. Regarding his decision, he did not seem to object. I am taking Li Yan just to gain her trust and get the Sifang seal. I have no objection to Uncle Ding's arrangement. But, I have one condition. With that, he snatched the gun from Liao Ming's hand. Looking at the gun in his hand, he was stunned, but he did not care, and continued, I can get engaged to Ding Lu Ying, but you have to hand over Liao's killing Chamber of Commerce to me. He pointed the gun at him and said calmly, anyway, compared to this dog, your son-in-law will make people feel more at ease, do not you think, father-in-law? Hearing that, he easily agreed, okay, as long as you take Lu Ying, the Quillen Chamber of Commerce will be yours. After the recording ended, he asked her, did you hear that? Where do you think Jiu Xingye is now? He is getting engaged to Ding Lu Ying, using the restaurant you chose, preparing the party you were looking forward to, even Ding Lu Ying might even be wearing the dress you once wore. Hearing that, she slowly walked away. Seeing this, he could not help but be curious. Where are you going? Could it be that you want to kill that dog couple? Yan, let me help you. At this time, the door of the room suddenly opened. A loaded gun was pointed at the two of them. Junzi looked at the two of them and said seriously, the boss has ordered. You are not allowed to step out of here. Hearing him say that, she was stunned for a moment. Ignoring her expression, he continued, Miss Li Yan, please go back. Li Yan could not help but be curious and asked, "Who are you? How did you get in?" Tian Li, witnessing the conversation between the two, could not help but be curious. Yan, you even have a bodyguard," she replied coldly. "Yes. So it is all true. I am being imprisoned again." "Ji Xingye, you lied to me." Scene change. At a certain wedding hall, a priest was reading the blessings and announcements. "Today, everyone is here to witness the wedding of Ji Xingye and Ding Luying. May the two of you exchange wedding rings. Ji Xingye, are you willing to take Ding as your wife? Whether rich or poor, healthy or sick, you will never leave her. Are you willing?" Under the wedding hall at this time, his expression did not have the slightest bit of confusion. He replied, "I am..." Before he could finish speaking, a bullet suddenly flew from somewhere and pierced the priest who was presiding over the ceremony. Liao Ming suddenly appeared in the wedding hall, pointing his gun at everyone and threatening, "Don't move, I have surrounded this place." Xingye turned his head to look at him and said in surprise, "Boss Liao." He raised the gun towards him, his expression sinister. "Ji Xingye, you want to rob my Quilin Chamber of Commerce? You have to have the life to do it." Scene change, a gunshot rang out, shattering a pot of potted plants. Junzai at this time continued to point his gun at the two of them, threateningly saying, "The gunshots will attract people very quickly. I advise you not to act rashly." Faced with the threat from him, Leon smiled calmly. "You, Junzi, it seems that the people you led here are not your subordinates." After saying that, another voice rang out, "Put down the gun." Hearing that voice, he was stunned. He slowly turned around to look at the person behind him. Then, his eyes could not hide his surprise. Looking at the girl, he was startled. Songru. "Why, it is you." Taking advantage of his carelessness, Tian Li suddenly appeared behind him, hitting the back of his neck, causing him to faint. He fell to the ground and lay unconscious. Songru at this time reacted. Looking at Junzi lying on the ground, she could not help but worry and call his name, Junzi. Looking at her worried expression, Tian Li said, "Don't be nervous, little sister. I just knocked him out. What is wrong? Are you feeling sorry for him?" Hearing him say that, she finally relaxed. Li Yan, after observing her every expression just now, seriously looked into her eyes and said, "Songru, you and Huo Junzi, have you really been together?" Tian Li asked, "What is next?" Li Yan frowned slightly and said, "I want to go to a place, Taiyang's." Looking at her expression, the two of them asked curiously at the same time, "Where?" Her expression gradually became ruthless and said, "Of course it is to congratulate Ji Xingye's engagement party. Seize the time. This good show needs to end." Receiving the answer, Songru at this time hugged Junzi and said softly, "Got it, boss. Go first. I will follow behind." Scene change. At the wedding hall, a voice rang out. "I heard that an ancient artifact exploded, injuring many people. How scary." Tian Li at this time stood with his arms crossed, looking at the wedding hall that had been sealed off, and continued. "Many people were injured. It seems that someone disrupted the engagement party. Earlier than you." At this time, her eyes flashed with a trace of worry and said, "Let us go in and take a look." Inside the wedding hall, Ding Yuan said embarrassedly to Xingye that Liao is crazy, making things difficult for you. He replied softly, At this time, a voice rang out, "Ji Xingye." Looking at her walking towards him with a sharp expression, he was a little surprised. Li Yan. Just as she approached him, she slapped him in the face. Seeing this, Lu Ying hurriedly stood in front of him, glared at her, and said angrily, "Hey, what are you doing?" Ignoring her, she frowned and looked at him, and said angrily, "Ji Xingye, you dare to hide behind a woman. Do not you dare say a word to me." Faced with her question, he stood silently for a while. Then, he looked at her with a playful look. "Didn't you already see it? What else do I have to say?" Lu Ying at this time also stood up to help. "Li Yan, Ji Xingye is now my fiancé. He has nothing to do with you. You have no right to criticize him. I invite you to leave my engagement party." She looked into her eyes and smiled softly. "You, your fiancé, and your engagement party still belonged to me a few hours ago. I advise you as a predecessor. Do not trust this man too much. He can use any means to achieve his goals. He will never truly love you." Hearing that, Lu Ying was angry at this time, walked towards her and raised her hand to slap her. "You dare curse me!" But then her arm was easily caught by Li Yan. She looked into her eyes and said with contempt, "What is wrong? You want to hit me?" At this time, Ding Yuan also approached the two of them. He looked at Li Yan and said, "What are you being arrogant for?" Seeing the situation gradually becoming bigger, Xingye at this time also stood up to speak. "Uncle Ding, today is not suitable for hurting bones. Let them go." Seeing him stand up, she looked at him with cold eyes and said, "I never let go of anyone who dares to deceive me. But not today. Today is just a warning." Faced with her anger, he just stood there silently without saying anything. At this time, a subordinate stepped to Ding Yuan's side and said softly, "The people we sent to chase Liao have returned. They did not catch anyone." Hearing that, he was not angry and said, "Anyway, he is the boss of the Quilin Chamber of Commerce. Not so easy to catch. But he is too stupid." He was angered by Jiyu Xingye just like that. Then he looked in the direction of Xingye leaving and said, "Another useful pawn has been lost. Jiyu Xingye in recent years has really made me look at him with new eyes. Asking for the Killing Chamber of Commerce, instigating Liao Ming to attack, causing the engagement party to be suspended. Every step, resisting my arrangement, the former indecisive trash. Since when has he become a wolf? It is a pity, even if you are more reckless than Li Yan, you can't avoid the hunter's gun." Then, he and his guards also left here. When he just stepped out of the door, a voice called him back. "Uncle Ding." He turned his head to look at the person calling him and asked, "Li Yan, you have not left." Li Yan at this time was standing in the corner of the wall, smiling and looking at him. She said, "I am waiting for you. Uncle Ding has been chasing me for so long. You want to get the Saifang seal, right? Do you want to cooperate?" He looked at her and asked, "Cooperate?" She continued, "I want to stuff Jiyu Xingye under my feet. After that, I will offer the Sifang seal with both hands." He stood silently there, listening to her. After a while of thinking, he decided to ask directly, "What do you want me to help with?" He silently stood looking at her. Then he burst out laughing. Suddenly, his expression turned cold and said, "In the past, I might have wanted the Sifang seal very much, but now I am sitting quite firmly in the position of power. It does not matter whether I have the Sifang seal or not. To me, eliminating a person full of danger like you is more important." Faced with his threat, she just stood there silently observing. Then, she said mysteriously, "Since Uncle Ding took over the position of power, the relationship with the political world has gradually become tense. Have you ever thought about where the problem is?" He asked, "What do you want to say?" She smiled confidently and said, "The Sifang seal is important to the Chamber of Commerce. Of course, it is not just a symbol of having the identity of a leader." He stood there quietly, silently, waiting for her to continue. She approached him and said softly, "The holder also controls a hidden string that controls political secrets." Scene change. A few days ago, in the room, Jiyu Xingye asked her, "You have recovered some of your memories recently, have not you? Can you remember the Saifang seal or not? Whether you can remember it or not, I hope you remember the following words. I need you to say this to him, Ding Yuan, the person in power of the Sifang Chamber of Commerce. Before, when he took over the Chamber of Commerce, he needed the Sifang seal to prove his status. The Sifang seal was his life-saving charm, but now he is always trying to deal with you, which shows that it does not matter to him whether he has the Sifang seal or not. You must let him continue to need you." Remembering this, she became more confident and asked, "How about it? Do you want to cooperate now?" After all, he was the leader. He did not trust her immediately and said, "Without evidence, how would I know if you're lying to me or not? But I just happen to have a headache and I need the higher-ups to take action. You prove what you said." Scene change. Vermilion Bird Chamber of Commerce. Songwoo stepped into the room, holding a piece of paper in her hand, and said, "This is what the boss wanted me to investigate." She came over and put the paper on the table. Looking at the paper on the table, Lian thought, "This is what is giving Ding Yuan a headache." At this time, the sound of the guard suddenly rang out, causing the two of them to be stunned. "You can't come in here. Hey, stop." "Stop?" Looking at the man who was striding in, she was startled. "Jiyu Xingye, you dare to come." The guards looked at her with an apologetic look and said, "Sorry, boss, I really could not stop him." She did not blame them and said, "Go out." In everyone's gaze, Xingye looked straight into her eyes and asked, "Can we talk?" Zhenzhe at this time also looked in the direction of Songro and asked seriously, "Can you talk to me too?" At this time, only Xingye and Lian were left in the room, he said with a serious tone. "Yan Yan, the only person I like is you. Can you forgive me?" Faced with his regret, she frowned angrily and said, "Jiyu Xingye, you are only making me hate you more. It is over between us." At this time, there was someone listening to the conversation between the two outside, only to see Xingye sadly replied, "Okay, I know." Then, that person also quietly left. Looking in the direction of the door, she was silent for a while. Then, she looked at him and said, "In this way, we can really make Ding Yuan believe that we have completely broken up." Xingye at this time looked in the direction of that person leaving and said with a happy smile, "Ding Yuan is very suspicious. If we avoid each other after the last time, he will think that we are playing tricks, but when I come to disturb you, it will confirm that we have broken up. The most important thing is to be able to probe out your vermilion bird, and how many ears and eyes are hidden in my Azure Dragon Chamber of Commerce. Now his side has received the news that I appeared here, and he must be worried. In order to prevent you and me from cooperating again, he will not spare any effort to provoke us." She did not hesitate to look straight into his eyes, and said with a bright smile, "What is wrong? Are you scared?" He looked at her with gentle eyes and said, "Of course I am scared. I am scared of losing my wife." She looked at him, not knowing what she was thinking. Then, she moved closer to face him, her expression serious. Ji Yu Xingye, Ding Luying, said that the person who killed your uncle was me. Do you really not hate me at all? He stared into her eyes, and then slowly replied, I used to, but now, I know that you are not the murderer. She was surprised, and hurriedly asked, Then who is it? Just as she finished speaking, a knock on the door suddenly rang out, and the two of them were stunned to look at the direction of the door. She hurriedly reminded, It must not be Ding Yuan's ears and eyes. He wants to urge you to leave here. Go quickly. Staying here will cause trouble. He also did not say much, and said, Then I am leaving. You and Ding Yuan are cooperating. Remember to be careful. She replied, Got it. Then, the two of them continued to play their roles. She angrily pushed him and shouted, Get out. He fell to the ground, supporting his hands on the floor, and pondered. Then, he slowly looked up at the person who came. Tian Li at this time also met his eyes, but did not care. He greeted Li Yan. Hi, Yan Yan. Li Yan asked in surprise, Why is it you? Tian Li mockingly approached and replied, Why can't it be me? A tall figure suddenly stood beside him. Tian Li could not help but turn to look at him uncomfortably. Is he here too? Xingye replied silently and coldly, What is it to you? She pondered. A trace of doubt flashed. Sheng Tian Li, is it too coincidental every time he appears? Her eyes stared at Tian Li's face, thinking carefully. Sheng Tian Li was able to get the recording between Ji Yu Xingye and Ding Yuan. This is also very suspicious. He turned to shout at Xingye, Hey, 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 having a fiancé and still clinging to Yan Yan, do not you think it is despicable? He still used a cold expression to reply, What does it have to do with you? Are you worthy to say this to me? Li Yan stepped forward and interrupted, quickly covering both of their mouths. Enough. She turned to say coldly to Xingye, Ji Yu Xingye, we have said clearly, please leave here. He had to follow her words, silently leaving, but his eyes still stayed reluctantly. The room returned to its original dimness. Li Yan leaned back and questioned, Tian Li, you heard that Ji Yu Xingye was here, so you deliberately came. The news is too sensitive, huh? He seized the opportunity to move closer to her face, and threatened Li Yan with a sly look. That is right. There is someone at Yan Yan's place who is reporting the news to me. So do not secretly scold me. Hey, I can hear everything. He gave a cold smile. Maybe one day I am not happy, and I might even come here and kill you. Her eyes were sharp, and she decisively interrupted Tian Li. Who kills who is not certain? If there is nothing else, then leave. Suddenly, he changed his attitude 180 degrees and changed the topic. The medicine that you asked me to make before has been completed, and it can be sent to place H. She paused for a while and lazily replied, I will deal with it when I am free. Then Li Yan turned to ask Tian Li, Isn't there a time limit? Are not you afraid of being punished if you deliver it late? He raised his eyebrows and looked surprised. Li Yan, this is not like you very much. Tian Li's expression sank. His eyes were dull red and full of murderous intent. I know. You still dare to urge me. Who is delaying the time? She was not inferior, and shot back with a sharp look. Li Yan in an instant successfully approached Tian Li's face, and said coldly, Ji Yu Xingye's affairs have made me very annoyed, so you better shut your mouth. After saying that, she dismissed the guest, and decisively closed the door with a bang. On the other side of the door, Tian Li's sweat was falling, one after another. I was scared to death. I thought I was going to become deaf. Women who are hurt in love are really scary. As for Li Yan, she immediately planned the next step, temporarily get through it casually, but he said that he would be punished if he delivered it late. I must quickly investigate this matter. The clattering sound of shoes colliding with the floor created a loud noise in the room. The door was opened again. Unexpectedly, the person who appeared this time was Junzi. His expression was slightly surprised when he collided with her eyes. In the next second, he ignored Li Yan's presence and went straight out. Her eyes immediately collided with the person inside the room. Song-Ru sat alone, quietly shedding tears. Suddenly hearing the sound of Li Yan's voice, crying, she was immediately startled instinctively. Turning her head in the direction of the voice, who is crying? According to Song-Ru's eyes, on the opposite side was Li Yan giving her a sharp look, and said in a panic, Boss, boss. Li Yan did not avoid anything and went inside to investigate. I said Huo Junzei was crying. Are you two arguing or wanting to break up? Song-Ru was ashamed and angry and shouted, Who broke up with him? We do not love each other at all. I only approached him in order to save the boss. Now that I have achieved my goal, I do not need to keep him. She still calmly replied, Song-Ru, no matter what kind of relationship you have, you should seriously ask yourself, recognize your feelings. I hope there is no regret. Suddenly a trace of hesitation flashed. But we are not on the same side. Before the boss saved me and said not to believe that men will change their position for her. Hearing this, Li Yan immediately stopped. She could not help but recall the shrewd image of that day. Don't believe that men will change their position for you. Do not expect men. Only yourself is the most reliable. The former Li Yan was handsome and said decisively, You and Ji Yu Xingye have planned to deceive Ding Yuan, but he not only advanced the wedding day before the plan, but also asked Huo Junzei to stop and restrict your freedom. She gradually stepped forward, squeezing Li Yan's mind. He has repeatedly deceived you. Why do you still want to believe him, Li Yan? You like him, do not you? A call, fortunately, woke her up from the trance. Boss? Song Luo hurriedly stepped forward to inquire, what is wrong with you? Li Yan shook her head, preventing herself from remembering that image again. She suddenly remembered something she needed to say, and her expression immediately became serious. It is nothing, that is right. I have something to find you for. Do you know H? Li Yan turned to ask Song Luo. She was slightly stunned, but still honestly confessed what she knew. The boss wanted me to investigate that underground auction house. I just brought it to you today. I happened to drop some things and forgot to give them to you. Li Yan's eyes fell into thought. A thought flashed. Oh, what a coincidence. My pharmaceutical partner is related to the problem that Ding Yuan asked me to help with. Song Luo quickly took out a letter. This is their invitation to enter. Li Yan took the letter, carefully read it, and turned to ask Song Luo, do you know about my pharmaceutical cooperation? She honestly replied, not very clear. The boss usually contacts that side alone. After reading the entire letter, a thought quickly appeared. It seems that no matter what, I have to go see H. Surprisingly, when she opened the paper, there was only a series of numbers. Just a phone number. Scene change at a public telephone booth. The beep-beep sound was constantly ringing. Li Yan looked disappointed. No one is answering the phone. Looking out from the glass door, a black luxury car had been parked outside for some time. Li Yan's eyes carefully looked towards that mysterious car. From the car, two young men in black quietly stepped out. They gave her a luxurious black box. Then they said coldly, please. Her eyes were sharp, carefully scrutinizing them, not letting go of any abnormal expressions. Inside the box was a cute but dangerous black rabbit blindfold. Li Yan vaguely realized something, so that phone call was just a doorbell. The people came really fast. The night sky was still so beautiful, the flashing lights ignited the entire city. The car stopped in front of a luxurious hotel. She was led forward with the blindfold on, followed by the two black bodyguards. You can take off the blindfold, welcome home. Li Yan only asked coldly, home. She slowly pulled down the blindfold. A large banquet hall gradually appeared before her eyes. Saying it is an auction house, why does it look like a hotel? All three of them went up to the second floor, where the magnificent chandeliers were not lit. After walking for a while, they stopped in front of a large door. One of the two knights reminded, the boss is inside. Come in. After saying that, the large door was immediately opened. Li Yan was surprised and opened her eyes wide, her pupils contracted. It seemed that she could not imagine the scene that was happening. The smell of decadence spread throughout the room. Everywhere she saw scenes of people freely rubbing their naked bodies. Standing out in the middle was the figure of a girl. She is the mastermind behind H. Jiang Huang calmly puffed on the cigar in her hand. Wait for me to receive the guest, then continue to teach you. As soon as she finished speaking, a male escort was immediately dragged out. He painfully begged Li Yan, save me out. His eyes were like a pitiful white rabbit, constantly begging her, save me please. Li Yan's eyes could not help but pay attention to his body. Jiang Huang slowly spoke, too talkative. How can my pet talk to another woman? Idiot, take him down to feed the dogs. As soon as she finished speaking, the atmosphere in the room immediately dropped sharply to sub-zero. He cried and begged constantly, I was wrong. Please keep me, I was wrong. Li Yan could not bear to see the scene and unconsciously spoke to stop him. Wait. Before she could speak, Jiang Huang spoke with a mocking voice. Oh, feeling sorry for him. You do not really believe it, do you? I am just scaring him. In this harmonious society, what is there to feed the dogs anyway? He was also a customer of our place before. He should be taught a little bit by taking off his two legs. Li Yan suddenly went silent. He is a customer. Responding to her was still that nonchalant look. Yes, a businessman like you, I gave him money, but he could not deliver the goods. Like Li Yan, you certainly can't make this mistake, pledging yourself to become my pet, right? As soon as she finished speaking, Li Yan's eyebrows unconsciously frowned uncomfortably. A male technician, not afraid of death, immediately brought her a glass of red wine, his voice respectful, and said, try this wine, it is still not the taste you liked before. She took the glass of wine in her heart with vigilance. Thank you. The medicine you entrusted me with has been prepared. When do you want to come and get it? Jiang Huang pondered for a while. In the next second, she approached Li Yan and flirtatiously said, not in a hurry, drink a glass of wine. Let us sit down and talk slowly. She raised the glass of wine in her hand close to her nose to smell it. A thought flashed. There is a strange smell in this wine. It seems to have been drugged. The longer it went on, the more excessive Jiang Huang became. She provoked, Li Yan, what is wrong? You do not dare to drink my wine. The two people looked at each other in a probing manner. In the next second, Jiang Huang was the first to speak. She unreservedly blew cigarette smoke straight into Li Yan's face. Are you afraid that I poisoned you? Immediately after, she lost her strength and fell down. Suddenly, Xingye appeared from somewhere and hugged her, and asked worriedly, Li Yan. She was a little confused at this time, called his name, Xingye. Seeing that she had fainted, Xingye at this time turned to look at Jiang Huang. His expression coldly asked, "Jiang Huang, what did you do?" She looked at him uncomfortably and replied, "It is just an aphrodisiac. What are you making a fuss about? There is no antidote. Deal with it yourself." Li Yan at this time became more and more blurred and said with a stammering voice, "Xingye, it is so hot." Her body seemed to be a little strange. Scene change. At a certain hotel. In the bathroom, the water in the bathtub swayed gently. Li Yan at this time closed her eyes, and her face was covered with drops of sweat. After a while, she slowly opened her eyes, and her eyes were still a little blurred at this time. Suddenly, her eyes became sharp and looked ahead. Xingye at this time stood in front of her and asked with a worried expression, "Li Yan, are you okay?" She replied uncomfortably, "It is so hot. My body is so hot." He looked at her worriedly. It is still hot, even after soaking in cold water. At this time, she leaned back and sank deeper into the bathtub, saying, "My body is very uncomfortable." Looking at her with her current appearance, he frowned. "Not now. You are not sober now." She looked at him with infatuated eyes and said, "But have not you always wanted to get me? Don't you also have feelings? Why do you want to escape? Are you afraid of something? Afraid that I am playing with you? Or afraid that I am using you?" Looking at her like that, his eyes also gradually became gentle. Enough. He grabbed her hand and pressed her down. His hand gripped the sides of the bathtub to hold her. His face came closer to her and said softly, "But if you really want to, except for this time, it is all possible. I just want to make sure that you really want to do it with me. Or are you only because of the effects of the drug?" Before he could finish speaking, she interrupted irritably. "Coward." He was stunned. "What?" Looking straight into his eyes, she said without any scruples, "I said you are a coward. You do not dare to do it at this time. What is it if it is not being a coward?" He stammered and did not know how to answer her. "I am just..." She continued to interrupt him. "Just what? Stop saying those useless words. Are you still a man? Or not?" After saying that, she did something that made him blush with embarrassment. Water splashed everywhere. At this time, she had turned her back to him, and his body was lying on top of her body. He was silent. He lowered his head and said softly in her ear, "Li Yan, is it because I am too tolerant and patient with you?" With that, he gently stroked her chin with his hand. His head rested on her shoulder and continued, "That is why it makes you so arrogant, challenging me time and time again." Looking at him like that, she mocked and said, "Saying you won't restrict my freedom is you, and telling Huo Junzei to watch over me is also you. Look at you, it is like this, saying one thing and doing another. Saying you can't is you, and kissing me is you. The person who locks me up is you. Saying you will let me go but making me stay here is still you. What basis do you have to make me naked and see everything in front of you, and you are aloof and deceptive to me? Every time you use these small favors to catch me, and then hide behind the truth, and constantly probe me, do you hate me so much? Then what is it if it is not being a coward? No wonder your uncle did not give you important responsibilities." Hearing this, it seemed that he had been stimulated, and he used his hand to press her down. Then, he used force to pull her clothes off. At this time, on her body, the clothes had begun to appear with tears. At this time, he also began to take off his clothes, and thought to himself, "Li Yan, you do not understand. You completely do not understand. You of now can't understand me, but sooner or later, there will be a day when you understand everything I do." Scene change. The next morning. She was lying naked in bed, sleeping. Suddenly, she woke up. She turned to see him lying beside her. Looking at his current appearance, she began to talk to herself. "Jiyu Xingyi, guarding against me, but now lying asleep without any defense next to me. Why can't I see through you?" Suddenly, he opened his mouth to speak. "You keep staring at me like that. Is it to want another round?" The voice rang out suddenly, causing her to startle and sit up. "You are awake." He also sat up to look at her and asked with gentle eyes, could it be that the experience was not good? She lightly pulled the blanket to cover her body, teasingly said, "Like you, the experience of one night is enough." Hearing that, he glared at her. What? Then, she was suddenly pressed down on the bed. He sat in front of her and looked at her and said, "It seems that I did not try hard enough last night. That is why it made you wake up so early." Looking at him with such enthusiasm, she could not help but blush with embarrassment and said, "There is no need to show off your good physical strength. The effects of my medicine have all worn off." He used his hand to grab her chin, pretending to be angry, and said, "Run after using it, Li Yan. You are really realistic." Looking at his face, gradually approaching, she asked, "Who drugged me? H's subordinate." He did not answer her and asked, "What do you want to do?" She smiled with pleasure and replied, "She gave me a big gift, of course. I can't accept it for nothing." Knowing what she was going to do, he could not help but worry and care. "Do you know how dangerous this place is? You do not remember anything and you dare to provoke her. Unless you beg me. I will tell you how to deal with her. She sat up and looked at him and said with a confident smile, How do you want me to beg you? Like this? Or beg you like this? Seeing her suddenly take the initiative like this, he also shyly blushed and said, Yan Yan. She leaned close to his ear and slowly said each sentence. My love? Say or not. Scene change. At a certain room, a woman stood by the window, tidying up the pot of flowers in front of her. She is Madame Ha, the owner of the underground auction house. At this time, her mood seemed not very good, and said with dissatisfaction, Didn't I tell you to stop teasing Lian? At this time, Zhang Huang was standing on the side, her hands respectfully holding something on a tray. She asked curiously, I do not understand. Why are you so polite to Lian? A traitor who killed her adoptive father, as I see it. If it were not for you supporting her pharmaceutical business, maybe she would have been solved by Ding Liang's people long ago. Seeing that she did not listen to her words, Madame Ha turned her face to look at her and seriously reminded her, She is not as simple as you say. You attacked her yesterday. Based on her temper, she will definitely not let it go easily. At this time, the voice of a guard suddenly rang out from outside, Madam, something happened in the dungeon. Someone broke in. Looking at the guard who had just entered, Zhang Huang's expression coldly asked, Who, faced with her coldness, the guard stammered, Li Yan. Scene change. At the dungeon, Xingye and Li Yan were walking leisurely. He asked her curiously, You have achieved your goal. What else do you want to find? She replied, Save one more person. At this time, the two people had walked to a cell. Looking at the person inside, she said, It seems that Zhang Huang cares about him very much. Then I want to save him even more. In that cell, a man with a handsome appearance in an unconscious state was tied with his two hands to both sides. Zhang Huang had also chased to the place, and her voice was full of dissatisfaction, taking without saying, That is stealing you, Lian. Do not you think you are doing too much? The two people looked at the people who were coming here, and his expression gradually became serious. Madame Ha, at this time, led Zhang Huang and two guards to come, and said coldly, Even if Zhang Huang offended you yesterday, you can't take away what she likes. Facing the sharp eyes from her, she still calmly replied, As for stealing, it is really like a thief crying, Stop thief! He is in this place, is not it because of your tricks? Zhang Huang was angry when she heard this and shouted, What nonsense are you talking about? Ignoring her, Lian looked at Madame Ha and continued, It is just like Ding Yuan's batch of weapons at the customs. You called the inside to help in the customs to deceive Ding Yuan, wanting to get the things in hand without any effort and swallow them as your own. Hearing her say that, Madame Ha suddenly smiled. She looked at her calmly and said, Everything you said are all just speculations. Facing her suspicion, she still said very confidently, If the goods were really found by the customs, it would have long caused a storm throughout the city. Now everything is silent. It is because the information is basically false. Moreover, I have confirmed that the goods are in this dungeon. Ding Yuan is not as easy to deal with as I am. Wait until he knows tomorrow. He will spread the news that your auction house has swallowed the goods as your own. Then probably no one will dare to cooperate with you. I have a way to make you reasonably withdraw from this matter unscathed. Hearing her say that, Madame Ha's expression gradually became serious, and hurriedly told her, Say it! Without letting her wait for long, she continued, First, you need to return that batch of weapons to Ding Yuan. Suddenly, Zhang Huang interrupted her, looked at her with angry eyes, and said softly to Madame Ha, Madam, you can't believe her. She is very likely Ding Yuan's accomplice who came to deceive us. Ignoring her, she still continued to say with a confident expression, Very coincidentally, when I just found the batch of weapons, I found that there were time bombs inside, which had been arranged in advance. You can choose not to believe it, but you also won't get the goods. Madame Ha looked at her and pondered for a while, then asked, What are your conditions? Achieving her goal, she smiled with satisfaction. It is very simple. I want him. As soon as she heard her say her condition, Xingye on the side shot a jealous look at her. He fell into thought, Lian, are you really because of revenge on Zhang Huang, or interested in him? For this request of her, Madame Ha easily agreed. Okay, take them and hoeing out together. Knowing that she also had no right to speak in this case, she angrily gritted her teeth and thought to herself, Lian, you wait for me. Scene change. At the back of a truck, two guards were transporting things onto the truck. Next to them were Xingye and Lian. Facing the two people was the young man she had just rescued. At this time, that young man said, Thank you for saving me out, she replied softly. It is just a matter of convenience. Looking at her cold expression, he shyly introduced, My name is Lin Bing. Can I follow you in the future? I used to sell a lot of rough stones to H. My eyes are not bad. Standing next to Lian, Xingye at this time turned his face away and snorted coldly. He said with dissatisfaction, Say what you want to say, what is with the blushing? After saying that, he took the initiative to go around behind him, helped him push the wheelchair away. Let us talk after getting out. I will take you to the car. Watching the two people leave, she stood there silently watching without saying anything. Suddenly, a scent floated by causing her expression to change. Immediately, her feet felt staggered. She hurriedly knelt down and sat down, using one hand to cover her nose to prevent herself from inhaling this scent. Even so, after a while she still fell unconscious helplessly. Scene change. At a certain room she was sitting unconscious, with her hands tied behind her back. Suddenly she woke up, cautiously looking around. Jiang Huang at this time was sitting on the sofa, looking at her. Lian was not surprised at all. It really is you, Jiang Huang. You are too impatient. Her expression turned black, and her voice was somber. Of course, my game can finally begin. How can I not be impatient? I'm looking forward to seeing your skin peel off, and kneeling down to beg for mercy. Hearing that, Lian was also a little stunned by her cruelty. At this time, she took out a whip from somewhere, and looked at her angrily. She clenched her hand, holding the whip. Then she struck hard towards Lian. However, when the whip was about to hit her, she suddenly leaned slightly. Then she focused her strength on her feet, and bounced sharply to the side, causing the whip to lash into the ground. Seeing her dodge her attack, she was a little annoyed. Miscalculation. I should have tied up both of her legs. But the more the little cat struggles to escape, the more it stimulates my desire to teach her. Ignoring her, Li Yan asked, "Where is Ji Xingye?" Seeing that she was still asking about him at this time, Jiang Huang was a little amused. You should worry about yourself. Daring to steal my toys, then you come and replace him. Even though she had raised the whip, before she could attack, Li Yan had run behind the boxes. She continued to go around behind to hit her, but she continued to be dodged by her. Looking at her hiding behind the boxes, Jiang Huang looked a little admiring. You are very good at hiding. At this time, Li Yan could no longer maintain her composure, and her face was a little nervous and asked, "This time is because of the matter that I wanted to take Lin Bing away. So what was it for when you drugged me last time? You can't always be like a mad dog biting people indiscriminately, right?" Hearing her ask, she only answered with a cruel smile, "I do not like you. Who told you to cooperate with the person I hate?" She asked curiously, "The person you hate, who are you talking about?" She was no longer patient, and whipped her and shouted, "Of course it is, Shengtian Li." At this time, behind Lian's back, she relied on Jiang Huang's blind spot, and gradually untied the rope. She continued to whip her in the face at this time. Seeing that she could no longer escape, she laughed heartily. "See where else you can escape to." But at this time, the rope that tied Li Yan had been loosened by her. Jiang Huang was now looking at her with ridicule, and continued to whip her. But at this time, when the whip was close to hitting her, she still looked very calm. Then she easily grabbed the rope. Seeing that, Jiang Huang was surprised and a little flustered at the same time. Holding the rope tightly in her hand, she smiled confidently. "Now, the one who leads the game is me." Li Yan wrapped the rope around Jiang Huang's neck. She stammered and said, "I underestimated you. You can really attack me, but do you dare to kill me? Killing me is going against H." For her threat, Li Yan did not have the slightest fear, and replied, "Secretly violating the boss's orders and tying up my people is you? I am defending myself. What is wrong? But compared to killing you, I want to know, what is your relationship with Shang Tianli?" After saying that, she used force to wrap the rope tighter, and then loosened her hand and released her. She fell to the ground, her body trembling and coughing in pain. At this time, a person holding a flashlight appeared at the door and shouted, "Li Yan." Looking at the person who had just appeared, she smiled and said, "You are one step late." Xingye saw her at this time and hurriedly ran over, asking, "Are you injured?" She casually replied, "Compared to having my little life lying here, these little injuries are nothing." He hurriedly approached, gently stroking her hair to observe, and said apologetically, "I am sorry, Yan Yan. I guarantee there won't be a next time." Seeing his concern for her, she happily smiled and took his hand that was stroking her hair. At this time, Jiang Huang on the side, after witnessing the entire scene of the two people's affection, said with dissatisfaction, "Hey, there is still someone here. Can you be less lovey-dovey, please?" At this time, the two people also paid attention to her. At the same time, Xingye looked at her with a sinister expression and asked, "How do you want to deal with this woman?" She smiled contemptuously and replied, "Her, it just so happens that I can use her to exchange for a good price." Scene change. At a warehouse at this time, trucks were transporting some crates. One of the crates was opened. Inside the crate was full of guns. A guard picked up a gun from it to check. After completing the inspection, he shouted to inform, "No problem." At this time, Ding Yuan asked Lian curiously, "I am very curious. You really used the Xifang seal to solve this matter?" For his question, she replied as a matter of course, "Otherwise what? In addition to the Xifang seal holding the secret of the government, what else can I threaten the customs with? I have proven the value of the Xifang seal. Next, it should be Uncle Ding, who will deal with Ji Xingye for me. How does Uncle Ding want to deal with him?" He smiled. After receiving the desired answer, he also agreed to the transaction with her without hesitation. You do not need to worry about this trivial matter. I guarantee that in the end, when I hand him over to you, you will have the right to take revenge. Seeing his intention, she cursed inwardly. Old fox. Scene change, late at night, at the villa. She dazedly stepped in. The events of today seemed to make her quite tired. Just as she was about to press the light switch, a hand suddenly stopped her. Xingye's voice rang out. Don't turn on the lights. It is me. With that, he pressed his hand on the door, pinning her against it. She stared blankly at him and said, Didn't we say, to avoid Ding Yuan from discovering anything was wrong, we do not need to meet each other for the next period of time? He replied, in a voice a little uncomfortable. We do not meet in front of other people, but it does not say we can't meet in private. You brought Lin Bing back. What are you preparing to do? Recognizing his jealousy, her dazed mood immediately disappeared, smiling and teasing. You came here specially, just for this matter. Ding Yuan did not tell you how he is going to deal with me. His vigilance is very strong. I am preparing to show some affection for another, to make our breakup more real. He asked. That target is Lin Bing, she replied. That is right. Immediately he frowned, and replied with dissatisfaction, Number. With that, he reached out and took her hand. He gently pulled her closer, wrapping his arms around her waist. He repeated again, I said no. Looking at his expression, she smiled with interest. She wrapped her arms around his neck and teased, Wasn't it you who taught me you changed your fiancé, but you do not allow me to change my fiancé? At this time, a knock on the door rang out. Lin Bing asked, Miss Li, are you inside? I made a pot of tea. Would you like to drink it together? Taking the opportunity, she continued to tease him. My future new fiancé invited me to drink tea. Old fiancé, why do not you leave quickly? Hearing her say that it was Lin Bing, he smiled. Then that is good. Let your new fiancé hear it. Your voice under the old fiancé. On the outside, Lin Bing seemed to be checking some documents. In the room, he had hugged her and laid her down on the bed. The lips of the two people touched each other. After letting go, she looked at him incomprehensibly. Do you want outsiders to see that? You are not well behaved. I do not like being controlled, he asked, while biting on the straps of her dress. Then what do you like? With that, he released the straps of the dress in his mouth. The straps were also stuck to her body at this time, he asked. Serving you like this. Facing his attack, she shyly blushed and stammered, Enough. Because she was not careful, her hand hit a cup on the table, causing it to fall. The cup fell to the ground, making a clanging sound. Hearing the sound, Lin Bing hurriedly came over and knocked on the door, asking, What is that sound? Miss Li, are you okay? Miss Li? Li Yan. She poked her head out of the door and said with a friendly smile, I am fine. I just accidentally knocked something over. Are you looking for me? Seeing that she was okay, his expression also relaxed slightly. I just made a pot of soothing tea that can nourish the body. Can I come in and chat together? Because of me, you were made difficult by Huang Jiang. Again, I am very worried. In the room, Li Yan was using her feet to block Xingye's body, to prevent him from coming out. She replied, Another day. It is too late today. At this time, he suddenly remembered something, took a piece of paper and gave it to her. Wait, there is one more thing. This is the invitation Ding Yuan just sent over, inviting you to attend the birthday party at his villa. Suddenly, she groaned softly, and her face also turned red. Forcibly suppressing her emotions, she stammered, You go back to the room first. I have something to do. He did not suspect anything, and replied, Miss Li, rest. I will go first. Seeing him leave, she turned back to look at him, and said with a little annoyance, The person is gone. Why do not you quickly let me go? It seemed that he did not care about her annoyance. He licked his finger and asked, Don't want to continue. Your body is more honest than your mouth. Before he could do anything else, she took the paper and slapped it on his face. Shut up. Let us talk business. Taking the paper, his face became serious. Today, Ding Yuan just said he wanted to take action against me, and right when I got back, he organized a birthday. The timing is very coincidental. It might be a banquet set to entrap me. Knowing the danger of this matter, she asked, Are you going? He smiled confidently and replied, Of course. If I do not go, how can we continue our plan? Scene change. At a certain villa. At this time, Li Yan, dressed gorgeously, pushed Lin Bing in. The people around looked at her and exclaimed, Wow, who is that? So dazzling. Why is she pushing a disabled person? Ignoring everyone's discussion, she bent down and whispered in his ear, Exercise your eyes. Help me look at all of this place, every small detail. Suddenly, a woman's voice rang out behind her. Brother Xingye, what are you looking at? She turned her head back and saw that Xingye at this time seemed to be so annoyed that his head was about to smoke. He frowned and looked towards her and Lin Bing. Scene change. At the restroom. Xingye and Li Yan were standing facing each other. He asked her, Why did you want to bring Lin Bing at such an important moment? She replied, It just so happens that I can take this opportunity to introduce my new man to everyone, so that the breakup between us will be more convincing. Seeming not satisfied with the answer, he moved closer to her and continued to ask, Is it necessary to be so close to him? I see that you really want to provoke me. Don't smile with him anymore. Seeing him like this, she said with some annoyance. Enough. In this moment of life and death, you are still thinking about these things. Ignoring her annoyance, he moved even closer to hug her. Do you want to reject me even for the meal before death? Her expression became serious. Jiyu Xingye, be careful, or you will really die. At this time, someone was slowly walking towards the restroom from outside. Hearing the sound, she was startled. She thought to herself, there is a sound. After focusing for a while, she discovered that the sound was coming from the wall in front of her. She quietly approached and pressed her ear to the wall, thinking to herself, it is coming from here. Could it be? After groping for a while, she suddenly found that there was a point on the wall that could be pushed out. The room slowly opened, and in it was a man who was being soaked in a basin of water. Looking at that man, she was startled. Liao Ming. Hearing that there was someone, he also slowly woke up, making some groaning sounds. She looked at him and asked, why are you still here? Not expecting that he would be so easily found by Ding Yuan. What do you want to say? While asking, she untied the cloth, gagging his mouth. As soon as he was untied, he immediately worriedly spoke non-stop. Save me out of here. I have evidence that you were framed for murdering the person in power. She narrowed her eyes and looked at him, and asked suspiciously, how do I know if you are telling the truth or lying to deceive me? Lian moved closer and looked at Liao Ming's face more carefully. He continued to explain. I helped Ding Yuan find the original witness who pointed out that you killed the person in power. After that, he asked me to keep quiet, so I hid that person. His eyes were earnestly begging. Now I am still alive, only because I have that leverage. You save me, I will take you to find him. Li Yan pondered for a long time. Saving him has the possibility of causing trouble, but if I can find evidence that Ding Yuan conspired to murder the person in power, and falsely accused me. The more he waited, the more anxious Liao Ming became. He hurriedly said all the last secrets. I also know that there is an ear and eye of Ding Yuan beside you. That is someone you would not expect, I can say. A name immediately popped into her head. Li Yan slowly replied, are you talking about Sheng Tianli? His eyes seemed to have fallen to the bottom of the abyss. Li Yan had seen through that trump card. Liao Ming stammered and asked, do you know? Hearing that, she immediately verified what she had just said. Her expression immediately sank. Sure enough, it is Sheng Tianli. It is just... After he cooperated with me, did he join forces with Ding Yuan, or is it... From the beginning he was Ding Yuan's person, deliberately coming to my side. As for Liao Ming, his expression was also not much better. I am done for, she knows. Can I get out? In the next second, only to see Li Yan getting closer and closer, he became even more anxious. What do you want to do? Li Yan replied coldly. Save you. She had her own considerations. Things that can cause Ding Yuan to lose are worth trying. Suddenly, a loud noise immediately attracted Li Yan's attention. The sound of bullets was very close. She panicked. Gunshots. Ding Yuan has started. I have to quickly return to the party. Then she turned to look at Liao Ming. Then him, missing this time, it would be difficult to go in next time. Outside the grand banquet hall, they began to discuss heatedly. Oh my god, I really did not expect the son-in-law to become an enemy. A girl suddenly sat down and burst into tears. Why is it like this? He can't possibly do that. It is impossible. Nan came out from the darkness and said calmly, tell me the situation clearly. Lin Bing then honestly recounted everything. Jiyu Xingye toasted Ding Yuan. Suddenly Ding Yuan fell down and named Jiyu Xingye for poisoning him. Then Jiyu Xingye was surrounded and chased after before, running away, but I saw that the wine was actually prepared by Ding Yuan himself in the kitchen. She seemed to be able to read their calculations and could not help but show contempt. HMPH. Sure enough, they used this trick again, framing Jiyu Xingye and making him a criminal who murdered the person in power. Then from a moral point of view, he can openly and justly eliminate him. At a cliff close to the sea, the sound of people talking echoed throughout the sky. I am going to take a look. You wait for me here for a while. I will have someone send you back. The remaining person replied, can we chase after them? Do you know where they went? There is Song Luo following. On the edge of the cliff, two mysterious knights alone pointed their guns against a dozen people who were approaching. On the other side, Li Yan leisurely witnessed this scene and could not help but say, how is it? Next to her was Song Luo. She quickly replied, they are in a stalemate. It seems that Ding Yuan wants to capture Jiyu Xingye alive. She fell into contemplation again. It seems that Ding Yuan still remembers his promise to me, wanting to capture Jiyu Xingye alive and hand him over to me. It is just that it has been dragging on for too long. I am afraid that Ding Yuan will lose all patience. On Jiyu Xingye's side, he raised his gun forward, ready to fire at any time. Uncle Ding was poisoned, and still can be so energetic to chase me here. It really opens people's eyes. Such a clumsy arrangement. Do you take people as fools? Ding Yuan was not an ordinary person. He immediately pulled out his gun to reply, I want to personally catch you, then I can be at ease. But I am more at ease if you die. In less than a second, a bang rang out, seeing that there was danger. Junsei disregarded his life and rushed up to shield him. Be careful. He alone took on all the bullets. Then his body lost its weight and fell straight off the nearby cliff. A heartbreaking call rang out, Junsei. In the distance, Song Luo's face had completely turned purple. She hurriedly shouted, Number! Without thinking too much, she jumped into the sea together with Junzei, leaving only Li Yan still stunned on the shore. She regretfully and worriedly watched the backs of the two of them, Song Luo. It is okay, although it is a bit different from the plan, but they are all safe and sound. Thinking of this, her eyes suddenly became stunned, her entire body froze. Ding Yuan slowly approached and asked leisurely, Li Yan, your old lover and subordinates died in this place. You seem too calm. Li Yan immediately gave him a sharp look. He continued to explain, I have taken revenge for you. Now you should hand over the Sifeng seal to me. Li Yan also constantly reassured herself and hurriedly sorted out her thoughts. Calm down, Li Yan. Do not get agitated and ruin things. Moreover, with Song Luo jumping down, no matter where they fell, they may not have died. Thinking of this, she quickly adjusted her emotions, crossed her arms and smiled at him and said leisurely, What is Uncle Ding in such a hurry for? I did not say I would not hand it over. How can such an important thing as the Sifeng seal be casually carried around? Hearing that, he also smiled and said understandingly, That is right, I am too anxious. How about Miss Li Yan coming to my house to tidy up, change clothes, and then slowly hand over the Sifeng seal? Suddenly receiving that invitation caused her to frown unconsciously, her voice wary. What do you want me to do when I come? The Sifeng seal is not kept at your house either. Seeing that she did not follow his arrangement, he immediately changed his attitude and said sternly, Li Yan, do not tell me you want to regret it. At this time, a car suddenly rushed over. 2 guards stepped out of the car, and they informed him, Mr. Ding, we have found the 3 people who fell off the cliff. Li Yan on the side turned pale when she heard that report. They dragged 3 people out of the car, namely Xingye, Song Luo, and Junzi, and said, They are all still breathing. Do we need to kill them now? Seeing the condition of the 3 people, she felt extremely horrified. Did not she send someone to save them? Why is it like this? At this time, a guard continued to open the trunk of the car. Inside was a man who was tied up and had a cloth stuffed in his mouth so he could not say anything. He continued to report, By the way, we also found a group of people who wanted to snatch our people on the road, so I tied them all up. Again, seeing those people gradually being brought out of the car, her heart was even more dead. They have been caught. Recognizing her abnormal emotions, he approached and said slyly, Very surprised. Miss Li Yan would not think that I am a villain who kills people without using a knife, right? On the contrary, it is you. Did not you hate him very much? Why did you still send people to save him? Could it be that your and Jiyu Xingye's falling out was originally a conspiracy? Without letting his words shake her, she quickly adjusted her emotions. She turned to look at him with confidence. Uncle Ding, if I remember correctly, you do not have the right to ask such a question. How I want to hate, how I want to deal with Jiyu Xingye does not need other people to interfere. Even less does it come to Uncle Ding to help me deal with him. Our transaction is that you hand Jiyu Xingye over to me, and I hand the Sifeng seal to you, but now. You took it upon yourself to injure Jiyu Xingye. Should I understand that Uncle Ding is wanting to cancel our agreement? Seeing her confident appearance, his suspicion also gradually wavered. Could it be that it is really not her conspiracy? At this time, she continued, Release the others. Hand Jiyu Xingye over to me. Our transaction will continue otherwise. I will consider that Uncle Ding is unilaterally canceling the agreement. He also did not dare to speak loudly anymore at this time, and said sincerely, Of course, I want to sincerely and wholeheartedly make the transaction. It is just that I prefer handing over the person, and the Sifeng seal in one hand. Moreover, I am very curious. How does Miss Li Yan plan to deal with Jiyu Xingye? She looked down at Xingye and said leisurely, Lock him up. I can play however I want, but this is the way of playing for young people Uncle Ding probably does not understand. Uncle Ding just needs to hand the person over to me. At this time, Tianye suddenly appeared from somewhere with a cigarette in his mouth and asked with interest, Play the imprisonment. Play, huh? I like playing this. Dionon, come to my house to play. My house has 3 underground floors with many different ways to play for you to choose. Seeing him suddenly appear here, she was a little stunned. Tianli. Dingwan also suddenly turned to look at him. She continued to ask, Why are you here? Hearing her ask, he very leisurely approached her and said calmly, Of course it is because I am following Dion. You are an experimental subject that I have taken a liking to, in case you die. Then I can come to take your body in the earliest time. She glared at him, a little dissatisfied. Hold back, your perversion is rushing towards me. Ignoring her discomfort, he still said with a mocking tone, Dion's words are really heartbreaking, so Dion wants to lock Jiyu Xingye into which secret room? No matter which prison room it is, I guarantee you will have a lot of fun. On the side, after listening to the entire conversation between the 2 people, Ding Yuan pondered, That is right. letting Jiyu Xingye and Li Yan fall into Sheng Tianli's hands. Is not much different from falling into my hands. It is me who is narrow-minded. After thinking, he did not hesitate any longer and ordered, hand the person over to them. A guard quickly replied, yes. Then he turned back to look at Li Yan and said seriously, then I will wait for Miss Li Yan to fulfill her promise and hand the Xifang seal over to me. Scene change. At a certain room, there were many medical electronic equipment and surgical knives. On a bed, Xingye gradually woke up. Seeing that, she asked, Jiyu Xingye, slowly open your eyes. A voice unconsciously spoke, have you finally woken up? Li Yan, with a charming figure, sat askew beside him. If you are awake, then consciously raise your hand. You know, I like it when people are proactive. He slowly sat up, looked at her with incomprehensible eyes. What new trick is this of yours now after I accidentally fell off the cliff? How did you trade with Ding Yuan? Without letting him continue to speak, she pressed him back down on the bed and used her finger to block his mouth. Shh. Don't talk. At this time, outside the door, Tianli stepped forward and asked suspiciously, what is wrong, Dayan? Since when did you treat your enemy so politely? I took the trouble to save him, not wanting to see you soften him. Moreover, what do you say? We should torture him first, and then talk. She turned to look at him, and replied without the slightest bit of panic. No need, I have my own plan. He did not make things difficult for her, just silently leaned back against the wall and said, okay, let me see what Dion wants to play. She used her hand to gently stroke his stomach. The person is already in my hands. How I want to play is my business. Suddenly he cried out strangely. She looked at him with a puzzled expression. The wound is not on your stomach. What are you breathing in? His face was flushed. There is no wound, but there is a sensitive spot. Li Yan said calmly, sensitive spot? Right, if that is the case. With that, she took a strange object from the drawer next to her. It was a whip pointing straight towards Jiyu Xingye and said seductively, striking down, it must be very painful, right? She continued to grope down to a deeper place and said in a hoarse voice, just now, it was this place that was sensitive, right? Li Yan leaned close to his lips in the next second and said in a low voice, cooperate with me. Jiyu Xingye looked up at her and begged softly, what exactly do I have to do for you to let me go? Before he could finish speaking, a rope had quickly wrapped around Jiyu Xingye's neck. She responded domineeringly, let you go, you are joking, I spent so much effort to catch you. There is no way I will let you go easily, I know who to settle accounts with for the wedding. You can't possibly think that there is nothing wrong with teasing me, right? With that, she showed a sinister smile. He angrily turned red. What is the matter with teasing you, humiliation, like what is happening now? And preparing to use it to punish me? At this time, Tianli standing outside could no longer be patient and urged, are you two arguing or flirting? Can you play something more intense? Ignoring him, she continued to stare Yingye and replied, of course, I have to torture you slowly. Hearing that, he slammed the door shut and left and shouted angrily, I can't take it anymore. You two can slowly torture each other. As soon as he left, his two hands gently lifted up. He hugged her tightly, pulling her close to his body. He forcefully placed a kiss on her lips. At this time, she shyly blushed, and he asked with satisfaction, what exactly is this about? Still want to use toys with me? Explain it, fiancé. After regaining her senses, she pretended to be angry. Jiyu Xingye let go. He smiled and ignored her anger. Okay, then you take off the handcuffs first. She said, stop it. Currently, Ding Yuan has not obtained the Xifang seal, and we are also under the surveillance of Sheng Tianli. Ding Yuan will not have much patience. At most 2 days he will take action against me. With that, she took his hand and gently released it. The two people simultaneously lowered their heads and fell into contemplation. Jiyu Xingye at this time was a little upset. Your man just went through life and death, but in your head there is only the old man Ding Yuan. With that, he raised his head and showed a self-deprecating smile. Could it be that I am not worth you looking at for even a second longer? Lian placed her hand on Xingye's face and warned worriedly, Jiyu Xingye, now is not the time to joke. Sheng Tianli might come back at any time. Her two hands pressed against his face. Xingye, her eyes kind and sincere. Then when is the time? Wait until death. He looked at Li Yan frowning and thought to himself, it is always like this. It seems that she only has the meaning of life and death. What is love cannot make her soften. Whether it is the affairs of the gang or the affairs of subordinates, anyone can be more important than me. Xingye's face darkened with the thoughts in his heart. How exactly can I make her realize that I am always waiting for her to look at me, if I wait forever and can't get it? Xingye's solid body with six-pack abs stood in front of Li Yan and thought to himself, act cute, my wound hurts so much. Can you talk while helping me change the medicine? Then I must take the initiative to attack? Xingye held Li Yan's two wrists close to her face and thought to himself, looking at his expression, it does not look like he wants to change the medicine, but it looks like. Li Yan frowned and looked at Xingye and thought to herself, wanting to eat me. His two hands held her wrists and pressed his face closer to Li Yan. But it hurts a lot. At least the medicine can prevent the wound from becoming infected. Before that, Sheng Tianli did surgery on Ji Yu Xingye. It seemed very rough, and he did not even use anesthesia. Tianli, wearing gloves and a mask, stood next to Li Yan and looked seriously. Why waste anesthesia on him anyway? I want to torture him just right. In the room with the blurred light of the lamp. Okay, you sit still and do not move. I will help you apply the medicine to your leg first. Xingye took off his shirt and sat up looking at Li Yan. It might hurt a little. Bear with it a little. Li Yan silently looked at Xingye, sitting with his head down, his sturdy body bandaged and injured. The white pieces of cloth were taken off. Xingye bowed his head and spoke, solemnly. Li Yan looked at him with red cheeks and thought to herself, Shy, dogman, why are you breathing so sensually? I always feel that he is doing it on purpose. Moreover, she held the medical instrument and applied the medicine to Xingye's thigh and spoke, This position is a bit ambiguous. Li Yan's face turned red, and she put down her hand and turned her face away, embarrassed. Okay, you can do it yourself later. Li Yan looked at Xingye, who had a wound on his shoulder, and said shyly, Also on the shoulder. She held the medical supplies and applied the medicine on his shoulder. Li Yan applied the medicine with a red face, and a lot of sweat flowed out, embarrassed, and thought to herself, This distance is too close, too ambiguous. I even have a strong sense of danger that I am about to be torn apart. Li Yan put down the medical instrument next to the medicine bottle. I remembered I have something to do. You do it yourself. Li Yan raised her head high, and Xingye leaned close to her neck, unexpectedly and embarrassedly. Yan, can you lower your head a little? He looked up at her with a handsome face. Lower a little. Please kiss me. Li Yan blushed and avoided him, embarrassed. Ji Yu Xingye, do not joke around. Xingye grabbed Li Yan's wrist. Then he pressed his face closer to her, embarrassed. Ji Yu Xingye, let me go. Li Yan's hand touched Xingye's wound, causing it to bleed. She looked down with red cheeks and shouted, Let go, otherwise I will continue to use force. Li Yan gently touched and wiped the blood on Xingye's chest. Okay. Xingye lowered his head and kissed Li Yan's lips. Embarrassed, you said? Continue. She opened her eyes wide, surprised. Two lips touched each other. She felt something, and thought to herself, I do not know why, but I can feel the despair in this kiss. Li Yan looked at Xingye's red cheeks, embarrassed, and thought, What is he trembling for? She slowly closed her eyes and felt the kiss. Tianli stood outside and turned his face away and crossed his arms, solemnly thought to himself, Why can't I hear any sound inside? What are they doing? He opened the door and shouted, Hey, you two! The scene before Tianli's eyes. Li Yan looked up, and Xingye pressed on her, stunned. Tianli's eyes widened angrily. So, your method of revenge is to block him here and kiss him forcefully. His eyes were bright and red. Yan, do not tell me you have become the kind of person I hate the most who does not keep their word. Xingye's face darkened. Li Yan placed her hand on his chest and turned her head to speak. Shang Tianli. Xingye stepped back, his face darkened his sturdy body, provoking, Ha! Is it because you have been single for too long? Xingye's handsome face. I do not know if it is normal for a young couple to have a little ambiguity before wanting to get back together. What is wrong? Are your eyes red with anger? Tianli heard that disappointedly, and his two eyes lit up, angrily. What? Are you kidding me? I am red-eyed with anger? Xingye set his six-pack body handsome face, provoking him. Why do you always appear beside us? Or were you born to like eating? He looked at him seriously, and asked, Dog? Tianli bowed his head, his face darkened, angrily. How interesting. You are the second person who dares to say that in front of me. His two eyes were red, contemptuously. The first person who said that. Tianli held the gun in his hand and pointed it straight, seriously, angrily, was completely soaked in formalin. Li Yan rushed to kick Tianli in the face, angrily. The shiny gun circled around in the air. Li Yan contracted her leg and looked towards him, seriously. Enough, bullying a sick person is very glorious. Tianli turned his back and bowed his head. His face darkened and silently said, Dion is protecting him too much? Could it be that she did not forget the deal with Ding Yuan and made peace with this guy? He turned his face around and his hand held a sharp and shiny knife, his eyes dangerously red. If Dion's heart is soft and can't take action, I can help you kill him. Tianli rushed straight towards Xingye. His hand held a sharp shiny knife. His face darkened and he waved his hand towards Xingye and he dodged it and shouted, Do you also feel that she has a soft spot for me? Xingye was quite calm and provoked him. If I die, maybe I have to thank you. Maybe I will have a special position in her heart. Xingye glanced at Tianli. His face darkened when he said the sentence, She will never forget me. Xingye turned his face to leave. Tianli spoke. Dian, do you like him? He turned his face to glance. Both Jiu Xingye and Sheng Tianli's faces darkened and waited for Li Yan's answer. Tell him, you love me, do not you? Li Yan stood with her arms crossed and seriously, are you two threatening me? Or do you feel that? Li Yan's face darkened and walked towards Xingye coldly. You have the right to control who I like. Tianli heard her say that and turned his face around happily, laughing loudly. Ha ha ha, that is right. This is the Li Yan that I know. She will not be seduced by men. Her eyes always look at people like they are trash. Li Yan looked at him seriously and straightly. She went to touch his face with her hand and pressed her face close together. Did I tell you to be nosy, two people? No matter who it is, I will not take a fancy to, if you repeat it next time. Before she finished talking, Tianli was embraced by Li Yan. She looked at him and spoke. I will cut your ears off, so you can hear clearly. Got it? He looked at her, smirked, and asked, Dian does not like it? Then what kind of person does Dian like? Li Yan frowned and looked at him and seriously replied, I do not like people who reveal their seductive side at the drop of a hat, and I do not like being often flirted with. Xingye turned his face to look at her and smiled lightly to himself. So her liking is called not liking. Tianli bowed his head. Li Yan grabbed his clothes and turned his face to look behind, and looked. The husband I like. He must be as pretty as a girl, have long hair, and be willing to be pressed under me, and will not resist. Tianli opened his eyes wide, looked up at Xingye, turned his face to ask. Pretty, long hair, does not resist. He automatically associated with the story of Xingye lying on the bed with straps on his body, and his hot body is suggestive. He went to touch her shoulders with both hands. Li Yan, the words you just said. Li Yan turned her face away, seriously. The wound is bleeding. You need to rest. I will find an opportunity to take you out. Xingye looked at her gently and frowned as he gently called her name, Li Yan. Li Yan turned her back. I will definitely be yours. In the quite luxurious washroom, Tianli came out to stand washing his hands. When he looked into the mirror, his eyes widened. Suddenly sighed and darkened as he thought to himself, it is clear that I do not want Dian to have a relationship with any man. Tianli secretly thought, then blushed, embarrassed. But if the person Dian likes is me. His hand covered half of his face and looked into the mirror, ashamed, and thought to himself, then I am very much looking forward to it. Liao Ming was naked and had chains wrapped around him, begging, Miss Lian, please do not go, save me. There was a woman's hand, grabbed Liao Ming's hair. Li Yan grabbed the top of his head of hair, angrily and seriously. Currently, there is a battle happening outside, and Ding Yuan has pushed Ji Yu Xingye to the brink. Do you think I will give up saving Ji Yu Xingye for your sake? No? Liao Ming closed his eyes and shouted, begging, don't leave me in Ding Yuan's place. Liao Ming suddenly opened his eyes wide and woke up, stunned. He looked down at the body of Liao Ming lying on the bed wrapped in medical bandages, stunned. He looked over with a shaking hand. A person saw it and spoke, frightened unexpectedly. My hands and feet? What is wrong with them? He has woken up. Lin Bing, sitting next to him in a wheelchair holding a piece of paper, spoke with him, but Liao Ming could not calm down and asked, if he has woken up, then charge him. It was not easy for Miss Lian to save you out of there and treat you, my hands. What is wrong with them? Lin Bing brought his hand up holding a black card and looked at him seriously. Oh right, I almost forgot. It is all right. I can scan it for you. Say your bank card password. Liao Ming looked down at his 2 hands and 2 feet, unexpectedly, and shouted, my hands and my feet too! What exactly is wrong? Lin Bing lowered his head, sadly. Did you forget? Your hands and feet were already crippled by Ding Yuan. He did not believe it and listened to him tell it, unexpectedly and disappointed. When we arrived, your hands and feet were only a section left. No, no. Nao Ming tried to sit up, angrily, and shouted, Ding Yuan, I will kill you, and Sheng Tianli. His 2 eyes widened, frowning sweat dripped down, and shouted with hatred. Sheng Tianli is a spy for Ding Yuan. No one can be spared. Suddenly there was a voice from outside. Lin Bing and Liao Ming looked. Their eyes met, stunned. What is the matter? Lazy already? I want the Xifang seal for the Xifang seal. I even agreed to imprison Ji Yu Xingye at your place, so that the name Liao Ming could take the opportunity to escape. He has a lot of our secrets in his hands. The voice of Ding Yuan. Suddenly the footsteps of a man with elegant shoes came closer and spoke and hung up the phone. Got it. Are not I going to solve the escaped rat now? Is that the point? The Xifang seal is the point? Beep beep beep. Liao Ming saw what was ahead and lost his composure and shouted, frightened and unexpectedly. Quick! Sheng Tianli is here. Quickly take me away. Tianli opened the door and walked in holding the weapon. Liao Ming lied on the bed. Lin Bing sat in his wheelchair and looked at him. Didn't I say, the thing I hate the most when I take action is when it is noisy. Tianli held the weapon and leaned it on his shoulder. His eyes were red and he walked over, seriously. Why are you shouting so loudly? His eyes lit up with Liao Ming's reflection, coldly and dangerously. I advise you to be obedient and do not struggle. Lin Bing glanced at him uncomfortably. If so, the rat does not listen. At night, the streetlights shone down on the streets of the high-rise building. Shang Tianli stood in front of Lin Bing, who was sitting in a wheelchair. He held a knife to his neck and threatened dangerously. "You must know that I have no patience. If you can't answer my question, then you go die." Li Yan pushed the door open forcefully and walked in, angrily. "What problem is it that you specially caught him back to interrogate him?" Tianli turned his head to glance behind him, seriously. Li Yan saw the scene before her, unexpectedly. The back of Tianli, and the blood on the floor. Liao Ming, he is dead. He turned his head to look back. Eyes lit up, hair, face, and clothes had a lot of blood on them. "Dion, why are you here?" Li Yan asked him, worriedly and confused. "Why did you have to kill him?" Tianli reached out and went to her. Lin Bing, who was tied up, was sitting on the wheelchair. "This guy is Dion's new boyfriend. Is this a good enough reason to kill him?" Li Yan raised her face and grabbed his collar and looked at Tianli, angrily shouted, "What about Liao Ming? What relationship do I have with him? What did you kill him for? What are you gonna do in the end? Did you want to kill him yourself? Or did Ding Yuan tell you to kill him?" Li Yan frowned, glared, and looked at Tianli, angrily. "Tell me one reason I can accept, otherwise I will not say another word to the person who betrayed me." Shang Tianli glanced down at her silently. His face was all covered in bloodstains. Li Yan looked at him seriously, angrily. "Does Dion care so much? Because I am a very important person in Dion's heart. Even a dog does not bite the person who is good to them. A master is a very important thing, right?" Tianli bowed his head. His face darkened, on his cheeks were drops of blood, disappointed. "Ah, so Dion only sees me as a dog." Tianli had blood all over his body, and his eyes widened and brightly stared at her. "Does Dion like me to play a puppy or a wolf more? No matter what, Dion will like me. Whether it is Ji Yusing or that useless cripple, are not as good as me, right?" Naiyan looked at Tianli, who was standing and bowing his head, and shouted his name, Shang Tianli. Suddenly, Tianli's two hands were placed on Li Yan's shoulders, unexpectedly. He pressed his face close to her. Li Yan moved back, angrily. "Are you deliberately making me disgusted? Or do you feel that I do not dare to take action?" Tianli's eyes lit up and pressed his face close to her. "Dion, do you remember the scene of the first time we met?" When mentioning the first time they met was the scene of Li Yan lying on Tianli's body on the bed with him shirtless. The first time we met. At that time, Dion also used this expression to place me under her body. He was lying naked on the bed, with his two hands covering, embarrassed, including... Li Yan slapped him in the face, squeezed, just like a dead person. There is no fun at all. Where is this kind of product worth 30 million? Her hand squeezed his cheek. No choice, the old boss. The woman was in debt to gambling and disappeared, and Sheng lost it all. Today is just 1 week since he jumped off the building to commit suicide. Now the Sheng family only has this young punk left. Li Yan placed his hand into Tianli's mouth, unexpectedly. If that is the case, then pull him down to teach him. Until when will he understand things? She placed her hand deep into his mouth, and her eyes turned red, unexpectedly embarrassed. Then bring him to an overseas club. Zheng Huang stood looking at Tianli lying on the bed shirtless. There were the loud voices of people. "Wait, do not touch him." A man with a suit and his hand in front of him walked over elegantly. "I am his uncle, please release him first. I will think of a way for the 30 million. The man handed the suitcase to a person to take it. "Rest assured, I know the rules. From now on, I will treat this grandson as if he has died." The man opened the suitcase. Inside were all piles of money. "Here, the money has arrived. Now I will go to the airport to gather with you. I did not expect that punk to be worth so much." Tianli, lying on the bed shirtless, hesitated and spoke. "Uncle." The man darkly turned his head seriously. "Paying off the debt for him, huh? Do not choke. Since he has to die, it is better for this maternal uncle to benefit than to benefit others. A lot of things I do not even remember anymore." The black high heels of the woman prepared to walk over. Tianli, lying naked on the bed, curled up. "Don't kill me. I can do anything for you." Tianli pondered. Tears flowed down his cheeks, flowed on the bed, sadly crying. Zhang Huang bowed her head. Her face darkened. "Anything." Her eyes lit up and stood with her arms crossed, looking at him, dangerously. "Do you know what your uncle sold you here to do? On the surface, it is a club. In reality, we are selling organs." Jiang Huang held 2 fingers in front of her mouth. "Welcome to." Tianli, lying on the bed, leaned to one side and curled up his body and looked at her, angrily. "I can do anything for you. I can earn more money than selling organs." Zhang Huang stood sternly with her arms crossed, contemptuously. "Only based on you, huh? Everyone who comes here says that like you. What do I base it on to believe you?" An old woman walked in, looked at the back of Zhang Huang and spoke. "Zhang Huang, let him try." That woman put on her elegant clothes and said seriously to her, confidently, "I believe he can." The man kneeled down and looked at the person before him, who was holding the knife, and begged in fear, "Take out both of his kidneys. Please, do not. My luck has gotten better. I can definitely pay you back the money owed." Tianli looked silently, coldly, and anxiously. He looked at the man coldly and silently. Unexpectedly, the man wailed and begged, "Hoo hoo hoo! I need to beg you!" Someone walked over and touched his hand coldly and replied, "So noisy, too many things." Zhang Huang pulled Tianli's hand towards the man. Unexpectedly, "Fap, sure enough, you are only obedient when you become a corpse." Tianli's 2 eyes turned red and bright. The whole body was covered in blood. "That is right. You are only obedient when you become a corpse." He wore elegant long white clothes and walked proudly. "There are a lot of things I do not remember, including how I left H. But there are 2 things I remember clearly." The back of Tianli walked towards the front and stood in front of the scene door. "One is catching you back from country M and turning you into the most obedient experimental subject." He walked to look down at the man lying silently on the operating bed. Li Yan had her 2 hands tied up, and next to her was a rough skeleton that had disappeared, seriously looked at him. 2 is discovering her. Tianli pressed his face close to Li Yan. "Ai ya, how powerful! You have been locked up for 10 days, but you are still not crazy and have not starved to death." Li Yan slightly opened her mouth, wanting something very small. Tianli brought his hand close to her mouth. "What are you saying?" Li Yan looked straight into Tianli's eyes and shouted loudly, angrily, "I said, you go die." The look in his eyes as he looked at her was thoughtful. Li Yan contracted her leg and kicked Tianli in the face, angrily. He glanced at her, angrily, unaffected at all. Li Yan sat up and grabbed a knife to chop over, but Tianli dodged it. Her hand placed on his shoulder, and her hand tightly gripped the knife and raised it high. However, Li Yan had lost her balance and fell and propped her hands and pressed Tianli down on the ground. Tianli looked seriously at Li Yan with the knife close to his neck. "Although you still have the ability to move makes me very surprised. But how can I not prepare anything and advance like a mentally challenged person? I have changed my mind. Cooperate with me. What do you think?" Li Yan sat on top looking down at Tianli. He tightly grabbed her wrist. "It is nothing at all at that time." Dian also used this expression to press me under her body. Shang Tianli, with his hand holding the knife, pressed Li Yan down. His clothes were all covered in blood. Not long after, we became the most intimate partners. His eyes turned red and he pressed his face close and stared silently, threatening and dangerously. Now using this expression to look at me, does Dian want to get closer to me? Li Yan sighed and looked seriously at Tianli. "You are mistaken. The point of my concern from now on is not that I am seeing you as a dog or not, but your relationship with Ding Yuan." Withdrawing her hand, she grabbed the knife. Li Yan held the knife and pointed it straight at Tianli. His eyes lit up, looking, "I do not like being deceived. Tell me the truth." She used the knife and held it close to his abdomen, and the knife had a pool of blood. "This is the last chance I am giving you." Tianli propped his hands and pressed his face close to Li Yan. "You want to know the truth that badly? If Dian promises to only be good to me in the future, I will tell you the truth. Is that okay?" Li Yan frowned and angrily called his name. "I am serious, Sheng Tianli." Tianli brought his hand up and used his tongue to lick the blood. His face darkened as he replied, "I am also serious." Tianli's whole body had torn clothes and was covered in blood, smirked. "Jiyu Xingye has become your enemy. Your little boyfriend is a useless cripple. I should be the most important person in your heart. Right?" Tianli grabbed Li Yan's hand and pressed it against her body. "What are you hesitating about? As long as you are good to only me, I will tell you all the truth." A person from afar sat and watched them through a small screen. "What do you think, Dian?" Jiyu Xingye frowned and looked at the scene on the tablet silently, angrily. Tianli blood, mixed with human blood. Those wounds pressed against Li Yan, gently. "If you are only good to me, I will tell you all the truth." He touched her waist. "Become my most intimate and trusted person, all the secrets. I will tell you all, everything is possible." Before he finished speaking, suddenly, Li Yan's hand grabbed Tianli's wrist. Li Yan looked straight into his eyes and smiled wickedly and asked, "Become your most intimate person." Tianli looked at her with sparkling eyes and replied, lightly smiled, "Dian has agreed, right?" Suddenly Li Yan's hand touched Tianli's shoulder, unexpectedly. Then she suddenly stood up and pushed him to the ground. Li Yan had sharp eyes and was serious, hating, and disdaining. "Since when have I been reduced to selling my soul to exchange for information?" Tianli looked into her eyes, silently, coldly. She pulled out a phone from his pants pocket. "Take it out, what I want." Li Yan put the phone screen in front of Tianli's face. "No one has ever been able to stop me." Then the phone screen lit up and displayed a notification that it was unlocked. Ting ting, facial recognition successful. Li Yan picked up the phone to look, seriously. "Let me see how much benefit Ding Wang gave you, that it is worth you selling your life to him." Tianli grabbed Li Yan's wrist. He grabbed her wrist and sat up silently, and seriously, "Dian, are you sure you want to see? This is like Pandora's box for you. Knowing is not necessarily a good thing." Li Yan shook Tianli's hand away, coldly. "Whether it is a good thing or not, is not for you to say." She looked at the phone screen that was full of calls from the spokesperson from 10 minutes ago, 2 hours ago, and the calls from yesterday. Click. Li Yan looked seriously at the phone and spoke confused. Spokesperson. Jiyu Xingye saw the problem through the screen and understood. His face darkened coldly. Didn't he die half a year ago? Why is he still contacting Sheng Tianli? Is Sheng Tianli really working for Uncle Ding? In the room, the man sat on a chair at the desk, with his arms crossed seriously. The phone showed a notification. Sheng Tianli. In half an hour, there will be a transaction at the harbor, worth about 500, a total of 5 people. Ding Yuan looked at the phone and laughed with pleasure. Ha 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 ha, there is a new order. He took the black hat elegantly. In front of him was a line of elegant guards standing solemnly. He gestured. Everyone prepare, now follow me to set off. A guard in an elegant vest walked over, worriedly. Uncle Ding, this time it is still better for us to go. You stay here to guard against accidents. No need, for half a month. Sheng Tianli's intelligence has never been wrong. Moreover, now the Vermilion Bird and Green Dragon have broken up. Even a small gang can climb on top of their heads and show off. What is there to be afraid of? That guard was still worried and hesitated. He put on his hat, coldly, but, all right. Ding Yuan left the guards, stood behind him, and looked at him elegantly. This is a historic moment, witnessing the collapse of Li Yan and Jiyu Xingye, as well as the unification of the underground factions. I will be the new person in power. Turning half of his face to look at them, his eyes lit up, dangerously. How can I be absent? At the harbor at night. A small corner between the crates. There is a transaction. Suddenly, the two people froze. They are now surrounded, and the gun barrels are directly pointed at them. Ding Yuan pulled his hat down slightly, and spoke in a low voice. Hand over the money and goods. My mood is not bad today. As long as you obediently join my gang, I can spare your lives this time. Hearing that, the two immediately spoke in unison. You want me to betray Sister Yan, boss? Seeing their stunned expressions, he explained, without the slightest bit of hesitation. The two old bosses are about to die, and the small gang is about to end. You are just looking for another job. How can you say it is betraying? Before his conceited words ended, suddenly a familiar voice rang out, causing Ding Yuan to freeze. Is that so? Li Yan spoke coldly and asked, why do not I know that the two of us are about to die? Next to her was Xingye, and he was pointing a gun at him. Seeing the two people appear here, Ding Yuan was still shocked. Li Yan, Jiyu Xingye, are not you two locked up in Sheng Tianli's secret room? Li Yan did not say anything, but only raised her eyebrows and then waved her hand. Immediately after, they immediately turned the guns towards Ding Yuan. Instantly, he trembled. Before this scene, Li Yan slowly spoke and asked, let me guess. If all the bullets are fired simultaneously, will Uncle Ding's head explode like a punctured sandbag? Ding Yuan opened his mouth wide before these words of hers. Before this scene of overwhelming numbers like this, he still tried his best to remain calm and questioned her. Because of the position of power, you not only killed the person who raised you and made you who you are, and now you even want to kill me. Then Ding Yuan distracted them to signal Tianli. Next, are you going to kill all the people who trust you the most? But he did not move at all. Seeing that, he began to speak loudly, trying to signal to him, why are you still following such a merciless person, who sacrifices everything to achieve her goals? Ding Yuan secretly urged in his heart, take action. What is he still standing there for? This action of his had fallen into Li Yan's eyes. She confidently asked straight, Uncle Ding's eyes are blinking so fiercely. Are you deliberately seducing me? Hearing that, Ding Yuan hurriedly explained, how could there be? A grain of sand flew into my eye. Before these words, she then smiled and replied, is that so? I thought you were signaling that mole to take action. Then, Li Yan put her hand on Tianli's shoulder. That is right, I forgot to tell you. To lure Uncle Ding into our trap, over the past half-month, I especially asked Sheng Tianli to reveal a lot of information. To you, the brothers and sisters cooperated and acting was not easy. Uncle Ding, did you have fun for the past time? Coming to this point, he could not help but be stunned. How is that possible? You knew long ago. No, Sheng Tianli is not. Coming to this point, Ding Yuan also realized everything. You betrayed me, Tianli. In the beginning, was not it me who saved you from H's hands like a dog? Have you forgotten? He asked in a low voice. Now you are betraying me for a woman. Hearing that, Tianli then smiled and replied, oh dear, why do you put it so badly? The thing that you wanted. I have already helped you achieve it. I only want you to die. What am I in the wrong? These words of his caused him to be dumbfounded. You guys, he thought to himself, Ding Yuan, I am just a fool being played around by them. Ding Yuan's eyes began to harden. Do not move. Immediately after, he rushed over while pulling out a sword. If that is the case, then all of you die. It is better if everyone dies together. Before this scene, Xingye then spoke to remind Li Yan, quickly move away. Immediately after, Tianli had bravely stepped forward to block in front of her. Ding Yuan had also appeared before his eyes. The tip of the sword was gradually rushing towards Tianli, causing him to turn pale. But then a gun had blocked the sword before his surprise. Li Yan cocked the gun while leisurely speaking. How is that possible? Everyone has guns in their hands. Immediately after, she immediately pointed the gun straight to Ding Yuan's forehead. How can I be afraid of a knife? Suddenly, Xingye turned red. Was not it? Because before he could finish speaking, he was interrupted by Tianli, because I was worried about Dian. What would I do if Dian accidentally died? Even in this situation of life and death, Ding Yuan did not cower, but instead raised his voice to challenge, "Do you dare to kill me? Half of the powers in City X, and the fastest way to make money from smuggling is still in my hands. My subordinates only recognize people, not money. You do not dare to kill me." Next was his savage laugh. Immediately after, Lian fired. He began to kneel down when the bullet pierced deep into his thigh. Next, she spoke with a lazy tone, how long-winded. After that, Lian fired another bullet. Sometimes dying is easier than living. In the end, Ding Yuan had collapsed. After all, there are many ways to make someone wish they were dead. His eyes were still open, but his body poured a lot of chili sauce. Then Lian hooked her fingers to order, "Come here." Both men came together and answered in unison, "Coming." Immediately after, the two men gave each other a look and then simultaneously retorted, "She called me." Without waiting for them to argue, Lian then spoke, "Chanli, can come? Pick up the knife." Tianli obediently picked up the sword. What does Dian want to do? She with a serious expression ordered, "Stab him. I want to hear him apologize and admit his mistakes." Hearing that, he quickly listened. "Not a problem. Leave it to me." His eyebrows slightly frowned together with his sharp eyes. Yan crossed her arms and asked straight at Xingye, "What are you unhappy about?" He immediately replied, "It is nothing." And then there was the sound of Fab. Xing Tianli, do not go too far. Suddenly she moved closer to Xingye. His face clearly expressed his unhappiness. "Sundari." Then Li Yan began to lean far away, not letting him do it, was afraid of dirtying his hands. After all, Tianli was used to doing this kind of thing. Suddenly Tianli stopped again. He stood motionless for an unclear reason. Then Xingye happily asked back, "Really?" His face scrunched up unconsciously. After that, he struck a fatal blow, causing Ding Yuan's red syrup to splash. He also had to speak, "Sorry." Suddenly, a voice rang out from afar, "Enough." Ji Yu Cheng sat in his wheelchair and seriously spoke. "I said enough, Tianli, stop it. If you continue to torture him, he will die." Hearing the familiar voice, they both simultaneously spoke, "Person in power, uncle." Li Yan crossed her arms and remained silent for a moment. Then she smiled brightly. "After waiting for so long, you have finally appeared." Hearing that, he then called, "Xingye, Xiaoyan." Ji Yu Cheng spoke in a low voice and continued, "Long time no see." Xingye raised his eyebrows and could not help but wonder. "Sure enough, you are not dead. You were always hiding from us. If Li Yan did not appear, were you planning to hide it forever?" Their conversation was still going on, if at that time Li Yan was not there, while Tianli on this side was a little down. Li Yan held the phone in her hand and questioned him, "So what is the matter with you cooperating with Ding Yuan? What is your relationship with the person in power? How much of the truth of his death do you know?" In response, Tianli then answered in an oblique way, "Your question is very sharp, Dian, but it is such a pity. I can't tell you before the time comes according to the promise." Her eyes gradually became sharp. "You can't tell me before the time comes." Then Li Yan went over to put her hand on his shoulder. "You are the person of the person in power. Do not think about denying it. Ding Yuan would never wait, and also does not need to wait for what he wants. In the basement, you had countless opportunities, but you still did not take action against us. This also proves." She leaned close to him and concluded, "Ding Yuan is our common opponent." Li Yan held her hand out and gently made a request. "Sheng Tianli, cooperate or not?" The corner of Tianli's lips curved slightly. Next, he reached out to grab her hand. Then Tianli gently said, "We have always been partners from the start." Scene changed. The guard slightly bent down and said, "Uncle Ding, your news is very accurate. Just as expected, the other side has no one struggling. They were all arrested by us." Ding Yuan was dialing his phone and replied, "That is for sure." The chat content of Sheng Tianli with him was as follows. "You did very well this time. Continue to find out information about them. Got it?" Returning to the present, Xingye slowly explained, "If it was not for Dian cleverly thinking of this way, would Uncle have been determined to hide it, leaving her forever?" His voice became increasingly harsh, forever carrying the name of murdering Uncle. Lian's eyes widened as she secretly asked herself, "I killed the person in power." Ji Yu Cheng slowly expressed, "You are all the children Uncle loves the most. How can Uncle bear to treat you like that?" Uncle borrowed Xiaoyan's hand to leave everyone's sight. "It was only because Uncle is old and wanted to hand over the position to you early." Then he turned to the dying Ding Yuan and continued to express, Ding Yuan's ambitions were too big. If Uncle was still alive, sooner or later he would find a way to kill Uncle. Might as well decisively leave and make the situation a bit chaotic, and you will have a chance. Ding Yuan spoke in a low voice with difficulty. "You?" He held his hand and said, "What is wrong, old friend? You did not expect this move of mine, right?" Ding Yuan said with a harsh voice. You? But he had run out of breath. Suddenly, Li Yan spoke with a doubt. Wait, I killed Uncle, but clearly... A series of old memories began to appear in her mind. The time she just began to wake up, the hospital. Li Yan began to frown and ponder. The person in power is my benefactor. I treat him like my own uncle. Why would I kill him, and why would he use me to fake his death? Suddenly she realized something. Wait, I lost my memory, and the person in power faked his death. The scene of her turning her back to leave immediately appeared. I am leaving first. I will bring things over here tomorrow. Just at this time, Xingye also opened the door and walked in. Uncle. Just as he entered, he was rooted to the spot. Ji Yu Cheng, with his body covered in Chinsu chili sauce, lay motionless on the chair. Suddenly, a bullet was fired, causing her to be shocked. Li Yan quickly dodged. I said, the person was not killed by me. Xingye together with the guards were all pointing their guns at her, but after 10 minutes after you left, Uncle died. Hearing that, Li Yan then uncomfortably questioned him. Because of the position of power, you are even willing to frame others, Ji Yu Xingye. Since when did you become like this? Before these questions of hers, he also began to respond, I have never changed. The person who changed... The bullet was fired. Right after Xingye spoke. Is you... This bullet caused her to be extremely shocked. Li Yan began to run. Ji Yu Xingye. Lu Ying quickly appeared. Boss, do not say anymore. Quickly. The guard wanted to chase, but he stopped him. Enough. Xingye said in a low voice. Do not chase. Let her go. The car quickly sped away, leaving the bottle suspended. Immediately after it exploded. He could not help but be surprised by the image just now. The guard expressed with a slight embarrassment. Sorry, boss. My hand slipped. Scene change. Leon gradually understood everything, so that is how it is. The image of her happily snuggling into a man and calling intimately, darling. Returning to the present, she also concluded the matter, so this is the truth. Leon turned her eyes to look down. This time, I have truly remembered everything. But then, she thought, but what good is it to remember? Then Leon clenched her hand. Uncle is my benefactor. Even if Uncle framed me, he is still my benefactor. Ding Yuan's entire body trembled. He began to groan. Ah, my wound. His voice made her extremely uncomfortable. Li Yan immediately pointed the gun at him. Uncle is my benefactor, but he is not anything. If it was not for him, I would not have become like this. Seeing that she was planning to take action against him, Ji Yu Cheng then stopped her. Xiao Yan, do not be impulsive. Ding Yuan's power is very big. If you kill him, it will be very easy to lose control in the gang. Hearing that, she then retorted arrogantly, if we lose control, then suppress it. She continued to say, the biggest difference between me and Uncle is that I will never raise a tiger to cause trouble. After that, Leon began to leave. Ji Yu Cheng and Xingye both stood watching her leave. Suddenly, Lu Ying and Zhenzi appeared and pointed their guns at them. Do not move, raise your hands, hand over the guns. We won't kill you. A brand name is being installed. The person below gave instructions, a little to the left, a little more. A woman was being led away by the police. Don't touch me, I will go myself. Next were the sounds of whispering. Hey, did you hear? The underground black gangs have been fighting for dozens of years, and finally united. I heard that it was swallowed and controlled by a black gang big boss named Ji Yu. Who cares who he is? Being able to unite is a good thing. The curtain was pulled down for Ji Yu Cheng to look out and observe. Then he began to withdraw his hand. Xingye, until now, you still do not understand the reason why Uncle chose to fake his death in the beginning. Xingye gritted his teeth. His discomfort was clearly revealed on his face. I only know that you used me, and hurt Lian. Until now she still has not removed me from the blacklist. Hearing that, he had to sigh helplessly. You act too emotionally. Do you know why? Uncle borrowed Xiaoyan's hand instead of yours to fake his death? He asked back, why? Next, Ji Yu Cheng slowly explained, this is a crisis, and also a challenge. That child carries the crime of killing Uncle on her body, no matter what purpose others have. They will try their best to chase Xiaoyan in such a suffocating environment. That child will quickly grow up and become the new person in power who can control the underground forces of City A. Hearing these words, Xingye then realized, your meaning is... He spoke in a low voice. Uncle knows that the feeling of having power is very good, but a zing. Ji Yu Cheng grabbed his hand and expressed, I do not have much time left to make the trade association develop better. Can you give your position to that child? Because that child is the true heir that I have taken a liking to... This caused Xingye to be unable to hide his shock. He spoke in a low voice, but One of his eyes had tears in them. I was originally prepared to give the position to her. He thought to himself, I have never wanted any power, I want her. Li Yan stood outside and remained silent without stepping in. She remembered her childhood memories, and his words, fortunately, that you did not miss me. Li Yan raised the wine and drank in response, me too, I am very happy. Next to her, Lu Ying together with Junze were being intimate with each other and expressed their feelings. Brother Junze, I like you, you also like me. She could not bear it any longer, and then questioned. I said, hey, the two of you must flirt right next to me. Hearing that, Lu Ying then justified, was not it? Because we were worried that you would be too lonely by yourself, so we came to accompany you. Then she clapped her hands, indicating, rest assured, as a good sister, I can't leave you alone and go on a fun date, knowing that you are sad, so I specially called a guy over for you this. Person outside, come in. The door was gradually opened. A man wearing a rather revealing outfit gently called, Sister. Xingye closed the door modestly and said, I am number 3, Sister Cold. Please give me more guidance. Just as she saw the person before her, she immediately spat out the wine. Seeing him appear here caused her to be shocked. Jiyu Xingye. Lu Ying and Junzi also held hands and left. Boss, the two of us will not be here to be a light bulb and bother you anymore. The two of you enjoy it. Hearing that, Li Yan then spoke, hey wait, you two traitors. Xingye began to sit down next to her. He said in a low voice, Sister, I am Xiao. Yi number 3, you can tell me to do anything. Hearing that, Li Yan then propped her hand on her chin and asked back, do anything, After receiving his confirmation, she then ordered, then go pole dance for me to watch. Li Yan thought to herself, I do not believe Jiyu Xingye can pole dance. His hand placed on the pole. After that, Xingye began to throw out skill. Together with a face that was flushed. Next, he held the glass of wine in his hand and gently asked, dare you drink it? She quickly took the glass of wine and did not hesitate. What is there to not dare? After that, Li Yan drank all of the wine she was holding in her hand. Xingye looked at her for a long time. Then he came to rub his head against her collarbone. Xingye moved closer to inhale her scent. Immediately after, Xingye was pulled away by her. He was a little surprised when Li Yan grabbed his clothes. She directly asked straight, what are you doing? Xingye also did not hesitate to reply, role-playing, do you like it? Hearing that, Li Yan then continued to ask, you already know that I have regained my memory, I know. She began to glance somewhere else. Knowing that you still came, are not you afraid that I will hit you? Li Yan flipped him over. Are not you afraid that I will see him and get angry and can't help but want to hit you? Xingye then brazenly replied, if doing that can make you vent your anger, I do not care how many times I get hit by you. Hearing that, she then pouted and turned her face away, boring, hitting you will hurt my hand. Suddenly, she fell silent and thought to herself, I have heard all of his conversation with the person in power, but I do not know which sentence is the truth. Suddenly, the image of when Ji Yucheng grabbed his hand appeared. Can you give your position to that child? Because that child is the true heir that I have taken a liking to. Xingye spoke, but I was originally prepared to give the position to her. Li Yan, standing outside the door, thought to herself, nurturing me is true. The image of her at the hospital that day also appeared. Hey, I am leaving first. I will bring things over tomorrow. Using me is the truth. Returning to reality, Li Yan crossed her arms and questioned him. What is wrong? Was colluding with the person in power and using me still not enough? Jiyu Xingye. What else do you want from me? Or are you preparing to use a honey trap to eliminate me, and then officially and legally take over the position of your uncle? Before these words, Xingye pretended not to understand. What are you talking about? We are not talking about unhappy things today, right? Then she walked closer to the door and turned to say, if you are not going to say, then today's commotion ends here. Leave this place. 2 hands, clearly dividing the boundary. We won't bother each other anymore in the future. Suddenly he pressed her against the door again, who said to draw a clear line. He confessed and revealed, what I want you have never given me, what to draw clearly. What I want is you. Then he bit her shoulder and continued to express, you are deliberately provoking me, right? Knowing that I do not care about those things, I only like you from a long, long time ago. I have already liked you. Li Yan could not help but be stunned by his words. The image of her and Xingye chatting when they were young immediately appeared. Hey, hear this. Sooner or later there will be a day for you to know. My liking for you is the liking of an adult. Talk to me when you are taller than me. Then her current face was very sad. Next, Li Yan spoke. So what? There are many people who like me. In the adult world, you liking me does not mean I also like you. Moreover, Sheng Tianli also said he likes me. He is more handsome and richer than you. Suddenly, Xingye took out his phone, causing her to be a little confused. What are you doing? Then he put the phone in front of her. It was the post that he had notified everyone that she was the new boss. Then Xingye took her hand. Let us go. We will go register our marriage. All my assets belong to you. Hearing that, Li Yan began to react. Jiyu Xingye, are you crazy? But he did not listen, and just led her away. But she withdrew it. Weren't you afraid of losing face going out like this? Hearing that, Xingye spoke. I'm about to lose my wife. What face is there to care about? Moreover, going out with you. The news tomorrow will all be pictures of us. Next, he reached his hand to wrap around her waist, just right. Immediately after, he lifted Li Yan up. In the future, you and I will be more closely linked. You can't escape. She patted his back continuously in anger. Hey, put me down, Jiyu Xingye. Suddenly, she stopped again. Then Li Yan sighed helplessly. Really enough. I really can't do anything with you, she said with a very sure tone. Put me down, I promise to be with you. Xingye asked like a child. Really? Li Yan immediately replied, really. His face immediately turned red. Being together I am. She leaned close to his face to let him know, you are my boyfriend, we are together. Immediately after, she kissed his lips, but Xingye corrected, not boyfriend, but husband. In the depths of his heart, he thought, you can't escape, Li Yan, this life, you are mine. The lighter was turned on. Person in power, rest assured. The black and white image of Ji Yu Chang was in front of their eyes. Li Yan clasped her hands and said to herself, I will take good care of the things you worried about for you. 3 days ago, the person in power passed away in the hospital because of liver cancer. At his funeral, both the black and white factions were present. All the well-known people came. Everyone wanted to send off this legendary old man one last time. Over here, Xingye grabbed her shoulder and instructed, the guests are almost all here. Go inside and rest. Do not tire yourself out. Li Yan's face revealed a clear thought. She happily looked at the ring on her hand, and although we have not held a wedding, even though we are still only in a relationship, but I feel that I can no longer escape. That ring was right on her ring finger. Suddenly, a foot kicked the door open. The thugs appeared with a very bossy tone. Everyone who is present. Listen, we're the Futu gang of City A. Quickly call your boss Ji Yu to roll out here, otherwise I will smash this funeral. Hear that, quickly. Xingye again did not have the slightest fear, and only instructed, Futu gang, I have never heard of them, guards. Throw them out. The golden hair came up to point his finger at him. Are you their boss? This City X will be the Futu gangs. If you know what is good for you, then take your subordinates and go away to be out of sight. Immediately after, Li Yan stepped forward and knocked that person's hand away. If you know what is good for you, then you should also take your subordinates and leave. Seeing her appear, he then turned to ask, why are not you sitting down to rest? Hearing that, she quickly replied, everyone is looking, to only let you handle it alone. I do not know if they will think that we are not on good terms. Xingye's love brain began to relapse. There is not. We are on very good terms. The golden hair could not take it anymore, and then spoke. What do you mean by flirting in front of me, wanting to insult me? The gray hair then spoke with the golden hair. Boss, look at the ring on their finger. That woman must be the sister-in-law of their gang. The two people began to whisper. It is just that. I thought the new big boss in City X was something special. Who knew they were just a couple of stupid lovers? That is right. They are really a stupid couple. Actually bewitched by a woman to the point of madness. Not worthy of being the boss of City X. As I see it, they should give their position of power to our big brother to sit. As for these two people, the man will be castrated, and the woman will be sold to be a prostitute. Immediately after, the bullet was fired. The bullet immediately hit the gray hair's hand straight on. Li Yan spoke harshly to chase them away. Get lost, otherwise next will be your heads. The gray hair held his wrist and could not help but be stunned. So accurate. Could it be that you are not the woman of his? She quickly said, sorry, I am also the boss. Throw these people out, by the way. Remember to clearly record the list for compensation and send it to them. The subordinates immediately complied. Got it. Li Yan together with Xingye stood on the platform. She slowly gave a speech. Everyone. I declare one thing. From today, I am the new person in power of the trade association. Then she also said, as for him, he is my boyfriend and also my future husband. My only lover. He blanked out before her words. Everyone began to whisper. A talented man and a beautiful woman. I have seen it a long time ago. Congratulations, congratulations. Next, Li Yan passed the mic over to him. Why are you still standing blankly? Did not you want to make it public? Say something. Suddenly, Xingye lifted her up. Sorry everyone, I am going to handle some private matters. Her face could not hide her shock. Ji Yu Xingye, what are you doing? Scene change, Xingye threw her on the sofa. The buttons of his clothes were all taken off, leaving only his tie undone. Exercising my boyfriend's rights. Xingye happily said, strive to give birth to an heir early. The story comes to an end here, everyone. Please subscribe to the channel to continue watching other good stories.